This washed-up actor is our main character. The moment he read the script, he instantly collapsed to the ground. Unbeknownst to anyone, he'd been stabbed by a murderer until he looked like a porcupine. He screamed in agony so realistically that all the judges were blown away by his true-to-life acting. Our main character was stunned himself because he possessed the ability to turn fiction into reality and the ability to evaluate scripts. All he had to do was read one. Instantly, he would embody the character with an indistinguishable realism. He played a killer with multiple personalities so effortlessly that his fame skyrocketed. He embodied a criminal so convincingly that his colleagues would tremble in fear. He embodied the great Detective Conan, but accidentally tripped and fell on the grass. To his surprise, the entire crew praised him, saying he didn't miss a single clue, not even the details in the grass itself. And all right, enough with the intro. Let's get started. A serious-looking young man appears with a thought bubble. I'm Ujin, and I currently work at a typical small to medium-sized design company in South Korea. But in the very next scene, he slams his resignation letter on the desk and says, I quit. I've decided to submit my resignation today. Hearing this, his bald boss furiously yells, What? You're leaving. That's ridiculous. Whatever. I don't want to see your face again. Get out of here right now. At this moment, having resigned, Ujin became more intimidating than ever. Yes, I understand. Instead, I will be sending you the documents related to my unpaid overtime and the severance pay I have yet to receive. Make sure you get it right. If you're short by even a single one, I'll go straight to the labor department. These words sent his superior into a panic. A guy who knows the law always has the upper hand. The Ministry of Labor is part of the federal executive agency concerned with improving working conditions and employment opportunities for workers. Having said what needed to be said, he turned and walked away decisively. I'm leaving now. This made the bald boss jump to his feet, pointing his finger in anger. Hey, Ujin, you damn brat. Once outside, a colleague looked at him with admiration and asked, Whoa, did you really say that? I'm so jealous. You quit just like that. So what are you going to do now? Ujin was on good terms with his colleagues, so he didn't mind sharing. I got a working holiday visa, so I'm thinking of giving it a shot. I'm going to Australia. Here, a working holiday visa is understood as a residence permit that allows tourists to take on employment in the country, issuing the visa to supplement their travel funds. The scene then shifts to that afternoon. Someone asks Ujin, So you're unemployed now, huh? At his farewell party, young Dai brings something up. If you can, would you come with me to the super actor audition? Ujin, his face flushed from being tipsy, replied, Super actor. His friend explained, Yeah, it's a new reality audition show produced by the public broadcasting station. SBC, I just applied for fun. I never thought I'd pass the first round. And their slogan is, We find hidden stars. Young Dai glanced at his best friend and confessed, The first audition and interview are tomorrow morning. I'm so nervous. Please come with me. Ujin hesitated for a moment. Then he quickly agreed. All right, let's do it. A thought bubble appears, a request from my friend Young Dai that I agreed to while I was drunk. The scene then changes to a staff member handing him a piece of paper. Please take this and wait. It's the script. These words made Ujin look completely bewildered. The staffer announced, You'll be performing today, while he just stared intently at the paper he was given. This is a black square. A strange light appears, followed by his inner monologue. I had suddenly received a script in a very strange and unexpected situation. I never imagined this script would completely change my life. Ujin falls into a dark place. A strange voice emerges along with a terrified look on his face. First script, title unknown, rank F unidentified. A frightened man prepares to read. That's right, beg. Beg for your life. No, I wish your scream was a little louder. It's still not very convincing, you know. Second script, title, The Profiler Hanryang Part 1. Rank A veteri. Prepare to read. Third script, title, Urgent Private Investigation. Role Detective. Prepare to read. Even though it has an unnecessary charm. Fourth script, title unknown. Role unknown. Prepare to read. Fifth script, title Namgan. Rank B. Role unknown. Prepare to read. Damn it, how much is the insurance payout anyway? Sixth script, title unknown, role unknown, prepare to read. Ujin appears in a dark space with many blank sheets of paper. That voice keeps echoing, role, prepare to read. 4. Preparations complete. You have selected the script Untitled Unknown. This is a script with a very high completion level. 100% readability is possible. These are the individuals who can perform the reading. Experience available. While our protagonist is still bewildered, a command is declared, begin reading. Ujin is now standing frozen, holding the script in front of many other people. With a look of astonishment on her face, Hizeon probes, By the way, where did you study acting? Did you graduate from a theater and film university? Or did you study abroad? But contrary to all the theories she proposed, he coldly replied, No. I just graduated with a design major from a university in Gyeonggi. I taught myself how to act. Hearing his words, another judge couldn't help but question him. Model, self-taught. Huh. How were you able to perform so well just now? That's not the acting of an amateur. Unconvinced Ujin frowned in annoyance. It wasn't even that hard. Then he turned away again. Well, that's enough for today. Before leaving completely, he glanced back with a reminder. And please don't use my performance from earlier for the broadcast. If you do, I'll sue you. The three judges were openly threatened. Frozen stiff John turned to the brown-haired man and said his acting was impressive after just a glance at the script, and he claims he's self-taught. He's definitely lying. Contrary to her, he asserted, that kid is an extraordinary genius. In a jungle like the entertainment industry, monsters like him appear every now and then. Back to Ujin, he was sitting with his two hands clasped deep in thought. Then he couldn't help but curse. Ha! Damn it. That was so embarrassing. He brought a hand to his forehead, and Ujin couldn't help but wonder. They suddenly told me to act, and I just went along with it. Thinking back now, it's so cringy. More importantly, what is this thing? What the heck is this black square? Time rewinds to one day earlier. Inside an apartment, a voice rang out. Ugh. My head's about to explode. Ujin sat on the floor in the same clothes he wore drinking the night before. His face darkened as he mumbled, I must have drunk too much yesterday. How the hell did I even get home? I only remember up to round 2. I definitely threw my resignation letter in that CEO's face. To celebrate quitting, I went for round 2 with my friends. After racking his brain and still not remembering, he gave up. Whatever. I probably managed to drag myself home somehow. Getting closer to his ringing phone, Ujin answered, wondering, Young Dai, hey, what's up? The person on the other end replied, Whoa, listen to you slurring your words. Did you even make it home safe? Instead of answering his friend's question, he asked his own. Hey, how much did we drink? My mind is a complete blank. Hearing this, Young Dai couldn't help but ask, You don't remember? Last night while we were drinking, you disappeared for almost 30 minutes. Where'd you go? He immediately shot back, You think I'd remember? What'd you call me for anyway? Hearing this, it seemed like Young Dai had grasped the full situation. You don't remember that either. He then recounted, We agreed to go to the Super Actor preliminary audition together. Once again, Ujin was puzzled by the name Super Actor. Super Actor, produced by SBC, a major terrestrial network. Just as the name suggests, this reality show is about finding hidden stars. It's been a hot topic lately with many participants. From trainees to ordinary people, everyone is eager to show off their talents. And a small note terrestrial broadcast is broadcasting via radio waves on Earth instead of via satellite. Seeing his friend's decision, Ujin couldn't help but get curious. You used to say acting was just a hobby. Now you want to make it a career. But Young Dai replied, Shut up. I asked you to come with me because I passed the first round yesterday. Tomorrow is the first interview and evaluation round. Contrary to his drunken self, he now intended to refuse. Today's me has completely forgotten yesterday's memories. So I'm not really sure. Haha. The guy on the other end continued to plead, I'm nervous, so come cheer me on, will you? Hey, Young Dai. I'll treat you to samgyeopsal and soju. As much as you want after this. Deal. But that wasn't enough of a bribe, and he was rejected. No thanks. Young Dai was pretty pissed off by this. But since we're best friends, he still had an ace up his sleeve. One of the judges tomorrow is Hye-jeon. Hearing that name, Ujin repeated Hye-jeon with hesitation. And indeed, the next day he showed up, his face flushed with anticipation. Hye-jeon. Looking at the lively atmosphere around him, he thought to himself, I'm finally here. But I have to see top actress, the goddess Hye-jeon. Not a bad choice. Looking around, Ujin pointed and said, Over half the seats are taken already. Let's sit over there. Young Dai behind him looked a bit haggard. Ujin, I'm so nervous. Turning his head back, he encouraged him firmly. What's there to be nervous about? You even perform for free at the acting club. Young Dai, trembling, was about to argue, but a few minutes later, with his distress now obvious, a trembling Young Dai said, This is bad. I'm the second person to go. I'm so screwed. Ujin was frantic when he heard that. What the hell did you just say? Then, he said worriedly, Get to the bathroom quick. What if you mess up in the middle of the audition? Clutching his stomach, Young Dai immediately stood up with watery eyes. No way. Before heading out, he didn't forget to turn back point and instruct, If they call my name, you have to tell me right away. He waved his hand in response. I know. Just go already. Then he casually propped his chin on his hand and sighed. Watching him worry is pretty funny. Has he been gone for about 3 minutes? 10 minutes passed more than 3 times what he expected. It made Ujin tremble and break out in a sweat. Something's wrong. Why is he taking so long? What if they call his name? The moment he finished the thought, someone came out and called Nyang Dae Kim Junsu Kim Taeyong, which made him jump. Crap. Are they calling names in alphabetical order? But he's not back yet. With a dazed look, Ujin turned away and told himself, ha. I must have misheard, right, haha. But again, the staff member repeated, Nyang. Dae Kim Junsu Kim Taeyong, which made him freeze up completely. With a rigid posture, Ujin turned his head and wondered, oh my god, did that guy pass out in the bathroom or something? Then he stepped forward to deal with the situation. Sorry, I'm a friend of Young Dai. He just went to the restroom. I'll go get him right now. Then the man reminded him with a rather unfriendly look. Your friend is up first. We can't wait long. He'll be disqualified if he doesn't get here soon. This made Ujin panic and beg. Disqualified? Please, can you just give us a little more time? It would be a real shame to be disqualified like that. Finally, the man calling the names turned aside and whispered, just a moment. There's a problem here. After talking for a moment, he put on a sly expression. Yes. Then he turned back cheerfully and told them, It's all right. When Young Dai gets here, we'll guide him. Please follow me this way. Ujin replied joyfully, "Thank you." He thought to himself, "Kim Young-dae, you better treat me to something nice next time." He then pushed the door open and stepped inside. The man who called the names reminded him, "The first round of auditions is being filmed, so please wait here. We'll guide you shortly." This made Ujin wonder. "He told me to come in here. Now what?" Huh? Then their eyes met. He had just met the person he admired. "Whoa, no way. It's Yesion. She's practically glowing in person." Someone approached and spoke to him. "You're Kim Young-dae's friend, right? Please take this and wait." The person also added, "Today's theme is improv acting, so this is the script he needs to follow. If you get bored while waiting, you can read this." He held the script in his hand. Next to it was a swirling vortex shape. Ujin reached out to touch it, wondering, what is this? A black square lit up on his finger the moment he touched the strange object. He was immediately sucked in. The main character cried out in shock. Then a bright light flashed, accompanied by Ujin's blood-curdling scream. He fell through an endless void. Ujin's eyes were squeezed shut, then they opened again, filled with bewilderment. Ujin looked around in a panic, questioning, "What the hell? Where the hell am I? A moment ago, I touched the black square next to the script. Did I get trapped inside it? Is this a movie or something?" He glanced over and said, "That." A piece of paper appeared with the words, "Script number 1, title unknown, authorization undefined." This page of the script is an incomplete script. This is a script or a scene that is 100% corrupted. Reading is impossible. Approximately 10% is readable. This made Ujin wonder, a corrupted script, a page of the script, a scene. Raising his hand to hold the paper, Ujin muttered nonstop, "A page of the script. The person who gave me the script said it was part of the audition round. Could this be the script I just received?" The paper read, "You have selected script number 1, title unknown, list of readable characters. Available experience: A, frightened man, B, stranger." This made him endlessly curious. What are these choices? What is this? Then a cold voice suddenly announced, "A, frightened man, reading preparation, preparation complete. This is a corrupted script or scene. Only about 10% is executable." Ujin, now terrified, called out, "Excuse me, who's there? Is anyone here?" But the other voice continued, "Begin reading." Then the surroundings began to distort, making Ujin question. The location suddenly changed. Where is this? A mountain? Am I dreaming? It's too vivid for a dream. What is this? Is this real? I don't understand what's happening. Ujin grew more and more frightened. His face showed clear shock as his feet just started moving. Only one thought was in his head. Escape. I have to escape. I have to run. I have to keep running. But why am I running right now? It's still just a dark void. Why am I running? It's because I'm being chased. Right now I'm being hunted. A dark shadow appeared behind Ujin and ordered, "Hey, stop." Right after he tripped over a log, he screamed internally, "No!" Lying on the ground, Ujin wondered in shock. It hurt so much. I feel pain. Why does it hurt? The shadow holding a knife advanced and mumbled, "My stomach is rumbling because of you." Meanwhile, Ujin lay there helplessly screaming, no, don't come any closer. Someone, anyone, please help me. Is this really happening? I'm begging you, please spare me. Please don't kill me. I have to beg or I'll really die. Please save me. Despite his desperate pleas for help, Ujin was still murdered. The knife stabbed down again and again. The mysterious figure laughed savagely. "Is your blood flowing? I have to finish this quickly so I can go get some pizza." Ujin's terrified eyes just watched as the man murdered him, his screams echoing everywhere. Afterward, a mechanical voice rang out, "Reading of A, frightened man complete." Ujin sobbed miserably. Utterly wretched, he cried out, "Ah!" His eyes rolled back into his head, bloodshot veins appearing. In the end, Ujin collapsed onto the floor before the judging eyes of the 3 panelists and everyone else around. All 3 judges were dumbfounded by his top-tier acting talent. Yesion was so astonished she couldn't utter a single word. Ujin lay motionless and silent on the floor. His mind was completely dazed as he wondered, what the hell did I just do? Ujin lay on the floor screaming internally, ending up perfectly reenacting what he had just experienced without even realizing he had escaped that strange place. If they asked me to act, they'd definitely think I'm some weirdo, screaming my head off and thrashing on the ground. So embarrassing, I could die. I have to try and sneak out like nothing happened. But then Haeyeon spoke up intrigued. "By the way, where did you study acting? Did you graduate from a film academy? Or did you study abroad?" Hearing her question, he was stunned, but deep down in his heart, he was screaming wildly, "Whoa! Is that really Hong Hee-seon? Can a normal person really be this beautiful? She's a Treyas. No, a goddess. A goddess is right in front of me. She's so radiant. I want to take a picture with her, but I'm too embarrassed right now. But I should probably get one to show off to that punk Kim. Young-dae, should I ask for a picture? Should I?" Then he calmed himself down. "Calm down. I need to deal with this humiliation first. Should I act tough and put on a cold face?" First lower my voice. Ujin spoke seriously, presenting himself. "I just graduated with a design major from a university in Gyeonggi. I taught myself how to act." Hearing this, Manhwa gave a forced smile and assessed him. "Self-taught? How were you able to perform so well just now? That wasn't the performance of an amateur." Ujin replied with a straight face. "It's not that difficult anyway." "That's what I said, but my soul is in absolute turmoil. Can't let them see how embarrassed I am because I'm so damn embarrassed." Gotta get the hell out of here fast. With that thought, Ujin quickly moved toward the door to make his escape. He didn't forget to say coldly, "I'm leaving, and please don't use my performance from earlier for the broadcast. If you do, I'll sue you all." 3 judges' jaws dropped and they froze. After 5 seconds, Hayazeon quickly turned to Manhwa and said, "His acting was so impressive after just a glance at the script, and he claims he's self-taught. He must be lying." Hearing that, he was overjoyed. That boy is a genius. In a jungle like the entertainment industry, monsters like him only appear once in a while. And so the snowball of misunderstanding began to roll. Only Ujin was completely unaware. Young Daya was standing outside, waving him over, but Ujin's first question was very tactless. "You just take a dump?" "Phew, that's good." He answered, bewildered. I was only in there for 15 seconds. "Are you going in to replace me? The judges were asking about you." Ujin suddenly became extremely flustered and looked away, clicking his tongue. Tisk! It was nothing special. Suddenly he noticed something in his friend's hand and asked, "Is that a script? Let me see it." Though a bit confused, Young Dai still let him see it. "Oh, yeah." But as he handed over the script, Ujin was already thinking to himself, "Holy crap." He took the script wary. "It's that square from before. If I touch it, I'll definitely get stuck in that weird place again." Ujin looked over the script suspicious. It wasn't my imagination or a dream. It wasn't a memory either because I actually lived through it. How can something like that even happen? He ran his finger back and forth over the words, but he couldn't stop thinking. That's right. Reading this, it feels exactly like what I experienced on the mountain. I'm pretty sure I chose the terrified man or something. Does that mean I entered the role and experienced the situation from the script? Since there were a few more things he needed to check, Ujin turned and asked Yang Dai, "Do you have any other scripts at your place? If you do, let's go to your place right now." I already called a taxi. This made him wonder, why so sudden I have some but? At the apartment where Yang Dai lived, Ujin started complaining. "Ugh, the smell. Hurry up and open a window, get some fresh air in here." Hearing that, he put on a sour face and said, "This guy suddenly barges into my house and starts nagging me." While looking for the scripts, Yang Dai asked curiously, "Anyway, why are you suddenly looking for scripts? Especially you, a guy who doesn't even watch TV." Ujin found it a bit hard to explain and hesitated. "It's just..." He glanced away slightly and replied, "I need to check a few things." Suddenly, Yang Dai turned around holding a script and said to him, "Found them. 2 scripts from some web series and 1 for an unproduced movie." Ujin stared intently at the script and thought, just as I suspected. "The black square is next to these scripts too. First check complete. Step 2 is to check the time. It's 11:41 right now. Okay." Ujin reminded Yang Dai, "Watch me carefully, okay?" He was quite curious and asked, "I'm watching, what are you doing?" The moment he touched the black square, he was transported to another dimension. In his bewilderment, Ujin looked at the white square in front of him annoyed and wondered, what the hell is this place? This is driving me crazy. First off, let's look at this white square. Oh, it's turned into 2 now. It seems the number keeps increasing whenever I get new scripts or scenes. I should check if it's time to go out now. Ujin waited in vain, but was met with dead silence. He desperately screamed inside that space, "Log out! Get me out! Go back! Turn it off! Let me out!" But still nothing happened, making him scream out loud. Suddenly Ujin returned to the real world to his own astonishment. Yang Dae, who was beside him, asked worriedly, "Hey, what's wrong?" You suddenly pointed your index finger up and just froze. "Are you okay?" He forced a smile, guessing to himself, "I was in there for almost 5 minutes, but no time has passed at all. Pretty interesting. So what's next?" Yang Dai asked again, "Are you really okay, huh?" But then a phone rang, catching his attention. He picked up the phone to answer, yes. Oh, wait a second. He's right here in front of me. Yang Dai lowered his voice and explained, "The producer from Super Actor wants to talk to you." Hearing this, Ujin's face went pale as he tried to calm himself down. Super Actor. Ugh. CL. That humiliation is coming back again. First lowering his voice, he walked over to the phone and said a deep, "Yes," into the receiver. On the other end, a girl's voice answered him, "Ujin, we're calling because you've passed the first round. Do you plan on coming to Super Actor again? You only went to support your friend, but you ended up passing. Isn't that interesting?" Hearing this, Ujin frowned and thought to himself, are they trying to make a fool out of me? They're crazy. There's no way I'm going back there. He continued his act and replied coolly to her questions. I didn't wonder back then. I was just acting for fun to kill time while I was waiting. The girl on the other end heard this and gave a forced laugh, saying that level of skill was just for fun. Ha ha ha, you're so honest. But at that moment, deep down, she was extremely skeptical. Acting for fun, but he was that good. So if he was serious, how amazing would he be? Ujin replied indifferently, "That's the truth. What can I say? So you should just forget about it." In his mind, he was silently manifesting, "Please just forget how cringy I was." The girl on the other end felt quite regretful, thinking, if this were broadcast on TV, he'd definitely become famous instantly. What a shame. Is he really not interested in this? With that thought, she forced a smile and replied to him, "Well, okay then. I'll remove the footage of your audition, Ujin." Ujin cleared his throat, pretending to answer. Ahem, but could I get the footage of my performance? The girl on the other end agreed. "Ah, sure. Send me your phone number. I'll text it to you." He immediately replied, "Yes, thank you." The girl from the station also said, "Okay, I'm hanging up now." Right behind her, Manhwa was approaching. He suddenly looked up and asked, "Hey, was that the young man from before?" His sudden appearance made the poor girl's heart nearly jump out of her chest. "Ah, you scared me. Please, can you make some noise when you walk?" Then she chuckled and answered his question. Yes, that was him. He said he only auditioned for fun and won't be coming for the second round. Manhwa put his hands on his hips, laughed loudly and said, "He came here and stirred things up just because he was bored." Ha ha ha, how bizarre. Suddenly he thought of something and asked, "Do you have his phone number?" Ujin was sprawled out on the floor sighing, "I'm so tired. There are still a few things I need to check at Kim Yang-dae's place." Then he recalled his friend's curiosity when Super Actor called. He thought about that moment when his friend yelled, "What?" That was a call from Super Actor, while he was terrified saying, "Don't ask anymore." He couldn't help but shudder. Just because of one phone call, Yang-dae made such a huge fuss. I ran away immediately, but at least I figured some things out. First, when I get pulled into that black square, and time in the real world stops. Second, the people around me can't see the black square that I see. And next, the third thing is the magic keyword to escape from that strange space. It's the keyword exit. Summarizing everything, Ujin concluded with a grunt. After confirming these details about that weird square, I should finish what I was doing before. He went over to the bed, sat down, and looked at the script. He mused, Elegant Eldest Daughter and Thug Prosecutor are both TV series that have already finished airing, right? Let's see, 2 book scripts and 1 movie script. Then he opened his phone and started searching, thinking, since I can't bring my phone into that space, I have to do my research beforehand. The first thing is to check the ratings and basic details. After searching, he quickly found out Thug Prosecutor had a final viewership rating of 7.1%. And Elegant Eldest Daughter had a final viewership rating of 2.7%. Reviewing things like this beforehand seemed like a good idea to him. Ujin touched the black square and encouraged himself. Preliminary check is done. Now time to go in and confirm it. As he re-entered that dark space, and before his eyes were 3 white rectangles. Seeing this, he exclaimed, "Oh, just as I thought, another one has been added. Let's see." On each white rectangle, lines of text appeared. The first box belonged to the second script. The title was Elegant Eldest Daughter Part 1 Grade E. This is a television drama script with very high quality. Percentage of readability. Next is the third script titled Thug Prosecutor Part 1 Grade C. This is a TV drama script with a high readability of up to 100%. After reading the 2 info sheets, he became quite curious. Eugenia started to wonder what those grades meant. It seems like it's not about quality. Or maybe it is. He thought it was possible. Maybe it's a measure of popularity or performance. Then he had a doubt. In that case, could he view scripts or scenes that haven't been released to the public? Since I received an unproduced script before, I should check that one too. Suddenly, something made him extremely bewildered and curious. What is this? It was the 4th shooting script titled Detective Agency. After reading the info sheet, he was stunned. A shooting script for a movie that hasn't even started production. And it's grade B. Immediately, Ujin remembered the conversation he had before with Yang-dae about these scripts. Then he gradually deduced that grades A and B are the highest ratings among the ones he's done so far. Kim Yang-dae once said it was an unproduced shooting script. It seems I can check the grades of works that are still in pre-production. With that, he shouted the word exit to get out of there. Ujin looked at the scripts and concluded, so now, I know I can confirm a work's grade before it's produced. For now, I'll put the detective agency one aside. The phone next to him vibrated, catching his attention. He was planning to read the scripts that had already been broadcast, but that ring successfully broke his train of thought. On the screen was the video Ujin had asked that girl to send him. Here it is. The video of my humiliating performance. He slumped over, holding his head in disappointment, but his hand reached out to open the video. He tried to calm himself down. But I still need to check the evidence from when I first entered that strange space. But I still feel like I'm going to puke. Ujin decisively pressed play. The clip replayed the scene of him crying out in agony, frantically begging for help. I'm begging you. Please spare me. Please someone save me. Meanwhile, a girl was also rewatching the scene Ujin acted out. After watching, Yunbi was completely stunned and wondered, was he really acting? She was in awe, repeatedly exclaiming, was he actually stabbed by a knife? Otherwise, how could someone express such emotions? Manhwa heard her and turned over. He glanced at her and asked, Writer Park Eun-mi look. Seeing such an absurdly expressive ability, does a certain character come to mind? Hearing that question, Yunmi immediately understood. She looked down at the papers on her desk and thought to herself, a role? Could it be? It was a paper with a behavioral analysis for creating a psychopathic character. Yunbi thought of someone and wondered, is he talking about that role? In her memory, a tall man covered in blood appeared dragging a corpse. Yunbi gave a forced smile and thought, I was worried I'd have to change the character's setup. Because this is a very challenging role filled with my own ambition, and I couldn't find an actor who could portray it. First, I need to see him with my own eyes. Meanwhile, Ujin was bewildered and surprised by what he was seeing. What is this? In the video, he was screaming at the top of his lungs. He watched that performance. He wondered, isn't this Better than I thought? Ujin, flustered, ran his hands through his hair. He said to himself, I did a good job, didn't I? Why am I so good at this? Wait a minute. If my acting doesn't look weird, that means passing the first round wasn't a fluke. I really passed because of my acting. No. In Ujin's imagination, he was just foolishly trying to act cool. Acting, it's not that hard. Because I'm a genius, a prodigy. Hearing that, the judges would be completely shocked, wondering, is he really a contestant? Ujin cringed at the memory and screamed, Ah, I'm going crazy. I acted all cool because I was so embarrassed, but I'm sure in their eyes, I'm a prodigy. He resolutely knelt down, touching the black square while saying, whatever. I'm not going to see them again, so I don't really care. The thing I need to focus on right now is 6. I need to complete the experience. In the middle of that strange dark space's black square was a beautiful glowing blue vortex. Maybe there are still features I don't know about. And first I'll use the scripts I received to experience it like last time. But I really don't want to get stabbed again. After some time, the sky had turned clear and warm sunlight streamed through the window into the room. Ujin read the script, feeling exhausted and dazed. It's over. It seems this time wasn't like the last. My head feels less foggy. Has my body adapted to it? On the floor were many other scripts he had already read through. He tossed the script onto the floor, rubbed his head, and began to analyze. Based on what I've checked, I remember every single line of the characters in the script. Ujin picked up a script, glanced through it, and assessed even the male cafe employee I just read. It's not just the lines, it's the characters' 5 senses, their emotions, their thoughts and feelings. Everything seeps into me. It feels like I've actually lived the role. And his world is now deeply imprinted on me. Ujin imagines his future getting a little full of himself with this new skill. Should I seriously consider becoming an actor instead of just doing whatever manual labor I can find in Australia? Looks like I'm going to live a much more interesting life. Suddenly his phone rings. It's an unknown number. Curious, he reaches for it. Huh, what's this? Ujin answers the phone. Hello? The person on the other end immediately asks, is this Ujin? The man on the other end starts to introduce himself. This is Manu, the producer. You remember me, right? He continues, I was the one sitting in the middle of the judging panel. Ujin coldly recalls the man with a thick beard and dark complexion. He immediately recognizes him and replies, oh, the guy with the beard. Although Manu seems annoyed, he manages to force a laugh and says, haha, that's right. Can we meet as soon as possible? Ujin silently wonders, why do I have to use that persona right now? He maintains his composure and suggests, you'll need to tell me the reason first. The persona he wanted to use was the cold, detached one he used during his performance. Hearing his question, Manu replies cheerfully, it seems a bit strange to talk about this over the phone. I'd prefer to meet in person if possible. Hearing this, Ujin takes the initiative and sets a time. Today, at 4 p.m. That's the only time I can meet. The man agrees without hesitation and asks, okay, besides me, a few other related parties are also eager to be there. If I send you the address, can you get there on your own? Yes, he agrees coolly. That's fine. Manu immediately replies, thanks, I'll send the address. See you at 4 then. Ujin replies with a simple, okay, as a sign of acceptance. His face goes blank as he silently wonders, why does he want to meet me? He starts searching online to find out more about them, remembering what Kang Dae had said. According to him, it's a big production. Let's see just how famous they are. Entertainment news sites are flooded with pictures of Manu and Unmi at some kind of press conference. News about PD Song Manu and writer Park Unmi collaborating has audiences buzzing with excitement. Top actors are lining up, waiting for Song Manu's next move. SBS's star producer is stunned after reading. Ujin smirks and thinks to himself, I hope they're the real deal. I'm really curious why they want to meet me. I hope they don't ask me to act or anything. Standing in front of a tablet, he thinks he was right. Manu crosses his arms and gets straight to the point. Yesterday you showed us a performance that didn't rely on dialogue correct. I'm curious about your ability to perform a monologue, Ujin. He, along with Unmi and Hyesun, stares intently at him. The others are no exception. Everyone in the room is watching Ujin seriously observing his every move. It makes him feel incredibly awkward. A monologue? What the hell? I had a feeling they were going to make me act. He closes his eyes, his brows furrowing as he hesitates internally. I only just started acting yesterday. These people, should I just keep my mouth shut? Manu continues encouraging him. Or you can just look at the table and do it. Just express yourself however you like, Ujin. In his head, Ujin glances at the tablet beside him, worried. Holy shit. The black square isn't appearing here. He glances over at Manu and Unmi, thinking to himself, without it I can't enter the space. I guess it only works with a paper script, but there's nothing like that around here. I can't log into that empty space. The people in the room have been watching Ujin intently this whole time, but right now he's busy thinking, if I can't get into that empty space, then, even though I look calm on the outside, deep down, Ujin is screaming. My acting skills will be exposed as a total bluff. He's in turmoil, gritting his teeth. He has no idea how to handle this situation. Damn it, what do I do now? Ujin panics, cursing in his head. Fuck, the black square isn't appearing here. He hangs his head looking at the floor as sweat pours down like rain. Ujin thinks in fear. Without it, I can't enter the space. I guess it only works with the paper script. But there's nothing like that around here. I can't log into the space. His whole world feels like it's collapsing. Ujin falls into an abyss of despair, sitting stunned on the chair. Jumbled thoughts keep surfacing. If I can't enter the empty space, my acting skills will be exposed as a bluff. What do I do now? But suddenly, in the midst of his despair, Ujin asks himself, but is it really that important? Do I really need to kill myself over this whole acting thing? From the very beginning, I was just... He opens his mouth to speak. The three of them, Hyesun, Manu, and Unmi, wait anxiously for him to continue. Ujin begins his performance. I was walking down the street when suddenly Manu watches him tensely. Right now, there's only one simple thought in Ujin's mind. I'm just a normal guy who knows nothing about acting, so I'll just be honest. He crossed his arms, staring at the computer screen, reading the lines. A cat lunges at me. Hyejeon and Manu were so stunned their jaws dropped. The two of them thought in unison, his acting... You'd think the top actress from BVCAP Entertainment and the star producer from SBS would be blown away by Ujin's masterful acting, but no, they were truly horrified. Not because of his amazing acting, but because his acting was absolute crap. Their faces paled, but Ujin stubbornly and mechanically kept reading the lines. But I didn't do anything. Manu was so shocked he froze, his mouth still hanging open. He was screaming internally. What is this? He's worse than a rookie actor. This is completely different from yesterday. Hyesion had the exact same reaction as Manu, thinking in confusion. What kind of acting is that? He's like a completely different person from when he acted in Super Actor 2. Ambi's jaw was on the floor. Although she didn't say a word, her expression showed her utter disdain. Oh my god, a first-year acting student is better than him. Ujin paid no attention to their reactions, still trying to look calm and forcing himself to finish the lines. Maybe there's a reason for this. Ujin was probably aware of his own shitty acting and had given up reminding himself internally, I just have to act difficult and then go home. This is pointless. I have to keep acting cold. After a moment, he finally blurted out 2 words. I'm sorry. He made up an excuse to get away. I have something to do now. Let's stop this and let me go right now. Manu was a bit surprised, thinking to himself, what is he talking about? Ujin crossed his arms, a cool, aloof expression on his face as he stared straight at Manu. He narrowed his eyes slightly, his golden gaze unwavering. Suddenly, Manu realized something. It was like he'd had an epiphany, seen the truth. I get it. Right now, he's acting like he can't act. He leaned on the table, looking like he understood everything, and then asked Ujin, why are you acting like someone who can't act? His question made Hyesion and Unmi jump in surprise. Manu confirmed it in his own mind as if he knew everything. He's showing his dissatisfaction with us through his acting, so that's it. Hyesion and the others from the company were all surprised, especially Hyesion. She silently asked herself again. He was acting like he couldn't act. Ujin raised an eyebrow, his face a mask of complete confusion. He had no idea what was going on, wondering to himself, what the hell does acting like you can't act even mean? He observed Manu's thoughtful expression and guessed, I already told them to let me go. And now, he's saying weird things. Did that guy Manu misunderstand something? Don't tell me he came to that conclusion because he sees me as some kind of crazy genius. Ujin didn't know the reason, so he just decided to go with it. Whatever. For now, I'll just maintain this attitude. After thinking it over, he spoke up. It's because you suddenly told me to act without any explanation. Ujin immediately stood up. He faced Manu and the others, chiding them. It feels pretty unpleasant to be treated like this. Manu quickly tried to calm him down. Wait, I'm sorry. Please calm down. He no longer looked at him with a superior, judgmental air. His attitude softened as he tried to make peace. It seems I was too hasty. It's because I really wanted to show everyone your acting talent. I'll explain everything, so please sit down and listen. Ujin pouted and plopped back down in his chair. Seeing this, Manu quietly let out a sigh of relief. Phew. He resolved not to let a monster like this slip through his fingers. Yes. Then he rested his chin on his hand and gestured to Ujin. I'll be direct. We're preparing for a new movie, and I want to cast you in it. Ujin's face remained impassive upon hearing the shocking news. He calmly thought to himself, what you called me here just to... Ujin suddenly stopped. His face went blank, his body stiffened, and his eyes widened. A loud echoed in his mind. Then he screamed internally again, Although Ujin's outward expression remained cool and unenthusiastic, inside his heart had turned into a screaming, joyful frog. What did he say? Is he serious? As if to confirm his doubts, Unmi pushed a folder toward him and said, this is the beginning of the script. This is the first time it's been shown to an outsider. Please choose any role from in here and perform it for us. Manu expressed warmly, now you understand, right? We can wait as long as you need. Whether it's 10 minutes or 30 minutes, feel free to choose a role and read a few lines from it. That's what he said, but he already had a plan. Of course, the role was already decided. He just needed Ujin to perform it. Unmi watched Ujin, eagerly full of anticipation. However, we don't know how he's going to portray it. Ujin took the script, flipped through a few pages, and replied, I'll read for a bit. The whole room fell silent, with only the sound of Ujin turning the pages echoing. After studying the script for a while, Ujin made his choice. I'll play the role of Assistant Manager Park in the scene with the dog. No one understood what was so special about that role or that scene that it would cause everyone to... Manu and Yunbi were stunned, screaming internally. Assistant Director Park. Unbi silently exchanged a look with Manu. as if to say, that's the psychopath I wanted. There was no prior arrangement yet. He chose a difficult role without the slightest hesitation. When Eugene placed the script down on the table, a shocked Unbi had to confirm with him again, "You can act without even looking at it." In contrast to her astonishment, Eugene calmly replied, "Yeah." Unbi couldn't hide her excitement, trying to hold back the question in her heart. He's already grasped everything from the lines to the emotional delivery and all. Manu couldn't wait any longer and stepped in front of Yunbi, saying, "All right, let's do it then. Let's start right away." The scene begins with this line. "Assistant Director Park, why didn't you come?" Manu touched his chin and smirked, thinking that line is the beginning of that monster scene. What kind of acting will he show us? Eugene raised a hand to cover his mouth, falling eerily silent. His entire demeanor suddenly and drastically changed. His golden pupils seemed to flash even with his hand covering his mouth. He didn't say a word yet. He exuded a terrifying pressure and an indescribable dread. Even though Manu and Yunbi were prepared, they were overwhelmed by his realistic acting. Unbi couldn't believe it, screaming in her mind. His eyes have changed, his aura too. He understood how to convey emotion. In such a short amount of time, the scene didn't stop for their astonishment. After a moment of silence, Eugene, in the role of Assistant Director Park, suddenly smiled. He lowered his hand from his mouth and said slowly, "You go first." In the instant he finished speaking, the smile vanished from his face. That immense pressure returned as he lightly touched the corner of his mouth, looking down at the other person with cold eyes, as if looking at a lowly worm. Manu and Yunbi both felt a chill run down their spines, their faces turning pale. Something crazed was surging in those cold eyes. Eugene uttered, "It's dog poop." This scene was meant to be the spectacular, emotional shift of a psychopath in the guise of a normal person. It's specifically explained as, now he takes off his mask. He returns to his true self. Eugene's face was pale and cold like a soulless demon. The silent waves continued to churn in his mind. Assistant Director Park had stepped in a pile of dog poop. His clean new shoes were now stained with filth and impurity. Because of that, his world, space around him suddenly became distorted and deformed. A mysterious and horrifying purple color flooded everything. The narration seemed to continue. What was once normal has now become like a fairy tale. Eugene turned his head, looking at the cute little dog in his imagination. That's right, it's like a dream world. The dog in Assistant Director Park's private world was also quite bizarre, as it was mixed with the unusually bright colors of fireworks. A strange urging voice echoed, "Hurry, hurry, hurry. I feel like I have to do something quickly." That's the feeling. Eugene knelt on one knee, speaking to the dog. "Ah, there you are, you beast." He uttered strange compliments. "You're cute. So soft." Then he reached out and touched its nose. Eugene calmly let out the disgusting words, "It makes me want to make you explode. Make everything splatter everywhere." Along with his words, fireworks bloomed brilliantly in the dark night sky. The little dog was also drenched in that beautiful color, the color of dark red blood. Blood splattered onto his pale face. But he had no reaction at all. No excitement, no joy, no disgust, no fear. The scene ended there. Eugene closed his eyes, then opened them again. At that moment, Eugene had returned to himself, breaking free from the state of being Assistant Director Park. He spoke up, "I'm done." But Hyesun Manu and Yunbi still couldn't escape their shock and horror. The horror brought on by the role of Assistant Director Park. No, they all shared the same thought. How could he be so identical to the character's image? But right after that, they denied it. No, he's even more than that. Before the three of them now was no longer the teenager Eugene, but a cold, cruel man who could kill without batting an eye. They were certain Assistant Director Park is right here in front of us. Yunbi was the most surprised of all because she was the one who wrote this script. She thought in astonishment, Assistant Director Park is a character I poured so much effort into suffering through so many sleepless nights to create. I thought no one could ever bring him to life. Unbi recalled Eugene's cold and oppressive aura from moments ago, feeling both happy and relieved. But this actor, Eugene, he's made all my worries meaningless. The scene of Assistant Director Park killing the dog came to life in the most vivid and realistic way through Eugene's acting engraving itself deep in Yunbi's mind. A dazed Unbi caressed the paper on the table, thinking, an actor's performance overwhelming the script I wrote. This is something I've never experienced before. And I've written so many scripts that even I get sick of looking at them. And I've met countless top actors, like Hong Hye-jeon. Thinking this, she turned her gaze toward Eugene. She praised him sincerely in her head, but I've never met an actor like him. After being lost in a jumble of thoughts, Yunbi made a silent decision. I absolutely cannot lose Eugene. While everyone was still lost in their amazement, Eugene quietly let out a sigh of relief and then criticized himself. Phew, this role is terrible. Eugene glanced down, thinking to himself, or rather that's the personality of Assistant Director Park. It's no wonder I saw such crazy colors. He looked down at the script. He saw the words Hanryang Profiler. Backtracking a few minutes to when Manu handed him the script with the words Hanryang Profiler and said, "This is the beginning of the script. This is the first time it's been revealed to an outsider. Please choose any role from in here and act it out." At that time, Eugene was a bit startled. He could only take the script silently, wondering an audition or something, a model. What did they just say? I don't get it. In my confusion, I remembered something. That's right time. I touched the black box. I decided I needed time to sort out my thoughts. With that thought, the black box activated instantly. Ujin entered his own pitch black space. A series of papers floated in midair. Ujin ran his hands through his hair, sighed, and said, "Finally, I've calmed down, but I'm about to lose my mind. What in the world is going on?" He touched his chin, piecing together what had happened and analyzed it. "They want to cast me as an actor in this huge project. Let's review." So does that mean they want to cast me because of my amazing acting skills? Ujin clicked his tongue in praise. It seems the experience gained in this space it is better than I thought. He looked at the paper floating in front of him and said, "All right then, let's check it out." A few lines of text appeared on those 4 pages. Script title, The Hanryang Profiler. Part 1, Grade A. This is a very high quality movie script, 100% readable. Ujin exclaimed in surprise, "What's this Grade A?" He rubbed his chin and wondered, is Grade A the highest grade? Or is there something even higher? Anyway, I think the audience's rating will be more than double that of the Grade C, Thug Prosecutor. Ujin hesitated. I'm not too sure about... But with this script, I can definitely test out the grades. After that, he started reading the script, or rather the papers laid out before him, raising questions as he read. The Hanryang Profiler. Is it a crime genre? Is there a role in here they want me to play? Is it one of the minor roles? Ujin picked up the paper in front of him and exclaimed, "Well, now that I see it, this isn't too bad for seizing the opportunity and getting an evaluation from those big shots." The 4 pages read, Script you have chosen, title, The Hanryang Profiler. Part 1. List of available characters you can read for. A is Yoo Ji-hyun, B is Jung Sang-min. C is Bae Seo-jun, followed by a series of other names. And finally, Assistant Director Park. Ujin considered for a moment, then decided, since the first few characters are main roles or have a lot of scenes, I'll choose Assistant Director Park, the minor role. The page began to transform. The system's mechanical voice rang out, preparing for reading. Assistant Director Park. Preparation complete. This is a very high-quality script or movie scene. Execution is 100%. Begin reading. The flashback ends here. Returning to the present, Ujin crossed his arms. His face was relaxed, as if a burden had just been lifted. He thought cheerfully, "Phew, I wonder how it went. I'm curious how they'll rate me." Eunmi suddenly shot to her feet, startling Ujin. He let out a silent, "Huh!" in his mind. He stared wide-eyed and shocked at Eunmi, screaming internally, "What's with this lady? She's a little scary. Is she angry?" Beyond Ujin's expectations, Eunmi rushed forward and grabbed his wrist tightly with both hands. She then spoke, her voice pleading desperately, "The role of Assistant Director Park. Please take it. It has to be you." Ujin looked at Youngmi's agitated state and her sudden offer. Manhwa was a little displeased, silently blaming Ryder Park for being too excited. How can she be so reckless in choosing an actor? But I can understand. But she must want to claim him for herself. That monster. Contrary to his calm exterior, Ujin was actually so frightened by Youngmi's sudden action that he froze. His vision swam. This is too overwhelming. I was so surprised when she suddenly grabbed my hand. He suppressed his recent shock and thought carefully. But seeing this rider's reaction, the power of the subspace is truly incredible. Ujin pulled his hands back and said politely, "Youngmi-si, please let go of my hands." Youngmi, after a few moments of boisterous joy, returned to normal. Embarrassed, she let go of his hands and replied, I'm sorry, I forgot myself for a moment." Manwoo spoke up, cutting off their conversation. Ryder Park calmed down. "First, I have a few questions for you, Ujin." Ujin thought with a hint of suspicion. "Questions?" Manwoo began to question him. "In Superstar, you said you were a self-taught actor, right? How long have you been studying?" Ujin silently answered in his mind, "Today is the 2nd day." He thought a vague answer would be fine. Then Ujin continued to play dumb, putting on a cool act and bluffing, "I'm not sure, it's been a while." With just those few deceptive words from Ujin, Manwoo had already imagined a whole bunch of cool things about him. It's been a while, huh? Considering how he got into the villainous role of Assistant Director Park after just a glance at the script, it's probably been close to 15 years, if not more. That overflowing confidence is the proof. Then why has he only appeared now? He excitedly continued to ask him tricky questions. "So where did you study on your own? Even if you're self-taught, there must be a limit to what you can do alone." Ujin's face went blank, his eyes darting around as he thought, "Is that so?" I had no idea. Not hearing Ujin's answer, Manyu continued to guess confidently. "But a director would never pass up an actor like you, and it doesn't seem like you're from some small entertainment company either. So did you study acting abroad?" Hearing that, Ujin's jaw dropped as if to say, "What is this guy even talking about?" He helplessly rolled his eyes, silently worrying, "Abroad, this is getting bigger and bigger. Is it okay to keep this up?" Hyeon, sitting across from him, suddenly noticed his strange reaction. She must have misunderstood something. She raised her hand understandingly and said, "If you have a difficult situation, you don't have to talk about it." Because of Hyeon's words, Ujin came up with a new idea. He spoke up, agreeing with her. "All right then." Inwardly, he was thrilled, praising, "That's Hyeon for you." "Okay, I'll choose to keep my situation a secret, even though it doesn't exist." Manu's mind spun, quickly, silently, assessing. A situation he can't talk about, huh? He appeared on Superstar, so it can't be anything too serious, right? In any case, I can't lose this monster. This incredible monster. Although Manhwa had already acknowledged and praised Woojin in his heart, he didn't stop questioning him. Alright, next question then. Why did you choose the role of Assistant Director Park? The other roles would have been easier to analyze. Ilmi was also curious. I'm curious too. Why Assistant Director Park out of all the other roles? Woojin's reasoning was very simple. It's because his scenes are short. What else? It'll probably be fine to just say it outright, right? And Woojin really did answer the three of them just like that. Because his scenes are short. This left the three of them so stunned their eyes went wide and their jaws dropped. Unmi was shaken to her core. Her face went blank as she thought short. He chose such a difficult role just because the scenes are short. It might be short, but it's 10 times harder to analyze and act. Manhwa was reeling from too many shocks. He couldn't help but silently curse Woojin. Is there something wrong with his brain? Anyone would avoid a troublesome role like Assistant Director Park. Is he a genius or just an eccentric? Hyeon froze her face stiff as if it were glued in place. She cursed him out in her head. I get it now. He's deliberately showing off while pretending not to, as if to say, that role is too easy for me. Woojin was about to melt under the intense stares of the three of them. He guessed it perfectly. It seems like everyone is having some strange thoughts. In the end, he decided, oh, whatever, I'm getting out of here. He stood up and said, I'll think about your offer. I'll be going now. Woojin went out and closed the door, but he was still lost in thought. What was going on in that room? Suddenly his phone rang. He wondered, it was Yang Dai. Woojin picked up the phone and asked, what's up? The person on the other end replied, hey, let's meet up tonight. I promised I'd treat you to meet tonight, right? But Yang Dai didn't forget to add, and bring back those scripts you borrowed the other day. Woojin agreed, okay. While he was on the phone, Hyeon had come up behind him. As Woojin pressed the elevator button, Hyeon suddenly called out, Kang Woojin, Hyeon asked warmly. Why didn't you accept the role right away? Woojin turned around, stunned, looking at her. He couldn't believe that the top actress Hyeon was talking to him. In his head, he gasped in surprise. The beautiful, radiant Hyeon was standing right in front of him in the flesh. Woojin silently screamed, it's Hyeon. His inner self instantly turned into a mindless, crazed fan, cheering excitedly. Hyeon? I can't believe it. Hyeon is talking to me. But Woojin couldn't shatter his image, so he calmly replied, I already said. I need more time to think. He forced himself to turn his head away and not look at Hyeon anymore, thinking to himself, I really went and acted all high and mighty, didn't I? So it would be weird to accept right away. Besides, if I accept immediately, I won't look cool. I have to maintain my cool factor, you know? But Hyeon wasn't put off by his bland, indifferent reaction at all. On the contrary, she became even more interested and moved closer to him. She looked up at Woojin and asked sweetly, so Woojin, are you with any agency? Woojin's mind went into a frenzy, showering Hyeon with praise. Her beauty is no joke. Can she hear my heart pounding like crazy? However, on the outside, he just answered curtly, I'm not. Hyeon asked innocently, why not? Why don't you join one? Woojin replied dismissively, I just don't. Does there have to be a reason? Hyeon continued, no, that's not it. Were you really abroad? Woojin suddenly fell silent. Hyeon cried out in her head, oops, he must have his reasons. I said the wrong thing. Hyeon quickly changed the subject. I'm sorry. So, Woojin, how old are you? Woojin answered honestly, I'm 27. Hyeon beamed, pointed to herself, and said, I'm 2 years older than you. After a while, she circled back to the old topic. You haven't joined an agency yet, have you? Just then the elevator arrived. Woojin turned his head to look at it, thinking, the door is opening, and repeated his earlier answer, that's right. Finally, Hyeon waved goodbye to him. She ended the conversation with, well, Woojin, I really hope to see you on the project. Woojin nodded as the elevator doors slowly closed. Inside the elevator, Woojin's legs gave out and he collapsed to the floor. His soul flew up to cloud nine, screaming wildly in his mind. I just talked to Hyeon. She was standing right in front of me, amazing, amazing. That night, darkness covered the sky. The space was strangely quiet, and at the same time, Eunmi and the others sat down to discuss. From the laptop on the table, a voice played, You're so cute. So soft, it makes me want to make you explode. Director Lee, with a somewhat stunned expression, spoke up. Even though I heard about it from PD Song beforehand, I never imagined it would be this good. Manu, sitting beside him, also gave a satisfied assessment. It feels like he went beyond just playing a role, huh? Then he continued thoughtfully. Did you notice how he immediately went back to normal right after the scene was over? It's like he can switch it on and off without even trying. Even exceptionally talented actors. Very few have that kind of technique. Manu's appreciation grew by the second. He got that skill just by teaching himself. I don't know whether to call him a genius or a madman. Seeing it with my own eyes just makes me even greedier. I know, right? This is the first time I've ever been like this. She held her forehead, thinking of the worst-case scenarios, which was inevitably distressing. It was a truly masterful performance. What if he doesn't take the role of Assistant Manager Park? If not Woojin, then who else could possibly meet my standards? Hearing this, Manu agreed with Youngmi's thinking. I feel the same way. Just then, Director Lee cut in. However, Woojin is truly talented. But the fact that he said he'd think about it is a bit... He trailed off, making Manu curious. What about it? Director Lee presented his opinion. PD Song and Ryder Park have huge reputations. Countless top stars are waiting for a chance to audition, and they would surely accept immediately if you offered them the role of assistant manager Park. With the points he just made, he quickly got to the heart of the matter. Any normal person would have agreed on the spot. Do we really have to choose someone so arrogant? Regarding this, Manu couldn't help but let out a sigh. He's been like that from the very beginning, Manu said with frustration. Kids these days call that style. Director Lee didn't even know that was a thing, wondering, Then another thought made Director Lee instantly panic. Besides, assistant manager Park isn't a small role, it's a supporting role. Why does he have to go this far? Manu fell silent, wondering, could he have an ulterior motive? After a moment of thought, he came to a conclusion. That's it. He's probably just trying to raise his own value, something like, I'll give you people time to realize my worth. Perhaps. Director Lee started to get more intense. His value? Are you talking about his appearance fee? But how much would we pay an unknown like him? I hope that's just your speculation. Manu replied, you're right. This is the first time I've felt this desperate. Well then, I'm at a loss for words. However, Youngmi sitting beside them had a dark and serious expression. I don't care if it's speculation or what. Her face was full of determination. But I'll say just one thing. Don't be cheap with the money. Manu also considered it. CEO Lee, whether it's speculation or not, isn't he worth the price? Director Lee looked at the murderous aura that still surrounded Youngmi and felt a chill. This feels like a threat. Then he cautiously began to speak. We also have to consider our position as the production company in this matter. Right. If we do as you suggest, rumors will spread throughout the industry. Manu also agreed with this point. Then let's do it, he said, writing on a piece of paper. Considering the potential gossip and rumors, let's set his salary higher than average, but put a confidentiality clause in the contract. Then he slapped the paper and said, he's probably smart enough to estimate his own value at a reasonable level. This is the best plan I can come up with. Manu picked up his phone and turned to ask, and now that everyone has decided, I can call him about accepting the role, right? Director Lee was silent in thought, then just gave a single nod. He had just dialed when the other person quickly picked up. Hello? Manu, in a great mood, asked, Ujin, have you thought about it? Seeing the person on the other end of the line wasn't answering, Manu spoke first. Are you considering it? Is it because of the appearance fee? I don't mean anything by it, I'm just curious. Manu quickly got to the point. Okay, how about this? Since we want to finalize the contract for the role of Assistant Director Park, quickly think it over today. We'll meet tomorrow to discuss the actual terms, and you can make your decision after that. Eugene, on his end, having heard what he was told before, calmly replied, all right. Manu on the other end instructed, please come to Sea Blue Studio at 10 a.m. Eugene immediately said, okay. After hanging up, the young man couldn't help but feel bewildered, wondering to himself, he suddenly called to ask me about an appearance fee. What on earth does he mean? I should ask Yang Dai about this. After a while, Eugene arrived at a restaurant and greeted the other person. Hello. The restaurant was bustling. Seeing Eugene arrive, Yang Dai exclaimed, oh, Eugene, you're here. He handed something back to him. Here, I'm returning the scripts I borrowed. But his close friend, after taking them, looked at him suspiciously. Did you actually read them? I hope you didn't use them as coasters or something. Eugene assured him, I did read them. Then he thought to himself, I even copied scenes from Detective Agency. Eugene sat down at the table and seriously asked to confirm. But is it true that the short film Detective Agency won't be put into production? Yang Dai replied, that's right, but when I asked an acquaintance, he said an investor suddenly agreed to produce it. Looks like they're going to hold auditions for the film. Eugene carefully probed a little further. So if it's produced, will it be released in theaters? Yang Dai, who knew his stuff, told him, no way, it won't even be promoted. It's just a short film. Even many commercial films don't get that kind of treatment, let alone a short film. Besides, the director isn't famous either. Eugene continued to ask, what if it gets a good response? His friend shared without hesitation, well, there's only one reward if a short film succeeds. It would win an award at public exhibitions or film societies like the Red Dragon Film Festival, or a special short film festival. The two continued to chat while eating. Eugene asked more. Don't you know which production company or film company is behind Detective Agency? Seeing him suddenly so eager, Yang Dai found it a bit strange. But he still helped wholeheartedly. Why are you suddenly so interested in this field? I'll send you a link to a community for film professionals later. You can find information about Detective Agency there. Eugene looked at Yang Dai and said seriously, thanks. And Yang Dai, imagine you're an unknown actor. What would you do if you were invited by a big producer? Or a famous writer? At Eugene's question, Yang Dai was taken aback for a moment. He just replied, that's weird. Why are you asking that? To be honest, it would be like a miracle for an unknown actor to be invited to a project. Wouldn't it? Yang Dai casually retorted, no, not even a miracle. It's more like that kind of thing never happens. No one invites an amateur if it's a big movie. For a big project, there are tons of actors they can cast. They wouldn't want to get a spot through connections or anything. He calmly asserted, if an unknown actor gets a role like that, they must be working for free. But that kind of thing never happens. Hearing Yang Dai's long-winded analysis, Wu Jin's face went pale. He said to himself, sorry, but that exact case is right in front of you. Still, since he didn't have much experience, Eugene wanted to get Yang Dai's opinion. Let's say that unknown actor was you. How much of an appearance fee would you negotiate for? Young Dae, while chewing his food, answered enthusiastically. If it were me, no matter how much they paid, I'd just say thank you and accept. Usually a rookie gets 30,000 won per episode, but even if they only paid me 3,000 won, I'd still happily agree. Hearing what Young Dae said, Woojin felt a bit awkward. He thought to himself, I get what he's saying, but 3,000 won is a bit... But what if it's really only 3,000 won? The next day, Woojin actually showed up for the job. Someone came out to greet him. Hello, Woojin. Please this way. Director Lee pressed the floor button in the elevator, his sharp, cold gaze sweeping over him as he said, hurry up and get in. Seeing his attitude, Woojin couldn't help but let his mind wander. What the hell? So rude. Does he hate me or something? Once inside the elevator, Director Lee spoke up. Excuse me, Kang Woojin. There's something I need to say. This piqued Woojin's curiosity. He focused on what Director Lee was about to say. I've been in the production industry for a long time, but this is the first time I've ever encountered a case like this. For instance, today's negotiation for your appearance fee. It was only then that Woojin blankly realized. I'm here today to negotiate an appearance fee. Director Lee continued, I don't know how much you're expecting, but the figure you'll be offered today is above the average rate. Frankly, I was against it. But the PD and the writer insisted. A lot of eyes will be on you, so you need to be careful. It's not good to have rumors spreading right from the start. I'm just telling you this to help you out before you meet the PD. Woojin looked at Director Lee, thinking to himself, he's so hard to read. After hearing all that, it almost sounds like he's worried about me. He then replied, I understand. He couldn't help but feel conflicted by what Kang Dae had said. I just hope they offer more than 3,000 won. Soon the elevator doors opened. Director Lee called to him, we're here. Let's go. Woojin reined in his financial ambitions, telling himself, I guess I shouldn't expect much more than that. The door to the room which had been shut was opened. Director Lee announced, PD Woojin is here. Woojin walked in with Director Lee. Seeing Manhwa, he greeted him. Manhwa, sitting in his chair, waved him over. Hello, Woojin. Please have a seat here. He silently sized him up. He's as hard to read as ever today. Before anything else, Manhwa brought out a contract and said, here, take a look. This is for you. Wow, there are a lot of complicated clauses in here. Respecting both the other party and himself, Woojin carefully reviewed the contract. Manhwa's voice cut in. But the main thing I want to discuss is the appearance fee that we're offering you. Woojin thought to himself, the appearance fee, it's unclear what he saw in the contract, but Woojin's eyes suddenly widened in utter disbelief. Manhwa laid it out for him. Your appearance fee will be around 250,000 won per episode. What do you think? The enormous figure made Woojin's jaw drop. 250,000 won, that's 800 times 3,000 won. I wonder if that's before or after taxes. But that's more than my monthly salary. Actually, he used to make around 2 to 3 million won at the design firm. Woojin suppressed his emotions, putting on a cool expression. Instead, he remained silent and pensive, which made Manhwa a bit nervous. Does he think it's not enough? This isn't a good reaction. Well, the role of Assistant Director Park isn't a simple one after all. So Manhwa carefully elaborated, Woojin, the typical appearance fee for a rookie is usually between 20,000 and 40,000 won per episode. You're a special case. And I think it would be a shame to treat you like just another rookie. Woojin looked at Manhwa thinking, he's got a good eye. Manhwa continued to explain, the 250,000 won per episode we're offering doesn't even include additional fees, like for YouTube broadcasts and such. While it's not set in stone, Assistant Director Park will likely appear until the end of episode 4. And if he appears in later episodes, in things like flashbacks or dream sequences, you'll be paid for those too. In total, you'll receive over 10 million won. Woojin closed his eyes and calmly replied, I had anticipated as much. But inside his mind was racing. Said, 10 million, this is insane. Even for a special case, that's way too much for someone like me. In that case, top actors like Hisung, how much do they get paid? Manhwa, meanwhile, continued to sweeten the deal. For you, instead of 10 million for a whole series, I'm sure that sooner or later you'll be making tens of millions per episode. I'm sure you're aware of that. Woojin couldn't help but feel it was surreal. Is this kind of thing I only read about in articles really happening to me? His jaw felt tight. Finally, Manhwa pressed for an answer. So, is 250,000 won per episode acceptable? Woojin thought pensively. Even though it's not quite enough, I'm curious what my current value really is. So he asked, am I worth 250,000 per episode? He thought to himself, it's better to know for sure than to be in the dark. It'll also help me decide how to act from now on. Observing Woojin's expression, Manhwa began to worry. Even after my explanation, his reaction isn't what I'd hoped for. He seems a bit disappointed. He closed his eyes, recalling what Yoonmi had said. Don't be stingy with the money. He thought to himself, I get it, Ryder Park. A little money is not important. We have to lock him down. And so without hesitation, Manhwa offered a different price. All right, in my personal opinion, you're worth 350,000. This is truly a first and only case. In exchange, a confidentiality clause regarding your salary and the casting process will be added to the contract. The news hit Director Lee, who was sitting right next to Manhwa like a bolt from the blue. Hearing the new price, his jaw dropped in astonishment. Manhwa asked Woojin as before, is that more appealing to you now? Woojin mentally calculated 350. Then he answered straightforwardly, I think that will be sufficient. Seeing that Ujin knew when to stop, Director Lee let out a quiet sigh of relief. Finally, I can breathe now. Phew. So you agree? Then I'll briefly explain the contract details. The entire schedule for the founder of Hanryang has been included in the contract, as well as the staff set builders, investors, production. And promotion and information will be relayed at lightning speed. Ujin replied curtly. Understood. But at that moment, he was thinking, what on earth is he talking about? I don't understand a single thing. Oh, well, as long as I remember the important keywords, I should be fine. Yes. Manhwa told him, Ujin, I'll send you the official script once it's published. If there's a season 3, I'll contact you personally. We usually send information through the agency. But it seems you haven't joined an agency yet. Ujin replied, yes, not yet. Manhwa didn't see that as a problem, but was cautious. He said, that's fine. Even without an agency, it's not an inconvenience right now. And you don't need to go looking for one. When the Hanyang Files airs, the entire entertainment industry will come looking for you. Or it might even happen before that. Ujin asked, I see. Is there anything I need to prepare? Manhwa answered, I think for now, you just need to practice your acting. I'll give you the first part of the draft script today. So Ujin, please do a great job with the role of Assistant Manager Park. After their business was concluded, Ujin left hesitantly still, not fully processing what had happened. He thought to himself, I can't believe it. My acting was actually acknowledged. For real. Am I really becoming an actor? He started to get flustered. So, people are going to see me on TV? Does that mean I'll have a manager too? Whoa, that sounds so cool. Ujin pondered further. I also need to find an agency, right? Yangdae definitely said, I should ask Yangdae again. An agency definitely has its pros and cons. A large entertainment agency will provide great support but tends to be stricter. While a smaller company offers less support, they'll give you more freedom. That's what he said. I wonder when I should choose an agency. But then an image of Yangdae appeared in his mind, curiously asking, why are you asking about that stuff? Suddenly his phone rang. It was his mom. Because of that, he remembered something important and thought to himself, right, I have to tell mom and dad. Of course I don't need to tell their daughter. So Ujin answered the phone. Mom, what's up? His mom asked directly. What's this? Did you change jobs? He answered evasively. Then Ujin, feeling a bit awkward, replied, well, that's one way to put it. Mom, I think I'm going to be an actor. For a moment, the line went silent. Hearing no response, Ujin said, Mom. A faint female voice came from the other end of the line. Son, do you want to go to the hospital? 2 days after the contract for the role of Assistant Manager Park was finalized, rumors about Ujin began to spread throughout the industry. Have you heard? You know, Ryder Park's new project, right? I heard they've already cast the role of Assistant Manager Park. As a mysterious actor from the Hanyang Files, which held a significant position among domestic production and entertainment companies, the whispers among the crowd were endless. You know the Hanyang Files, right? Apparently, they've cast a second actor besides Hyeseon. For real, seriously, this is the first I'm hearing of it. Starting with the production company Sea Blue Studio, the rumors gradually escalated. The chatter seemed endless. Lighting director, have you heard the news? They've confirmed the actor for Assistant Manager Park. Who is it? Who managed to get past that picky writer? I don't know. You don't know who it is either. I thought you'd know, that's why I asked. Starting with the hundreds of staff members of the Hanyang Files, they couldn't help but be curious about who was chosen. They're saying it's Kim Hyun. No. They said it's an actor who's worked overseas. Wow. Since they're joining Seo Hye-yeon, they must be at least an A-list actor. The rumors spread everywhere, including media companies, entertainment agencies, production houses, and broadcasting stations. With his name kept under wraps, Kang Woo-jin was gradually gaining a reputation in the industry. Of course, the main character himself, Kang Woo-jin, was unaware of this. At this time, he was still holed up in his house. He was staring blankly at the script, wondering, should I try out for other roles in season 1 of the Hanyang Files? First, I need to find information about Detective Company. Ujin hunched over his laptop, began his search. Let's see, the information posted on the film community link that Yang. They sent me. It's not all verified, so it's hard to just blindly trust it. When he found a useful piece of information, Ujin paused for a moment. This title seems credible, though. It has a lot of views and comments, too. The screen displayed the film's information. Title, Detective Company, short film. Production company, Green Vision Film. Genre, independent film. Director, Shin Dong-chun, unknown. News of its confirmed production is spreading. It's almost certain because an actress I know mentioned that she auditioned for this short film. Countless questions ran through Ujin's mind. What other information should I look for, director Shin Dong-chun? Nothing comes up. What about Green Vision Film? All he could find was the company's location and that they specialize in short films. He thought carefully. Like Yangdae said, the indie short and art film scene definitely seems tough. So in the end, all I found was the company address and a tiny bit of information. Should I give up on Detective Company? Ujin looked up disappointed. But that script was so interesting. Besides, while TV dramas can be judged by their ratings, Detective Company is an unreleased short film that's already been rated B grade. I'm so curious. And since it's a short film, it'll be less of a burden. Ujin crossed his arms, humbly calculating. I heard that even top actors start with small projects. So maybe I should try something too. Something small, like a short film, Well, if there are no roles left, there's nothing I can do. From here on out, going straight to the film company is definitely the only option. Ujin glanced at the script next to him, telling himself, I've finished the entire detective agency script, and I'm interested in the film. It's time to start the reading experience. In the side space, he reached out about to place his hand on the small screen beside him, but just then his phone rang, successfully grabbing his attention. He wondered who it could be. On the phone screen, a name of a dear one appeared, Fuk Hugh. Ujin looked at it and understood immediately. He guessed, is it her? After years of me not answering her calls, she must have heard from Mom that I'm going to be an actor. The moment he saw his little sister calling Ujin, could already see how this would play out. He was resolute, 100% sure she was calling to laugh in his face. I'm not picking up. He could already imagine the scene of being mocked. Ha ha, you're an actor. But just a few seconds after the phone stopped ringing, it started again. It kept ringing and ringing, the shrill sound irritating him endlessly. Ujin picked up the phone, furious. Are you crazy? You want to get cussed out? This time, looking at the phone screen, it was a different person calling. Ujin was shocked. What the? An unknown number. Is she calling from a friend's phone or something? But he decided to answer it anyway to see. As soon as he picked up, he spoke first. Hello. The person on the other end replied politely. Hello, this is Hong Hye-seon. Hearing this, Ujin froze, his jaw dropping in surprise. He became flustered, his mind reeling in disbelief. What Hye-seon, the top actress Hye-seon is calling me. Wait, calm down. I have to stay cool. Getting character. Thinking this, Ujin immediately switched modes, putting on a serious, cold demeanor as he replied to her. Hello. Hye-seon said, that's not the reaction I was expecting. Hye-seon seemed very happy at this moment. She said, but never mind that. I heard you agreed to play the role of Assistant Director Park. I never would have guessed. A lot of rumors are spreading among the staff. Everyone's curious. But Ujin himself hadn't gotten the news yet. He thought to himself, that's a thing, then replied vaguely. Is that so? Hye-seon told him the role of Assistant Director Park is a hot topic right now. At this rate, you'll be famous after the very first script reading, Ujin. She was both cheerful and excited. Everyone will think they're sitting with a famous actor, but then they'll realize it's someone they've never heard of. Their reactions will probably be really interesting, huh? I thought I would be the one to break the news, since I've known about you from the beginning. See you at the script reading. Hearing Hye-seon's tone, Ujin blushed a little, thinking, she's smiling. He replied, yes, you've worked hard. Hearing the leading man's words, Hye-seon pouted. What was that? Is that how you say goodbye after work? Don't make me go back into work mode. I'm resting now. After Hye-seon hung up, Ujin was still stunned. Holy crap. That was the top actress Hye-seon's phone number, and she even called me by my name so casually. He thought to himself, people in the industry definitely react differently from family. Mom's first reaction was, do you want to see a doctor? One family member won't even pick up my calls. And then there's an actual actress. He had already predicted his little sister's reaction. He told himself, whatever. I should find more information about detective agency. The sky gradually darkened. The scene changes to a restaurant. Just then Manwoo walks in. As soon as he sees the person, he waves and calls out, hey, Shin-dong-chun. As Manwoo sat down at the table, the other person spoke. You're late. Very late. Is this your work style now? Manwoo chose his words to explain, sorry, there was an accident or something, so the traffic was terrible. And the script meeting for the profiler was delayed too. Hearing this, Dong-chun asked, it seems the profiler is a hot topic lately. Writer Park must be busy, huh? How many scripts are finished? Manwoo calmly replied, about 2 to 3 episodes. Several different completed scripts will be published tomorrow. Looking at the food in front of Dong-chun, he couldn't help but wonder, why are you just eating kimchi with soju? If you act miserable, your life will become miserable. Shin Dong-chun replied, come on, you already know Hyung-nim. He said to Manwoo, my situation right now really is miserable. Why should I pretend it's not? Manwoo said worriedly to Shin Dong-chun, you idiot, have you completely lost your spirit? Manwoo said in a serious tone, you came from the same SBC scriptwriting department as me, and you had a pretty good track record as a PD. Did you leave SBC just to make these weak excuses model? You made a risky decision because you wanted to pursue your dream and make a movie. The break was a bit long, but you'll get it done soon. I heard you even found an investor for your film. However, Shin Dong-chun just remained silent, not saying a word. Manwoo thought for a moment and asked, so what's the name of the project you're writing the script for? Dong-chun answered curtly, Detective Agency. The title is Detective Agency. It's a short film. Manwoo exclaimed, Detective Agency. I heard the estimated production cost is about 30 million won, right? Awesome, Dong-chun said to him. It hasn't been announced yet, but it might be 40 million won. He held the glass of wine in his hand deep in thought. The problem is the investor is from the entertainment industry, and they're asking us to cast their actors in exchange for the investment. They want us to use a few of their rookies and cast Park Jong-hyuk as the male lead. Manwoo was instantly alarmed. Park Jong-hyuk, what? The guy who ruined his own career by getting into a drunken fight? That bastard. So GGO Entertainment is the investor. It feels like they're using you to clean up his image like a fresh start. Dong-chun spoke up. If he plays the lead, even if people try to see it in a positive light, Detective Agency will just become his big comeback project. I didn't work like a madman for all these years just to clean up some bastard's reputation. Manwoo found it hard to stay silent and suggested, Should I introduce an actor to you? Dongchun asked skeptically. What, you? Aren't all the actors around you top stars? Manhwa explained profoundly. Just because they're top tier doesn't mean they won't be interested in short film scripts. Even Star Hong takes on independent scripts, if they're good. But the person I want to introduce isn't an A-lister. It's someone else, although I'm not sure if he'll accept. Hearing that, Dongchun's spirits lifted a bit. He asked curiously, who is it? Manwu quickly replied, he's someone we had a really hard time casting. Kang Woo-jin. Manwu's introduction of Woo-jin was, he's a newcomer. It's only natural you don't know him. Dongchun looked interested and continued, Woo-jin, you say? Must be a promising rookie, huh? However, if he joins your film, he'll be focused on that. Would he be willing to do a short film too? Manwu immediately replied to Dongchun with a very annoyed expression. He's going to be a huge star. If we get him now, we could attract new investors. We won't know unless we try right. Hearing that, Dongchun replied with an indifferent expression, all right, fine. Too many things have happened to me this past year. He looked at the glass in his hand with a twisted expression, his face dark as he muttered, and it's hard to see the last bit of my pride get crushed. While he was feeling down, Shin Dongchun remembered. The detective agency matter was dropped. I'm a bit exhausted. The very next day, news about Manwu's new project was plastered all over the hot search. The next day, as dawn broke, and the entire entertainment industry was on fire. It was all due to the comprehensive promotion by profiler Han Riang, which released articles to pique the public's curiosity by revealing details leading up to the premiere. Meanwhile, during an interview, Yunmi excitedly shared some news she knew. Yunmi clarified, saying, this project will have a really outstanding actor who steals the show. And of course, the articles that sparked a little curiosity were just a bonus, riding the wave of curiosity. And the public's explosive anticipation. Profiler Han Riang. The film's title was announced at noon that day. This wave of public opinion also came with days of intense activity on phones and the internet. Anyone who opened their phone would see news related to that movie for the day. The attention skyrocketed because of it. The news spread quickly and captured the public's interest. A hand holding a phone scrolling through the news praised admiringly. This is insane, truly impressive. Shin Dong-chun, lying on his sofa, spoke aloud. I'm glad it's my best friend's project, but I'm also a little worried. They scheduled for 3 o'clock, right? Why aren't they here yet? Today, Director Park from GGO Entertainment was supposed to bring some rookies at 3 o'clock, but it was already 20 minutes past. Haha, I've officially been stood up. At that, Dong-chun pouted in frustration. He stood up, not forgetting to grumble. They think they're the ones in charge. I should just give up. Just as Shin Dong-chun was preparing to leave, someone spoke up saying, excuse me, causing him to glance towards the source of the voice. In Dong-chun's line of sight was a handsome young man. But his face was dark and his fists were clenched. Seeing this, he thought, what's this? He's tall and looks pretty decent. Oh, he must be a rookie from GGO Entertainment. He questioned him a bit annoyed. You're a little late. You had an appointment for 3 o'clock. But the other person asked back, me? Hey, there are only 2 of us here. Was I talking to a ghost? Hearing that, Dong-chun replied, no. Didn't Director Park go for coffee or something? Where is he? Even while asking, he remained polite and said, you can come in. Hearing that, the young man also stepped inside. Looking at the person sitting in front of him, Shin Dong-chun spoke calmly. Director Park will show us the profiles. While we wait for him, let's see your acting. Even so, he couldn't help but think that while GGO was a major entertainment company, they were known for having many lackluster rookies. The kid's aloofness gave him a certain degree of confidence. But acting is a different story. With that thought, Dong-chun spoke up. Are you ready? You didn't just come here to go through the motions, did you? The young man, his face still obscured, was silent for a moment before speaking. I have a few performances to show you. Perhaps sensing something ominous, Dong-chun's face grew haggard as he raised my son, his finger as if to show that time wasn't a concern, and said, okay, the length doesn't matter. Just go ahead. The performance officially began. The story was titled Detective Agency. With a 45-minute runtime, it was quite long for a short film. And of course, with a title related to detectives, how could it not have a detective? A man with a future as bleak as his company's appeared in the narration. It described a sudden event that happened to a man named Kim Ryujin, who ran his own company. The scene changed. Kim Ryujin was sitting and talking with a client. One day, a client in his 40s stopped by and requested an investigation. He suspected his wife was having an affair. Kim Ryujin took the case and began tailing the client's wife. As expected, the wife met another man while her husband was on a business trip. 2 cars, one after the other, drove down a tree-lined road with Kim Ryujin tailing them. He followed them to a secluded villa deep in Gangwon. From lunchtime until early afternoon, the 2 stayed together like a real couple. But suddenly, the man's head fell into his soup bowl. Seeing this, the wife called someone. Then a burly man appeared. He dragged the unconscious lover into a car and drove off to an unknown location. Having just taken the case, Kim Ryujin was stunned to have witnessed a murder scene. He confirmed that a villa window was open and cautiously stepped inside. Good grief, he's a detective, not a burglar. He soon discovered a door leading to the basement. In the basement, through a door that had been left ajar, a stranger was lying face down on the floor. After confirming the person was still alive, Kim Ryujin shook him. But upon hearing a noise from upstairs, he hid in a corner of the basement where some broken furniture was piled up. As an actor, Woojin embodied the character's nervousness, breathing heavily, his eyes darting around. And now, Kim Ryujin was a fugitive inside the villa. Detective Agency was a short film that blended tension, suspense, and unexpected twists within the confined space of a villa. Kim Ryujin was kneeling on one knee, his face serious as he observed the situation. He spoke his voice, creating an unnecessarily tense atmosphere to portray the main character, Kim Ryujin. The role required top-tier acting to make the villa feel like a magnificent nightmare. Furthermore, Detective Agency focused heavily on sound effects, making the auditory presentation extremely important. The work also emphasized the main character's inner turmoil and facial expressions as key elements. A bewildered look was clear on Dongchun's face when he heard the words, "I'm done." Hearing that, he couldn't help but wonder, what did I just watch? That must have been a challenging performance, wasn't it? This is insane. It feels like Kim Ryujin is right here in front of me, more vivid than real life. This is a style of acting I've never seen before. And then a question formed in his mind. Did GGO really develop this guy? Holding on to that thought, Dongchun spoke up. "Excuse me, how long have you been with GGO Entertainment?" Perhaps because he was so focused on the answer, he didn't notice someone pushing the door open. It was Director Park with a cheerful expression, followed by a man and a woman waving hello. "Ha ha ha. Director, sorry I'm a little late. Goodness, are you in a meeting? Who's that?" "An actor." Dongchun, surprised, asked back. "What?" Dumbfounded Dongchun turned to the director and said, "Director Park, you don't know him." The young man finally spoke up. "It seems there's been some kind of misunderstanding. I don't know that person." Hearing this, Dongchun's jaw dropped. He asked, "What do you mean?" "Then who are you?" His handsome face was finally revealed as the young man replied, "My name is Kang Woo-jin." I was so confident, Woojin thought helplessly. But now I get it. After reading Detective Agency, I was prepared for rejection, but I wondered why they were acting like they didn't know me. He must have mistaken me for someone else. It seems this big guy was the one who was originally supposed to come. Director Park then stepped in front of Dongchun and said, "Director, what should we do? Should we stay here?" Woojin glanced at Dongchun and thought, so he's the director of Detective Agency. In contrast to the calm demeanor of the other two, he was completely stunned, his mouth agape as he said to Director Park, "Our appointment was at 3 o'clock. It's already past that time. Looks like staying here any longer will cause big trouble." Woojin thought so. He stood up and said, "Well, I'll be going then." He also thought, "Our business here is done. Let's just go back. I came because I was interested in a B-rank project, but it seems things have gotten complicated. And just as I thought, both the main and supporting roles have already been decided. I don't want to take any role lower than a supporting one, but those two are really good looking. Anyway, I guess I'll have to give up on Detective Agency." Looking at Woojin's retreating back, Dongchun called out, "Wait a minute." The name Kang Woo-jin sounded familiar and his brain started working. "Wait a second, Kang Woo-jin, why does that name sound so familiar? Where have I heard that before?" I remember that line, "My name is Kang Woo-jin," along with that handsome face, but his hand was just hovering in midair. He just stood there dumbfounded. Kang Woo-jin. That's definitely the name he mentioned. Could it be they're the same person? The scene shifts to a lavish location. A luxurious wooden house appears before towering buildings. A group of people are eating inside, their lively chatter filling the air. Manhwa speaks up. Ha, it's so refreshing to get together like this. Isn't it? The view is beautiful." Another person adds, "Enjoy your meal, everyone." Suddenly, Manhwa's phone rings. Excuse me for a moment. He answers the phone with a cheerful expression. "Dongchun, I'm in a meeting right now, but I'll head over to your place later." Before he could finish, the person on the other end cut in. Hyung Dongchun exclaims, "The actor you mentioned yesterday, Woojin, I think he's over 180 centimeters tall, with striking features and a very suspicious aura, and he has a deep voice." Hearing his description, Manhwa can't help but wonder, "How do you know that?" Dongchun replies, "You said he heard something about the movie. Actor Kang Woo-jin came to see me today." Hearing this, Manhwa is so surprised, he shouts, "He went there. Kang Woo-jin. How did he know?" Hearing him say that, Yesion and Unmi also flinched and looked over. In an instant, their expressions changed, their mouths hanging open as they also thought Kang Woo-jin. Manhwa was no different. So surprised, he was bewildered. He found out and went there. "Because he knew it was someone I knew." "No, I just met Shin Dong-chun yesterday, and I only recently learned about Kang Woo-jin. What is happening?" Regaining his composure, Manhwa sits back down and asks over the phone, "So what did that friend do when he stopped by?" Dongchun replies, "He showed me his acting skills." On Dongchun's end, he still looks terrified as he quickly answers, "His acting, what was it like?" "It was as if a character I knew had walked right out of the page." "No, the way he acted was so incredibly vivid." Manhwa, unsurprised, says, "That's usually the case when you watch him act." "Yes, Dongchun, I don't know what the situation is, so I'll contact Woojin separately. I'm in a meeting right now, so I'll just say one thing. Kang Woo-jin suddenly came to see you. The phoenix has flown to you on its own. If you let this chance slip by, you'll regret it." Dongchun is surprised and glances at his phone. His mouth agape, he thinks about his Hyung's words, "A phoenix?" Then Dongchun hurriedly and quickly replies, Got it. It was a style of acting I've never heard of or seen before. But does he really deserve that much praise from you? Manhwa replies clearly, both you and I were captivated by his acting, weren't we? Besides, I don't just evaluate his acting skills. Remembering Ujin's cold and powerful aura. Manhwa continues, how should I put it? There's something very special about his presence. He has star quality, but it's something very different. You understand? There's a mysterious texture to him that's very unique. He's destined to become a top actor, which is why we finally went through all the trouble to get him for our project. And now you're telling me someone like him came to your place to show off his skills. Doesn't that mean he's interested in your work? Dongchun asks worriedly, interested in my detective agency? Manhwa replies, in my assessment, yes. I don't know how he found out about your script, but touching a piece of paper, Manhwa resolves the question. Kang Woo-jin isn't the type of person who would spend a lot of time looking for a project. That shows that Kang Woo-jin likes your detective agency. Hearing Manhwa's words, Dongchun falls into a bit of a daze, his face blank as if he can't believe what he's hearing. If he didn't have any interest at all, would he have gone out of all that trouble to come see you? Hearing this, Dongchun can't help but think he's interested in my work. On Manhwa's end, he's smiling brightly as he asks, do you have his number yet? Not yet, huh? Well, let me give it to you. If he already went to your place, it should be fine to give you his number. There. Contact him and set up a meeting. Dongchun quickly replies, I will. Hearing that Manhwa's worries ease as he says, good. All right, talk to you later. Before he even lowers the phone, Manhwa thinks he really went there in person. I'm feeling a little jealous. Jealous at my age, just getting back to my usual self. Manhwa smiled and apologized. I had an unexpected call. Let's continue our story, shall we? But Heseon was lost in thought and said nothing. And then a thought flashed through her mind, the name Kang Woo-jin, which had just been mentioned. Should I ask about it later? Pushing the thought aside, Heseon turned to the girl across from her and spoke. Yes, you said you had something you needed to talk to me about. Unbi perceptive as ever turned and replied, oh right. But she couldn't resist pointing at Heseon and laughing teasingly. It's nothing serious. It's about the sample clothes that Star Hong sent over. They're too flashy. Remind the wardrobe department to pick some simpler and more subtle outfits, okay? Heseon, looking embarrassed, squeezed her eyes shut and replied, it's because our team got a little too excited. I'll definitely talk to them. Yunbi, putting on the air of a wise old woman, pointed and instructed. And as for Yujumin, please have him adjust his diet until the script reading. He flinched and quickly replied, what again? Youngmin is practically glowing like a star. Fragrant white flowers seemed to bloom all around him, making him look even more beautiful. Did I go a bit overboard with the praise? Oh well, I understand. If it's an order from the writer, I have to obey. Perhaps it's because of that otherworldly beauty that he is. Meki, top actor Ryu Jung-min. But quick as a flash, he changed the subject to talk with Manhwa, director. Which actor is taking on the role of assistant director Park? There are a few rumors, but it seems like no one knows for sure. Is it the person you mentioned during the interview, the one who's a scene stealer? According to the script, assistant director Park has a lot of connections to my character. Give me a little hint. Why does it have to be such a big secret? Manhwa calmly replied, it's a surprise. Everyone will find out on the day of the script reading. Just try to wait a little longer. Youngmin immediately put on a cute pouty expression and whined. I'm so curious, but fine. Seeing this, a triumphant man, Yu raised a hand to his chin, smiled and said, speaking of the script reading, I have an idea. Let's organize a group trip to build some camaraderie, shall we? What does everyone think? It'll be fun, right? Scene change to an apartment complex. By now, dusk has fallen. Ujin is standing in the middle of the room drying his hair. The room is littered with scripts and dark piles on the floor. While drying his hair, Ujin suddenly remembered the man and woman who were chosen as the main and supporting characters, and couldn't help but think the detective agency is probably out of my reach now. Looks like the main and supporting roles have all been decided. Those two are really good looking. Are there really that many unknown talents like them in the entertainment industry? No matter how strong the supporting cast is in the real world, the power of connections is much stronger. Nothing you can do about it. It makes me feel lucky just to have been a part of it. The Hanryang profiler, the detective agency. It's a shame, but it's not something I should dwell on. It's not the only script I have. As he was lost in thought, suddenly the sound of his phone ringing snapped him out of his wandering thoughts. Huh? He looked at the screen, which only showed an unknown number. Ujin thought, an unknown number. Why have I been getting so many strange calls lately? Even so, he answered the phone. Hello. Since it was an unknown number, he put on a different voice. Just as he spoke, the person on the other end said, is this Ujin? This is Shin Jong-chun. We met at Blue Vision Film. Do you remember? You performed for me. Hearing that, Ujin immediately remembered Jong-chun's jawline and thought, oh, that director with the square jaw. But why is he calling me at this hour? Despite his thoughts, he replied with suspicious eyes. The director of the detective agency. How did you get my number? Jong-chun replied from the other end of the line. My apologies. I got it from PD Manhwa, no one else. Hearing this, Ujin felt uneasy, his head filling with question marks. An image of Manhwa's face mouth, agape, and waving hello popped into his mind. As the image appeared, his thoughts began to race. PD Manhwa, how am I involved with him again? Before Ujin could dwell on it, Jong-chun spoke. Ujin, could I meet with you again? I have a few things I'd like to discuss with you about the detective agency. If you're available, how about tomorrow morning at the cafe near your place? The next day arrived quickly. Bright sunlight shone on the roof of a fancy cafe. As Ujin pushed the door open and walked in, Yongchun, who was already seated, called out, "Over here." Looking at Eugene's emotionless face, he thought, just as my senior said, he really does have a different energy from other actors, indifferent and distant. Despite these thoughts, Shin Jong-chun still greeted him. "Hello, Eugene." After Eugene sat down, he spoke again. "I apologize for calling you so suddenly last night. Thinking back, it was quite rude of me." Eugene just closed his eyes and replied nonchalantly, "It's fine. So what did you want to talk about?" Jong-chun answered hesitantly, "I know this is a bit sudden, but you've read my script for the detective agency, right? What did you think of it?" He said that, but inside Dong-chun was incredibly restless. I felt anxious, like I was confessing my deepest feelings, yet Ujin just put on a stone-cold expression and crossed his arms. He stared straight ahead, saying nothing. Finally, he spoke. "It's a work that I quite like." Hearing that, Dongchun blushed like a shy maiden, flattered by the compliment, and with that, thoughts began to surface in his mind. He really likes it. A script that was always rejected and ignored. The first actor to show affection for my work has appeared. Yes, he's right. All the scars from being trampled on and ignored are healing. Wiping away a tear of joy from his face, Dongchun spoke cheerfully. "Thank you. Thank you so much, Ujin. Really." Facing him was Ujin's emotionless face. After a few seconds of processing, he looked bewildered and confused. What's with him now? The square-jawed director is suddenly crying. "Did I say something wrong by saying I liked it? It might sound a bit over the top, but it's true that I really paid attention to Detective Agency. I had to maintain my cool image, so I just wrapped it all up in that one word. What's wrong with him?" Before him, Dongchun was excitedly clasping his hands like a child as he spoke. "Ujin, can I ask what part of Detective Agency you found particularly special?" No. What did you like about it?" Ujin flinched. Why the sudden change? Then he thought, first I need to calm him down with a few compliments. Yeah, compliments. Maintain my attitude and lower my voice a bit. With that thought, he spoke hesitantly. First of all, I liked the detailed portrayal of the main character, Kim Ryujin's psychological changes. At first, I wasn't that interested. And then, just like that, a flood of eloquent words poured out. And once again, Dongchun was moved, his eyes welling up with tears. How is this possible? He knows everything so clearly. It's as if he transmigrated into Detective Agency and came back. He must have read it dozens of times, maybe even more. But his thoughts weren't wrong because Ujin really had transmigrated and returned. Shin Dong-chun, you found an actor who cares this deeply about Detective Agency. Are you really going to throw Detective Agency away just for money? His acting is top-notch. His ability to analyze the work is also meticulous. What's there to hesitate about anymore? As soon as the thought finished, Dong-chun spoke up. I've changed my mind. Hearing that, Ujin's face went blank with confusion as he asked, The director held out his hands as if an invitation. Mr. Ujin, please accept the role of Kim Ryujin in Detective Agency. Hearing this, Ujin's expression didn't change at all. He just crossed his arms and watched. And then a giant question mark appeared in his head. Probably not believing what he just heard, Ujin wondered. What did he just say? Did I hear him wrong? But he didn't need to worry. Dongchun, standing before him with an incredibly cheerful expression, chirped, Please accept the role of Kim Ryujin in Detective Agency. Finally, his brain came to a conclusion I didn't mishear. Regaining his composure, Dongchun said, Actually, Detective Agency isn't for all audiences. It's a piece for a film festival. You know, the Mise en Scène short film festival, right? The Mise en Scène short film festival is considered the best for short films like the Golden Dragon or the Black Screen Award in commercial films for directors in Korea. They serve as judges at this film festival. And sometimes top actors participate as esteemed judges. New directors and actors who win this award immediately become stars. This makes the competition fierce. Every year, over 600 high-quality short films are submitted, and just making it into the top 40 finalists is considered hitting the jackpot. In short, it's a battlefield for directors who are serious about filmmaking, but the judging standards are extremely strict because top directors are the ones evaluating the films. They consider the script, directing, and the actors' performances, but the director and actors carry the most weight because of those strict standards. If there's no particularly special work, they won't even award a grand prize. Although the film festival has a history of 25 years, only 10 films have won the grand prize. Winning the grand prize at the Mise en Scène short film festival guarantees you fame in the industry. Back in the present, even though Eugene was thinking, the Mise en Scène short film festival. I've never heard of it. I should pretend I know a little? He still replied, Yeah, I know a little. Dongchun seriously placed his hands on the table and said, That festival is scheduled for mid-April. We have 2 months left. I was really looking forward to it, but the production of Detective Agency hasn't been going smoothly, and it started from there. Shin Dongchun's mouth also moved, non-stop, endlessly explaining the history of Detective Agency. Ujin was getting bored listening to it. After finishing his explanation, the director got fired up. He decided to speak loudly. But none of that matters anymore. The production company, the investors, the actors, everything we've discussed, I'm throwing it all away. We'll start over from scratch. With Kang Woo-jin at the center. So please, I want you to play Kim Ryujin. For a moment, a thought appeared in Ujin's head. He's going that far. Is this all because of me? This is getting more serious. Thinking that, he spoke up. Director, you don't have to go that far. Hearing this, Dongchun slammed the table in anger and said, "I'm not going too far. My professional passion is boiling over." As if to show his determination, he spoke resolutely. "This is something that absolutely must be done. If there are any inconveniences, I'll handle them all, so don't you worry. Ujin, you just need to focus on your acting." Once again, his passion overflowed as if Dongchun were turning into an elephant before the ant that was Ujin. "Please accept the role of Kim Ryujin, a character who can only be brought to life. If portrayed by an actor who loves and cherishes him. Let's start together, Ujin." Ujin could feel that powerful spirit. Ujin couldn't help but feel a surge of panic. This is going a bit too far. He was sniffling just a moment ago, and now he's suddenly bursting with passion. It seems nothing can stop him. Despite the fear he felt, Ujin kept his expression neutral. "But is it worth it? This has gotten more serious than I thought. But detective agency was my original goal. I've already achieved that. All I have to do is act, Ujin made up his mind. "Well, then this isn't a bad offer." Having made his decision, he replied, "Understood. I'll do my best." Hearing this, director Jongchun jumped in surprise, stunned for a moment before quickly regaining his composure. Jongchun shook Ujin's hand and said, "All right, me too. The official contract will be sorted out once the production company is finalized. I'll definitely secure both the production company and the investors, so don't you worry. If it comes down to it, I'll find a way to raise the money myself." Ujin spoke hesitantly. "You don't have to go that far." As the words left his mouth, another thought crossed his mind. "Looks like I've really stepped onto the path of an actor now. I should start learning about films and things." Seeing Dongchun's burning enthusiasm, he thought awkwardly, wasn't there already a lead actor? Did that actor get kicked to the curb? They must be furious. But that's not my problem, haha. Just as he thought, someone was furiously slamming a table, much to the concern of a director Park. And a voice rang out, "What?" A man with a chubby face gritted his teeth and said, "That bastard Shin Dongchun." That person was Seo Gu-seok, the CEO of GGO Entertainment. He gritted his teeth and raised his voice. "How dare he leave me in GGO Entertainment?" After Seo Gu-seok's outburst, he recalled that everything had been going smoothly until yesterday. An employee said, "I just got a call from Blue Vision Film. Suddenly the director of detective agency has changed everything, including the cast and the investors." Hearing that made him even more furious. "I show a little bit of interest, and now he's getting all high and mighty with that piece of trash script." He clicked his tongue. "Hey, Jung-hyuk, pick a different script. There are plenty of other options anyway." Jung-hyuk spoke up. "I'll do as you say, sir, but isn't this a bit strange? For Park Jung-hyuk, a top actor under GGO, to suddenly change tactics like this. What reason is there to change everything now?" Now that he mentioned it, Seo Gu-seok began to reconsider. Could it be director Shin Dong-chun wants someone else for the lead role? The more he thought about it, the less sense it made. That's ridiculous. Detective agency is a piece of junk that's been floating around for over 2 years, even after it was finished. We're probably the only ones who offered good terms for that short film. He asked the employee, "You met with director Park, right? Did you gather?" He leads on the replacement actor. The employee shook his head. "No, except that he met with some unknown actor." Then Seo Gu-seok asked again, "Is that so? They probably just held an audition for a supporting role. Any other news?" The employee replied, "If there were, Blue Vision would know. Even if they were scheming with another actor behind Blue Vision's back, there's no way a top-tier actor would join detective agency. An A-lister is a bit of a stretch. A B-lister is the best they could hope for." Seo Gu-seok crossed his arms. "So you're saying the troublemaker Jung-hyuk was replaced by some safer B-list actor? How amusing, but isn't he just slapping GGO Entertainment in the face?" With that, he gave an order. "Investigate everything around Shin Dong-chun. If an A-list actor or higher joins, there are bound to be rumors. If there's nothing, it means he sided with some no-name actor. That guy will have to start from scratch and find new investors, so go to the independent and short film companies. And calm their spirits." The employee looked confused. "Calm their spirits," Gu-seok explained impatiently. "Subtly spread the word that they shouldn't invest in detective agency. Whether the actor is A-list, B-list, or whatever without money, no one's going to bother putting in the work." He turned to Jung-hyuk. "As for you, Jung-hyuk, you should pick another short film script from the festival. The Mise-en-Scène Film Festival. I'll spore you, so give it your all. Make sure you do a better job than detective agency." Jung-hyuk replied confidently, "Of course. After all, I've been in this industry for years." But Gu-seok looked like he was plotting something. "We have to completely cut off all paths for detective agency. This is a matter of my pride. We must deliver a quality that can win an award at the Mise-en-Scène Film Festival. That way we can defeat Shin Jong-chun and make him regret this to his very core." At PVK Entertainment, Haye-san was standing in the hallway, staring at her phone screen. "PD, during your call at lunch yesterday, I think you mentioned Ujin. You look pretty confused. Did something happen to Ujin?" The other person replied, PD Shin Dong-chun, right? The one who recently vanished to work on a film. Ujin went to see him to star in the short film, written by Dong-chun. Hye-jeon wondered why he'd suddenly do that when he hadn't even read the script. Then the other person added, "That short film is called Detective Agency. If you're interested, I can send you the script." Hye-jeon nodded. "All right." She frowned. He's doing a short film. Why would he do that? After a big project like Han-ryang Profiler, I really want to see it. I want to see Ujin act in that short film. Hye-jeon recalled that scene. "How can I act like Ujin?" If he gets famous, he'll definitely surpass many top actors. No doubt about it. I just have a feeling. She was so worried her stomach was in knots. I really hate being left behind. A moment later at the office, Hyejeon pushed the door open and walked in. Oppa, I'm here. Seongjeon was surprised. Hyejeon, I was just about to call you. I know right now. Before he could finish, Hyejeon cut in. I have a request. There's a short film called Detective Agency. Can you check on its current status? Choi Seongjeon was curious. Why the sudden interest in a short film? He tilted his head. Don't tell me the female lead of Hanryang Profiler is thinking of starring in a short film. At a time like this. Hyejeon said casually, No, not at all. Just a little curious. Choi Seongjeon looked part helpless, part fatherly. So you are interested? What else could it be? Don't think I don't know you. He rubbed his forehead. You always dive headfirst into anything you're curious about. Hold on, let me sort this out. You want me to investigate the history of the short film Detective Agency, right? Hyejeon nodded. Yes, everything down to the smallest detail. Seongjeon said, Gathering information is easy enough. But if there's nothing to the script, it'll be pretty difficult even for me. Hyejeon replied, No. PD Song mentioned it, so there must be something to it. Besides, you remember PD Shin Dong-chun, right? He's the one who wrote Detective Agency. Seongjeon remembered. Oh, the guy who said he was making a film and then went completely silent? PD Song, Manhwa, is a pretty new figure. Setting that aside, he asked, But if I investigate it, what do I get in return? Hyejeon said cheerfully. What are you talking about? I always support you. But Seongjeon insisted, It's not like you do it all by yourself, is it? Then he quickly returned to his professional demeanor. What about re-signing the contract on the condition that we fire the manager you don't like? In exchange for the shampoo commercial deal, you just cancelled. Hyejeon felt like he'd hit a nerve. Damn it. Why is the company representative making decisions like this on his own now? Of course, Seongjeon had the upper hand. This artist was just too cunning. And of course, Hyejeon couldn't argue back. Fine. But seriously, you have to promise you'll replace that manager. Seongjeon, pressing his advantage, said, Okay, now explain. Your sudden interest in Detective Agency isn't because of PD Manwoo or director Shin Dong-chun, is it? Tell me the truth. Hyejeon was startled. He catches on so fast, she confessed. There's an actor named Kang Woo-jin. Seongjeon asked curiously, a new boyfriend. Hyejeon immediately replied, Are you crazy? He's an actor. She excitedly started telling him, Listen, he's extraordinary, and gave him the short version of the story about Woo-jin. After hearing the whole story, CEO Jeon said, PD Song and Ryder Park went that far. Why would Ryder Park, the one who gives top actors the hardest time, care about something like that? Hyejeon replied, It's not about skill level. They're obsessed with creating great works. Seongjeon stated bluntly, So to sum it up, you're only interested in Kang. Woo-jin's acting right. It has nothing to do with Detective Agency. Hyejeon quickly shook her head. No, that's not it. Seongjeon pointed a finger, exposing her. Who do you think you're trying to fool? You haven't even read the script for Detective Agency yet. Am I right? Hyejeon felt like he could read her like a book. I have to change the subject. She asked, Oppa, how much money do we have? Seongjeon looked at her. Why the sudden awkward change of subject? Hyejeon mumbled, Do we have any reserve funds? If not, I'll prepare some. It's unusual for a rookie to get this kind of attention, but since he's a bit unusual himself, it'll probably be fine. As his manager, you also need to take good care of him. The more CEO John listened, the more stunned he became. He tried to ask, Hey, you said, but Hyejeon didn't let him finish. Make sure it's quiet as soon as he reads the script. She looked both determined and worried. CEO John understood this expression. I've worked with Hyejeon in the entertainment industry for 15 years. This is the first time I've seen her this worried. He couldn't help but think of that young man. Does that mean Woo-jin's acting is really making her feel insecure? What is she feeling? A desire? A longing? Or maybe she feels like her own acting is falling behind. And finally, CEO Jaewon had to get to work. What kind of actor could provoke her like this? I'm getting curious. He took out his phone. First, to investigate the history of Detective Agency. I'll find out quickly through my connections. A while later, Hyejeon asked anxiously, So, how is it? CEO Jaeon described the situation. Initially, Park Jung-hyuk from GO Entertainment and a few other new actors were participating, but director Shin Dong-chun changed everything. Right now, Go Entertainment is furious and putting pressure on independent and short film production companies. Hyejeon wondered, pressure. CEO Jeon speculated. It seems GO was supposed to handle the initial funding, but now they don't have the capital to produce it. Hyejeon thought for a moment, then said, Oppa VCAP Entertainment, we're also preparing to invest, right? In a high-rise building, Manu pushed open the door. Hello, Woo-jin. Woo-jin replied, Hello. He led him inside. Sorry for calling you so suddenly. I wanted to discuss a few things related to the project. Come in and have a seat. Woo-jin looked around. It was a studio, but it looked like an apartment. Yoonbi waved hello. Manu pulled out a chair. This is your first time visiting Ryder Park's studio, isn't it? Even though it's called a studio, it's no different from a home. Yes, but before we get down to business, I want to ask you something. How did you get the script for Detective Agency? He's curious, huh? Why all of a sudden? Ah, that's right. Are those two friends? Explaining it in detail would be a pain, but there's no need to lie. I'll just give a suitable answer. He tried hard to restrain himself. I got it from an acquaintance. Does the process really matter? Manu laughed. No, it was just a simple question. What I'm really curious about is why you chose detective agency at this particular time. We're also working on a movie together, so it's truly surprising that you directly approached this short film. The role of assistant director Park isn't an easy one. Huh, Ujin asked, surprised. Manu explained, it's a gamble. It's a short film, and the current situation isn't very promising. But right now you seem unusually confident. Ujin was caught in a dilemma. I can't say it's because it's a B-grade project. I have to be more subtle. Something stylish and vague. He said confidently, it's just a feeling. A decision based almost entirely on a feeling. Manu froze for a second. A feeling? Yunbi was also confused. A feeling, she thought, silently praising him. What an impressive answer. Is he a genius? Manu spoke up to confirm. So, Ujin, you usually have good instincts. Then he thought instincts. Does he even know what he's saying? Instincts. In other words, having an eye for projects or intuition. An eye for projects is a crucial trait for an actor often lumped together with instinct or intuition. This seems to be a talent you're born with. It's extremely rare for an actor to possess that. If detective agency really succeeds, then Ujin replied, cutting off Manu's train of thought. Yes, he said firmly. Something like that. Manu now looked at him in a different light. He's a one-of-a-kind monster with sharp instincts. Manu was still in shock. He really is relying on a feeling. Or did he choose detective agency based on intuition? Then he asked, so what kind of intuition is it? Do you think detective agency will do well? Ujin really didn't understand. Why is he so surprised? Is intuition such a strange word? It's a common word used everywhere. He answered, I don't think it will fail. I think detective agency will be fine. Of course, this answer didn't satisfy Manu. He was serious. But where is that confidence coming from? Just then, Yunbi spoke up. Isn't this a bit reckless, Ujin? This is a very important time for you, isn't it? Ujin didn't know what to say, so he just gave a vague reply. Is that so? Yunbi was bewildered. How can he be so calm? What kind of actor is this? Manu, on the other side, wasn't any better. Anyway, if he had joined profiler Han Riang, he could have taken his time to choose his next project. But instead, Ujin chose a short film, detective agency, that no one is paying attention to. If that detective agency really succeeds, Ujin, he'll definitely become a fantastic actor. He's equipped with incredible acting skills, a unique star quality, courage, and sharp instincts. Then he couldn't help but think, this guy is basically a con artist, isn't he? Then he laughed and said, ha ha, if I ever start a production company, I'll have to ask for your opinion when choosing scripts, Ujin. Ujin remained silent, but Eunbi excitedly asked, Ujin, what do you think will happen with the Hanryang profiler? After all, we're the ones who dragged you into this. It's not like you chose it yourself. Ujin replied a bit flippantly, there are two of you, so of course it'll be a success. Right? Eunbi was a little baffled. What are you talking about? The film industry is like walking on thin ice. Countless projects fail, even with A-list actors on board. Ujin seemed to have never considered this. Really? They said the Hanryang profiler was an A-grade project, so I agreed to join, because I figured it would be a success. Yunbi's eyes went wide, completely at a loss. Is this why people believe in spiritualism? Manu laughed. Ha ha, calm down, Ryder Park. This isn't the topic you called Ujin here to discuss, is it? Yunbi quickly got back on topic. Right, I completely forgot. I called you here to give you the final script for episode 1. I'll send you the scripts for episodes 2 through 4 once they're finished. Then she handed the script to Ujin. Thanks to your performance as assistant manager Park, I was really inspired. The script has been completely rewritten. So please review episode 1 again. As for the old draft, just consider it a memory, okay? He took it. Got it. By the way, Manu added, Ujin, the script reading might be done MT style. Ujin thought about it. A script reading, that's where the entire cast rehearses together. Before filming officially begins, right, he asked. And MT, Manu, explained, yes, normally the cast and staff just get together for the script reading. But when there are a lot of cast and crew members, it's sometimes done as an MT to help everyone bond. But then Manu added honestly, in reality though, the script reading is just an excuse. Everyone cast and crew included goes there to party. Ujin seemed to have a realization. Wait a minute. On the outside he was stone-faced, but inside his heart was breakdancing. I'm about to party with celebrities and I'll be staying with people like Hayasun and other famous stars. But the scale of my life is getting insane. Awesome. Manu added, by the way, it's on Saturday, March 7th and Sunday, March 8th. It's a 2-day, 1-night event. You can make it, can't you, Ujin? He nodded. Yes. Okay then, he concluded. We'll be going over episodes 1 and 2. Make sure you get familiar with the script, though I know you'll do great. And before he could finish, Ujin's phone rang. He looked at his phone, then at the director and said, I'm sorry. Manu was easygoing. Don't worry about it. If it's an important call, go ahead and take it. Ujin answered the phone. One moment. Hello? The voice on the other end said, Ujin, can we meet tomorrow morning? I have some things to discuss regarding detective agency. I'll send you the address. Please come. Woojin nodded. I understand. Director Manu couldn't help but overhear a little. That must be Director Dongchun. Once Woojin was off the phone, Manu asked about the situation. Has the cast for Detective Agency been finalized yet? When's the script reading? Woojin replied. Right now, I'm the only actor cast in Detective Agency. Manu was shocked. Huh, just one person, that can't be right. Then he thought to himself, hasn't Ms. Hong gotten in touch yet? She seemed interested in Detective Agency. If not, I'll have to sort this out. Then he asked, do you mind telling me where and when you're meeting Dongchun? Later, in a different small meeting room, Dongchun led Woojin inside. I had to borrow this room in a hurry, so I hope it's not too much of an inconvenience. Please have a seat. Woojin shook his head. It's fine. Dongchun got right to it. Woojin, I'll be direct. I've been searching for a production company and investors, but it's not going well. It seems Go Entertainment has interfered because now everything is even harder than it was before. Woojin was taken aback before he'd even fully sat down. Dongchun bowed his head. I'm sorry. I talked a big game, but the situation is not good at all. However, the sight before him made Woojin think of something else. This image, it reminds me of my time at the design firm, just like when my 6th design draft was rejected. Then he said, is there anything I can do to help? Dongchun quickly waved his hand dismissively. No, Woojin, you just focus on your acting. I'll take care of the finances and the production company, so I'm thinking about cutting some scenes. The fewer scenes there are, the better our chances of finding an investor. Woojin was a little worried. But if you do that, won't the quality drop? Dongchun admitted, yes, it will. But we have to prioritize getting the movie made. I'm sorry, Woojin. I'm sorry that this is how I'm repaying the passion you have for this project. As he spoke, he clenched his fist, thinking to himself, this can't be how it ends. This isn't what I fought so hard for. Is Detective Agency really going to be a movie that never gets finished? Suddenly someone entered. Ah, so here you are? Please take off your mask. Oh, you're the director now. Director, I want to star in your film, Detective Agency. Is that possible? Dongchun was so shocked he couldn't sit still. Hyejun, what did you just say? Woojin's reaction wasn't much different. Even though he was completely shocked on the inside, his face showed nothing. Wait, what is happening right now? A top actress suddenly decides to star in a short film. Hyejun, standing at a distance, felt a bit let down. What's with you, Woojin? You're not surprised at all. Did you somehow guess that I wanted to be in Detective Agency? Woojin remained silent. No way. I'm freaking out. This is a huge shock. He calmed himself down, lowered his voice, boss, and said, I am surprised. But Hyejun retorted, you're funny. Your face doesn't look excited at all. Woojin wondered, but how did Hyejun know about this? Now that I think about it, was it because of PD Manwoo? He asked right away, did PD Manwoo tell you? Hyejun nodded. Exactly. I was actually going to contact you. But the PD beat me to it. Still, Woojin wanted to be sure. You really want to be in Detective Agency? You're not kidding, right? Hyejun confirmed, I'm not kidding. I know I always look like I'm joking around. But I'm actually really busy. He says one thing but feels another. She's even beautiful when she's complaining. Truly a goddess. Well, if she's really going to do it, then this is great. Woojin said, if that's what you want, I have no objections. Hyejun beamed. So it's a deal. Yes. Dongchun broke out in a sweat. Are you really going to be in Detective Agency? I'm sorry, it's so hard to believe. Hyejun replied firmly, yes, I want to do it. I've already read the script several times. If the director agrees, I'd like to play the wife. Dongchun tried to clarify, but Ms. Hyejun, the wife, isn't the main character. It's just a supporting role, and Detective Agency is a short film. It's for the Mise en Scène Short Film Festival. Besides, I can't afford your fee. Hyejun took out a business card. I know, but you don't have to worry about that. I think we can work something out. You know CEO Choi of BVCAP Entertainment, right? Yes, Dongchun nodded. Of course I know him. It'd be strange not to, but is BVCAP going to invest? Hyejun placed the card on the table. Yes. Director, please contact the CEO directly to proceed. Also, she had one more request. Please keep my participation a secret. And anything related to me, if possible, until the film is submitted to the festival. Now I have to go to my next schedule. Let's talk later. Dongchun naturally agreed. Yes, of course. But before leaving, Hyejun turned to Woojin. Oh, and Woojin, why Detective Agency? Woojin had anticipated a similar question. I guess I should give a similar answer. He said, just a hunch. Hyejun found the answer a bit lacking. A hunch, haha, you're really something else. You know that you think you're a bit unusual too, don't you? Woojin replied, I'm not sure. Finally, Hyejun left. See you later. Let's keep in touch. The room fell silent for a moment. Then Dongchun exploded. What is happening, Woojin? Don't you feel anything at all? He was silent, of course, lost in his own rosy thoughts. Hyejun told me to keep in touch with her like a friend. Meanwhile, Dongchun kept calling out Woojin. That evening at Woojin's home, he was sprawled out on his bed, sighing. What a chaotic day. Woojin grinned foolishly. So I'm going to be in 2 projects with Hyejun back to back. I'm so curious to see Kim In-dae's reaction when he finds out. He even imagined his friend yelling in anger, damn it! Then he sat up and grabbed the script. I suddenly feel so motivated, I can't sit still. I should practice all the roles in Hanryang the Profiler first. Practice. Sujin observed. This is the official script. It feels more professional. Imagine myself in the scene while reading this. He placed his index finger on it. Let's go. Woojin was now standing in a virtual space. In front of him were 3 scripts. Let's see. Hanryang the profiler has been uploaded. So I can delete the old one, right? He just had to say delete, and it vanished. So convenient. And just as I thought it recognizes the draft and the official script, the drafts and the finalized script are separated. They're different. Suddenly he noticed something. Woojin's surprised. The A+ rating went up. 3 scenarios. Title Hanryang Profiler Episode 1. This is a highly polished, fully readable script. It was only A rank before, but it's been upgraded. It's B. Woojin looked on, rubbing his chin in thought for a moment. A+ is higher than A. So is the next one A++ or S rank. So the ranks aren't fixed because a lot of changes happened during a project's creation. I guess the quality improved when they revised it. Anyway, from what little I understand here, to keep up with these top people, I need something solid. You have selected 3 scenarios. Title, Hanryang Profiler, Episode 1. Readable character list, A. Yoo Ji-hyung, B. Jung Sang-min, C. Beso. Woojin was excited. My goal is to master every character. System notification. A. Yoo Ji-hyung. Preparing to read. Preparation complete. This is a highly polished script or scene. Execution potential, 100%. Preparing to read. At a villa in the middle of a forest, a voice spoke up. So I'll proceed with the contract as originally planned, the elderly owner asked warmly. All right, but what do you plan to use this villa for? The other person let out an interested, Song-chun answered without hesitation. I plan to use it as a filming location for a movie. After settling the final investment, we were able to sign the contract. I have to tell Woojin the good news. The actual contract along with the script reading and filming schedule. But before he could type a single word, he suddenly remembered something and exclaimed, that's right, I just remembered. Today isn't it the script reading for Hanryang Profiler? Woojin dazedly looked at the scene before him, letting out a faint, oh. Seeing the parking lot full of luxury cars and bustling people, he thought to himself, is this the retreat location? It's so crowded here. Suddenly someone came up and blocked his way. Hey, you're part of the team, right? Outsiders aren't allowed in. Woojin looked at him bewildered. He said, me. I had just opened my mouth to say a word when Hyeseon walked over and spoke for me. That's right. He's a staff member for the profiler Hanryang. The other staff member immediately stepped aside and gestured. Oh, Miss Hyeseon, is that you? In that case, you can all go this way. She politely replied, thank you. It was only then, as the two of them walked away, that Woojin had a thought about Hong Hyeseon. She held a hand to her mouth and whispered to him, anyway, we're going to surprise them later. So from now on, just pretend you don't know anything, okay? Besides, Woojin, you don't seem to care much what other people think, huh? But this outfit is a bit too casual, isn't it? Looking down at the clothes he was wearing, he said honestly, I just dress modestly. In Hyeseon's eyes, it was a shabby outfit. She pointed at him and chided, but it's also a bit too plain. Since you're learning everything from now on, you need to pay attention to building your image, okay? This won't do. Is there so much I have to teach you? How can you have such a handsome face and not know how to use it? Come with me for a second. I'll do some simple makeup for you. Woojin didn't dare say a word out loud. But inside he was thinking, in complete culture shock. They both walked inside. In the middle was a large table surrounded by many people. Hyejeon looked at him happily. Much better than before. Woojin, with a cool expression, looked away. Inside he was thinking, is this a dream or reality? The day Hyeseon would do my makeup with her own hands. Is this really happening? Up ahead, staff were getting things ready. Someone called out, bring that over here. Another staff member was also focused on their work. We're short on walkie-talkies. Woojin stood still watching them and suddenly thought, there are more people here than I expected. Why am I suddenly so nervous? Calm down. Don't be scared. They're all just people. Calm down. Calm down. Hyeseon walked ahead and a few people immediately started talking to her. Oh, Hyeseon, you're here. Another person asked, when did you confirm you were joining this project? Meanwhile, Woojin stood behind her like an invisible man. He closed his eyes and thought, I'll just hide behind her to buy some time. I need to breathe. Control my expression. Control my expression. At that moment, a young man walked up, flashing a brilliant smile at her. Hong Hyeseon, are you going to the party after the reading today? As soon as Woojin heard that, his eyes flew open. That voice, he recognized this person. He couldn't help but marvel inwardly at his dashing good looks. Ryo Young-min. Whoa, he's so damn handsome. The aura he gives off is on a whole other level. He suddenly asked, by the way, have you met the actor playing Assistant Director Park yet? Hyejeon smiled and glanced over at Woojin. Probably not. Standing behind her, he stared wide-eyed at him, thinking to himself, well, that actor is right in front of you. Where else are you looking? It was then that Young-min finally noticed Woojin standing there. Oh, are you her manager? You're handsome. You have a great physique too. Hong Hyejeon, isn't he too talented to just be a manager? Hearing that she played along, really, should we ask him to be an actor? He just silently watched them, a question popping into his head. Manager. Did he just jump to that conclusion all by himself? But since he called me handsome, I'll let it slide. Suddenly, Young-min leaned in close, right in front of his face, making him lean back slightly. His face seemed to glow. You should really try acting. Your looks are perfect for it. Meanwhile, Woojin was just silent, endlessly marveling in his heart. Wow, he's really handsome. His long hair is so smooth too. Ooh, he looks amazing. Seeing that Ujin didn't answer, he continued, "This guy is so stylish. He's got a great aura too. Wait, is he nervous? Is he a rookie?" It was then that he realized, oh my god, I was so busy admiring his face that I forgot to answer. He had just managed to say 2 words, actually, when Jungmin took off running. Director Manwoo and writer Park are at the door. I'm going to go greet them. Ujin could only quietly shut his mouth. Hyeseon came over and whispered to him, "Ujin." She pointed to a chair at the large table. "That's the table for the star-playing assistant director Park. Go sit over there. I'm sure you're not nervous or anything, but don't let them push you around, okay?" That's what she says. But inside, he felt like cursing. I'm nervous as hell. Finally, he sighed and told himself to get a grip. I'm going to lose my mind. All right, calm down and get a grip. Behind me, Jungmin is asking director Manhwa a question. What's going on? Assistant Park isn't here. Is it possible he's not coming? While Ujin was still lost in his unfinished thought, Manhwa glanced at his back and said, "He's already here." The last 2 words of that sentence echoed in his mind. Jungmin followed Manhwa's gaze and turned his head. The atmosphere suddenly grew heavy. Everyone's eyes turned towards Ujin. Jungmin couldn't help but think in surprise, Hyesun's manager? That person was looking at Ujin, who had his back to him. He still couldn't believe it. He's the actor playing assistant director Park. He spoke up to introduce himself. "Hello, I'm Ujin, and I'll be playing the role of assistant director Park." After he finished his introduction, seeing everyone staring at him, he broke into a cold sweat, thinking to himself, all eyes are on me, so I used a different persona to introduce myself. Was that the right thing to do? A murmur spread through the room. Who is that? Do you know him? No, it's my first time seeing him. Is he an unknown actor? Seeing more and more stares made him overthink. Stop looking at me. You're making me nervous. Manhwa broke the silence. All right, everyone. The actor for assistant director Park, the one you've all been curious about, is Ujin. Let's all greet each other. We'll do detailed introductions during the read-through. Now let's all open to the first part of the script. Everyone responded in unison. Yes. Jungmin grabbed the other person's arm. Confused, he asked the director, "Don't you usually avoid casting unknown actors and rookies?" The other person just chuckled. Seeing he wasn't getting an answer, he continued, "From what I can see, his reaction is a bit stiff, so his acting might be bland, right?" Manhwa quickly reassured him, "You'll see for yourself soon enough. Go take your seat." Although he was still a bit skeptical, he had no choice but to reply, "Yes." Manhwa had already anticipated this thinking. Just as I thought, everyone has a lot of questions about Ujin. That's exactly why he needs to show them what he's got. Everyone had taken their seats at the large table. Manhwa spoke up. Let's begin the read-through. He read the first scene from the script. Scene 1, a morning on the mountain. Police officers are gathered and spread throughout the forest. Ujin listened intently, thinking, it's finally starting. The movie Profiler Hangryang takes place in 2010. It has a total of 4 episodes. Assistant Park is the main character of the first episode. The first scene begins with the discovery of the body of a man in his 50s on a mountain. Jungmin held the script in his hands. Getting into character, he read, "Oh no, the condition of the body is awful, and I just had breakfast." Ujin watched, continuing to think about the script. The main character profiler, Yuji Hyung, according to the setup, he's a genius who lives a carefree life, so they call him the carefree genius. Next is the female lead, the passionate detective Young Jong-hee. He looked over at Hyesun. She began to read, "Why did the carefree genius show up? Is anyone else coming?" It was Jungmin's turn to read. "There aren't many profilers in the whole country, are there? What's the estimated time of death?" The person next to him replied, "Looks like 12 hours ago." Ujin was a little surprised by this. Even though it's just a read-through, the intensity is so powerful. Everyone is really getting into character and delivering their lines well. "What's that red stuff on the fingernails?" Another voice immediately answered, "It's nail polish." Throughout the process, Ujin remained silent, listening and mentally evaluating. How should I put this? Both the character who just spoke those lines and the character who's thinking to himself. It seems like the lines are being delivered a bit casually. Now that part needs more emphasis. The character is feeling desperate, right? Why is the delivery so bland? It didn't feel like that when I read it. Manhwa spoke up to give a note. "Tai-san, that part was a bit flat. Add a little more emphasis." Jungmin also said, "He's right. Did you even analyze the character? I don't understand why the energy is so drained." Ujin's eyes widened at his own earlier assessment. I was right. That actor's performance was off from the very beginning. He rubbed his chin thoughtfully. "I might not know much about the female roles, but all the roles I've read are just as I imagined them. It could be compared to the other actors' performances. I never expected a read-through to be this interesting." It was Jungmin's turn to speak again. "Everyone look here. Red-painted fingernails, clothes removed only from the upper body of the murder weapon, and the pose held before rigor mortis set in. Isn't this the same method that's been used before? Like some of the cases that are still unsolved. Come to think of it, a similar method was used by the serial killer who left 5 bodies behind before. 9. Like back in 2004. The culprit disappeared, but it seems like he's returned after 6 years. It's not certain yet, but this skill set is a perfect match for the killer, isn't it? It feels like a grand comeback." After finishing his lines, he glanced over at Hyesun. Manhwa looked at the script and read, "Fade out. Mr. Park is silent." He held the script up high and said, Ujin, since this is your first appearance scene. Park's performing solo, no scene partner. He just needs to capture the essence moderately. This is just about setting the tone for the scene's progression. He replied politely, yes, I'll keep it moderate. But that was just what he said. Inside his mind was racing with questions. What does moderate even mean? Does it mean I should cut my expression in half? Or should I just act vaguely? I don't know. Anyway, since I'm sitting, I'll minimize my movements and just express myself with restraint. Just focus on Assistant Park's experience process, what you see and feel it directly. Reduce movement a little to get that moderate result. I've read and experienced it 10 times already. I've already understood and absorbed it. Another personality in his mind came forward, covering his eyes with its hands. I am Ujin now. Slowly opening his eyes, he began to get into character. Raising one hand to his mouth in a faint smile. With an indescribably captivating expression, he was now Assistant Park. His eyes darted to the right. Manu and Eunbi were both stunned by the transformation. It's begun. That's the acting I was talking about. Then his eyes darted to the left. Hyesun was just as shocked. The intensity of his acting. It suddenly gotten so much stronger than before. Finally, his eyes stared straight ahead. He was met with Youngmin's dumbfounded face. The corner of his mouth curled up and a strange voice emanated from his throat. Ah, there you are. His face became terrifyingly creepy. He was completely in character as he said, you filthy animal. Youngmin had only heard one line, but he was so shocked his jaw dropped. He gritted his teeth, questioning it. You call that acting moderate? Youngmin was so astonished he wondered to himself, what part of that was moderate? Seeing his expression completely transformed from when they'd first met, Youngmin's thoughts exploded. Who is he? Nope. What is he? How can a person change so completely? An expression like that, Youngmin's fists clenched so tight they trembled. How much did you analyze and practice to reach that level of acting? No. That can't even be achieved through practice alone. He was faced with those razor-sharp eyes. He truly had to admit it. Right now it felt wrong to even call him an actor. Right now he was Assistant Park. Mr. Park, a psychopath who finds joy in what he sees. Eugene's lips curled into a smile, his tone tinged with a bizarre quality. You're so cute. So soft. It makes me want to make you explode. He was perfectly in character. That's just Mr. Park, Manu said, looking at the script. End of part 1. Let's move right on to part 2, shall we? Scene 1 in the interrogation room, Eugene Hyung and Park are facing each other. Jungmin's attention was on Eugene. After that last reading, he was now just sitting with his arms crossed, staring straight ahead. What was he thinking? He's not even looking at the script. Does he feel like he doesn't need to? My God, after seeing how he played Assistant Park just now, he must have analyzed and memorized the entire script. He immediately slipped into character. You've confessed, haven't you? Why cause all this trouble and then turn yourself in the end? If a notorious serial killer like you wanted to hide this case, would never be solved in your lifetime. Don't you think so? Eugene immediately replied, well, it's an unbearable feeling. You know, when you're falsely accused of something you didn't do. It was Youngmin's turn. Falsely accused, but you came back with a new murder after committing 4 similar crimes in the past. Isn't that right? Then he realized and thought, he really does immerse himself in the role instantly. His voice was steady. That is precisely why I came back. Someone has been copying my great work. He's an imposter. Don't believe me? You can investigate yourself. Watching this, he thought to himself, okay, I'll give you that. Eugene smiled at him and continued his lines. That's why I confessed, to prove I didn't kill anyone. Youngmin asked, is there another culprit? He no longer had any doubt about the abilities of the man in front of him. I understand why he's sitting here now. Perhaps it's not just me, but everyone else here too. Clearly, everyone here was watching Eugene very intently. Manu's voice spoke up again, fading out. Jungmin was still thinking about him. How can he be so calm? After delivering such an impressive performance, he gritted his teeth, frustrated. Does that level of acting mean nothing to him? The person next to him called out, Ryu Jumin. He looked over in surprise and answered, yes. The other person just reminded him, don't get distracted. He captivated everyone with just one performance. He's controlling the pace however he wants. That guy is no rookie. He definitely has a brilliant past. Where did someone so ridiculously talented come from? You'd better focus too. These words left Youngmin stunned for a moment, but it didn't end there. If you don't... The man had barely spoken when Youngmin's face fell as he glanced at Ujin, who was sitting silently with his arms crossed, clearly deep in concentration. The man's faint voice continued in his ear. Don't you think you'll be overshadowed by his acting? Yes. A few hours later, the script reading was over. Voices rang out as they clocked out. Good work, everyone. We've prepared a lot for the upcoming party so everyone can enjoy themselves. Of course, anyone who wants to rest can go back to their rooms. Yes, everyone has worked hard. A few girls saw Ujin and started whispering. A black-haired girl spoke up. Doesn't his acting give you chills? The brown-haired girl next to her replied, yeah, it was like I was actually facing Assistant Director Bak. Is he trying to get his emotions back to normal now? He looks like he's in a really heavy mood. Yes. Meanwhile, what he's actually thinking is, I'm hungry. I'm definitely going to stuff myself with meat at the party. Right? He was thinking about something else. He sat still watching as people got up one by one and left. Everyone's starting to leave. Should I leave too? Or maybe I should stay behind a little longer. Huh? Suddenly a hand tapped lightly on his shoulder. He looked back to see many reporters with mics and cameras approaching him. A female reporter in a blue shirt said cheerfully, "Hello, Ujin. We're the making team. Sorry to bother you while you're resting, but I'd like to ask you a few questions." He thought to himself, the making team. Wow, I've seen them on YouTube. So this is how they film. But they want to ask me questions. I'm starting to get nervous again. Despite his thoughts, he still replied, "Sure." Hearing that, the reporter happily moved closer. "I really love your acting. I heard Assistant Director Bach was a pretty difficult role. How long did you analyze and practice it?" So to grasp the hidden meanings behind the lines, he paused and thought, His gaze shifted elsewhere as he silently calculated. Analyze, practice. I should answer this question with some professional jargon. If I'm too vague, they'll think I'm an amateur. Okay, I'll cleverly redirect the conversation to social life. Ujin turned his head and answered, "I think the script was just really great." The woman gave a small laugh. "I see." Umbi, watching from a distance, was deeply moved. The reporter continued, "So Ujin, you suddenly appeared like a comet. Were you ever part of a theater troupe? I was wondering if you've been honing your acting skills as a member of a troupe all this time." These words immediately made the people walking behind him stop in their tracks. They all glanced over at Ujin. He suddenly felt a cold sweat. "What is this?" Ujin's expression darkened. Everyone was looking at him like arrows, all pointing at him alone. Am I just imagining this? It feels like everyone is scrutinizing me. Are they waiting for my answer or something? But in the end, he dismissed the thought. "No, it's probably just my imagination." He replied, "No, I'm self-taught." The short answer made everyone freeze and fall silent for a moment. A second later, the reporter couldn't help but raise her voice. "Self-taught. Are you kidding? Really? Are you serious?" He found it a bit strange and thought to himself, what's going on? Why are they reacting like that? But still politely, he repeated his answer once more. "Yes, I'm self-taught." The others listening couldn't believe it. A young man exclaimed, "What did he say?" "Self-taught, that level of acting isn't something you can achieve by being self-taught." The girl next to him added, but he said it with such a serious look. He heard all of this. A big question mark appeared over his head. Dongmin also heard it. What does he mean self-taught? Yesion, on the other hand, was very pleased, resting her chin on her hand and smiling lightly. He felt many eyes sharp as blades staring at him. The atmosphere also became strange. He thought to himself, what the heck? Did the atmosphere just change? Was my expression a bit arrogant? But I wasn't lying. But why on earth are they staring at me like that? I'm getting a little worried. I need to find a way out of here. With that thought, he pushed his chair back, stood up and said politely, "Excuse me, I'm not very good at expressing myself." As Ujin turned to leave, many people behind him were still watching, but no one said a thing. Suddenly a man followed him, calling out, "Wait, Ujin!" Hyesion immediately recognized him. "Oh, the chairman of BHM Entertainment? I guess they're here to offer him a contract." But then a voice spoke up from above her. "Hey, Hong Hyesion, is what he said true?" She let out a sound. The other person continued, "About being self-taught." She turned to look at Mr. Cheon and replied, "Oh, Oppa, yes, that's right. You probably won't be able to dig up anything even with your industry connections. I think acting is just a hobby for him." He even joined Superstar just for fun. After hearing that, he furrowed his brow and said, "No, how can that be? Acting isn't just about memorizing lines, is it?" Then he asked, "What about overseas?" She crossed her arms and answered honestly, "I don't know. His past is a blank slate, you know. He must have some kind of backstory." "So what did you think after meeting him?" Gongjun gently rubbed his chin. "I can see why you're so drawn to him. To be honest, my first impression of him was pretty average, but that's changed now." Recalling Ujin's expression while he was acting, he didn't hold back his praise. His acting is so smooth and skillful, you can just see it. There's nothing awkward about it at all. He's not just simply mimicking or reading what's on the page. I've never seen an actor like him. That guy is a monstrous genius. It's the kind of talent anyone would be jealous of. Hyazion knows for a fact that all the entertainment companies here must be drooling over Ujin right now. A lot of entertainment companies will be giving Ujin their business cards. Just as she said, person after person kept running up to him to hand over their cards. She crossed her arms and asked, "And you're just standing there, Oppa?" Mr. Joan chuckled and bowed his head slightly. "What else can I do?" His voice carried a steely resolve. "I'm jealous of that talent too. I need to make a move to get him." At the party, people were grilling meat. A few people walking around were still talking about Ujin. An incredibly talented person showed up today. "Do you know where he is?" "I want to give him our company's business card." The other person replied, You mean the actor who played Assistant Manager Park? I haven't seen him." Jungbin, sitting at a table, overheard and thought to himself, looks like everyone is only talking about that actor. He truly acknowledged his talent. Raising his glass of water, his mind was still racing. Ujin is a talented actor. I've never seen anyone like him. And I can't even begin to gauge his potential. The role of Assistant Manager Park would be a highlight in anyone's acting career. But to think he's self-taught, what does that even mean? The person next to him was talking to another man, the topic still being Ujin. But since he's a rookie, shouldn't he be at the company dinner? The other man replied with a sarcastic smile, exactly. He learns a little bit of acting and already he's arrogant. Guys like him are so annoying. His personality can't be that great either. He noticed the conversation. What's this? Are they bad-mouthing him? He silently criticizes them for being so childish. Even though he wasn't looking at them when Jungmin spoke, it still surprised the woman. Well, in my eyes, he's more than a monster, not just someone who knows a little bit of acting. Besides, the PD already said that attending the dinner was optional. If he's tired, he can skip it. And besides, after channeling such deep emotions, those feelings can't be easily shaken off in just a few hours. From Ujin's perspective, he probably finds attending this dinner to be a hassle. His level of acting is on a completely different plane from ours, after all. The silver-haired man in front of him cheerfully added, "That's right, he must have gone through a lot of meditation and mental exercises before he even started the reading." But Jungbin didn't stop talking, causing the other two to fall silent with dark expressions. Exactly. Even though he seemed to recover quickly on the outside, it's clear that deep down, he must feel like a complete mess. Anyone would find it difficult to talk to others in that state. Another woman at the same table also spoke up. "I've been through that too. When my emotions are running that high, I tend to get unreasonably irritable with people around me." Jungbin turned to look at the two people who had just been bad-mouthing the other guy. He continued, "He's probably struggling a lot right now just to get his emotions back in check. Everyone's experienced that, right? The difficulty of emotional recovery." The other two could only clear their throats and look away. The woman couldn't take it. She was about to turn and argue with him. "Hey, Jungmin, what's with you?" But he didn't even bother with her and turned to talk to Manwu instead. "PD Nim, I wanted to ask you something. That actor Ujin, where did you find him?" Manwu said helplessly, "I've lost count of how many times I've been asked that question today." Jungmin was a bit surprised. "What do you mean?" The man crossed his arms and said, "His acting is phenomenal and his past is a blank slate. I assume he's lived abroad. After meeting Ujin, I did a little digging. But since no one in the country knows him, I'm leaning towards the possibility that he was overseas." Jungmin was still focused on his question. "So is it true that he's self-taught?" Manwu smiled and replied, "That's right. Even you can sense that he's walking this path alone. Right, Ujin is an inexplicable presence. He's just someone who was born to act." Hearing that Jungmin could only manage a forced smile, finally he shot up from his seat. "This is absurd," Manwu asked in surprise. "You're leaving," he replied with great determination. "I can't just sit here and enjoy myself. I'm going to go practice more. The main role can't be overshadowed by a supporting role, right?" After Jungmin left, a few others got up to follow him. "Well, I guess I'll get going too. Maybe I should go over the script one more time too," Ba Yu thought with a smile. Wow, Kang Woo-jin is really firing everyone up. This is going to raise the quality of the film immensely. I wonder if he has any idea what a huge impact his presence is having. Meanwhile, in a completely different scene, Woo-jin was fast asleep in his bed. In his dream, he was eating tons of delicious beef. So good. Until he woke up. All he saw was Woo-jin's grumpy, scowling face. "I slept all day and didn't get to eat anything. My beef. Not getting to eat made him look even scarier than usual. I'm just trying to make a living by acting and putting on a cold front." Walking beside him, Hae-jun glanced over, noticing his unusual demeanor, and thought to herself, why does he seem even more cold and distant than usual? Hasn't he shaken off his character's emotions yet? She walked up to him and offered, "Woo-jin, where do you live? I can give you a ride home." Internally, he was instantly thrilled. Really, I'll gladly accept." With that in mind, he replied, "It's near Suji." Hee-jeon smiled cheerfully and got into the car. "So Suji-gu, right, come on, get in." He was ecstatic. "Wow, Hong Hye-jeon is giving me a ride. This is so sweet." As he got into the car, still lost in thought, he started to say, "Well, thanks for the ride, huh?" His thoughts came to a screeching halt, because right in front of him, there was someone else in the car. CEO Jeon spoke first. "Hello, Woo-jin. Could we talk for a moment?" Hye-jeon, sitting across from him, gestured warmly and made the introduction. "This is the CEO of my company." Woo-jin suddenly realized that means he's the investor for Detective Company, which also means he's the landlord. "Yes," he sat down, still wondering, "What's this all about?" Woo-jin replied politely, "Yes." The man spoke up. "I'm Choi Jeon, the CEO of BVCAP Entertainment. It's quite a coincidence that we have this connection." He didn't hesitate to get straight to the point. "You're aware that we're an investor in Detective Company?" "Correct. I'm very much looking forward to working with you on it." Woo-jin simply replied, "Yes," while thinking to himself, "So this is about Detective Company." CEO Jeon continued, "That's part of it. But I'll be frank with you. I know you aren't signed with an agency yet. What about BVCAP Entertainment? Personally, I want to be with you from the very start of your acting career." "Yes." Woo-jin was still a bit stunned. He finally asked. "Are you offering me a contract?" The CEO answered immediately, "Yes, of course. Our agency might seem small, like it's just for Hae-jun, but our venture companies are on a whole other level." CEO Jeon continued his pitch seamlessly. "This is a time when you need focused attention, not a scattered approach. You need a secure and fitting place in this industry. The entertainment industry is a treacherous jungle. One wrong step and your career is over." Woo-jin was so shocked his jaw dropped. The entertainment industry, it must be brutal. He crossed his arms, thinking, well then, how should I respond to this? "Whatever I say, I have to sound confident." He replied, "A treacherous jungle, that sounds perfect." CEO Jeon was taken aback. "Perfect, you say?" To hear him say that with such a calm expression on his face. Instead, it was CEO Jeon whose expression faltered. I was just trying to intimidate him a bit. What's with this guy? He's really different. Just what kind of past has he lived through? But then a mysterious smile spread across his face. Kang Woo-jin, he has an integrity that other rookies and unknown actors completely lack. His mind is already stable and strong. It's been a long time since I've wanted something this badly. I have to get him no matter the cost. CEO Jeon smiled cheerfully and said, if you agree to join us, Woo-jin, I'll take care of everything. I guarantee you'll receive meticulous and thorough support. I will let you spread your wings throughout that jungle. Woo-jin, I'm sure you've received a lot of business cards, haven't you? He nodded honestly. Quite a few. The CEO continued the conversation. I knew it. I bet you've gotten more than 10. Did any of them mention a signing bonus? You don't have to answer if you're not comfortable. Woo-jin thought for a moment. A signing bonus? I don't think so. I just remember them talking about various contract conditions. In the end, he decided to just give a vague answer. With that, he replied, I think I've heard some unconventional offers. Hearing this, CEO Jeon started to sweat. Unconventional? He immediately seized the opportunity, not wanting to leave any opening for his rivals. Then I will match those conditions. At the very least, I hope you'll hear our offer as well. Woo-jin remained silent, thinking, why does it feel like things are spiraling out of my control again? But if I hesitate now, I'll ruin the cold image I've built up. I have no choice. He smiled and replied, I'll think it over and contact you after I get home. Woo-jin's voice, a mixture of exhaustion and satisfaction, echoed through the room. Finally home? So comfortable. I'm lying on my soft bed. Even though I expected to get some company offers one day. But now that the day is here, it's a real pain. Which one should I choose? Then I sit up and take out my book. The detective agency photo shoot is about to start. I need to read the experience first to prepare for this. Woo-jin looks at the mission paper floating in front of him and says, time to start, huh? The paper clearly shows 2 scenarios. Title, The Profiler, Hanryang, Part 1, Rank S. I say out loud in surprise, S rank. Woo-jin can't help but be shocked. Why did it suddenly go up again? I'm sure it was A+ before I started reading. I tap on the paper, still muttering to myself, I don't get it. Something must have happened that I didn't notice. Whatever. The system announces, preparing to read for Kim Ryujin. My eyes light up with excitement. Time to read the detective agency script. A voice from the system. Preparation complete. This is a high-quality script or scene. 100% execution. Begin reading. Time flies, and now it's the first day of the detective agency photo shoot. There are a lot of people and cameras around. Woo-jin looks at the mansion before him and thinks, oh, so this is the place. It looks similar to the mansion I saw when I read the experience. A staff member approaches and asks, are you one of the actors? All the actors are waiting over there. I slowly turn my head thinking, Looking over at the long bench, I see a few actors sitting there. Are they the actors who'll be in detective agency with me? Phew! I'm a little nervous. I sit down on a chair behind them, not forgetting to remind myself, don't forget to maintain a cold image. Cold and aloof. A young man in front is talking to the person next to him. It's March, but it's still so cold, isn't it? The other person replies, at least we have chairs to sit on. Usually unknown actors like us just have to stand. The man continues, hey, have you seen the actress playing the wife yet? I'm a bit curious too. Why isn't she here yet? Do you know anything about her? The young man vaguely replies, no idea. Even the staff doesn't seem to know. Woo-jin, sitting behind them, chuckles to himself. I know. A woman sitting behind him also leans into gossip. Have you heard about the lead role in Detective Agency? The man hears this and says, oh yeah, I've heard about it. Woo-jin freezes. Why are they suddenly talking about me? The man seems very knowledgeable. The director is a big name in the film industry, and this project is for the Mise en Scène Short Film Festival. But I'm a bit skeptical because the lead actor is a nobody. Usually the main role goes to a well-known actor, doesn't it? Hearing this, the woman adds, the investor is probably an entertainment company that made some kind of deal with the director. Woo-jin pokes his head out to listen and bewildered. Hey, there was no deal? The young man next to the older man speaks up again. Oh, right, I'm so jealous. I wish I could use investment money to get a lead role too. But if that's the case, his acting will probably be a bit boring. The man turns to look. The lead actor still isn't here. Woo-jin, sitting behind them, hears the entire conversation and really wants to just say, I'm right here. He thinks silently. It might be a bit rude, but I'll maintain my image as a monster actor who doesn't give a damn about worldly affairs. No need to get involved in such trivial matters. Of course, it would just end in an argument if I openly started something or tried to harm them. Over on the other side, Dongchun calls out, all right, the meeting is about to start. Hurry up. And our lead actor, you should get ready too. Everyone asks in surprise. The lead actor, Woo-jin, steps forward from behind and replies flatly, yes, director. The 3 people who were just talking about him are wide-eyed and open-mouthed. They stare at him in astonishment. The man's face turns pale with fear as he thinks, oh no, he's the lead actor. What do I do? He must be furious. Look at his face. Woo-jin gives the man a cold glance. He thinks, but it's better to correct what's wrong, then says in an ice-cold voice, I'm not with any company. The man scrambles to his feet, seeing his words as a clear warning. He stammers, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I didn't know you were here. I'm so sorry. Dongchun sees this and looks over at him confused. Why? What's going on? Woojin explains, it's just a small misunderstanding. Nothing to worry about. From behind him, a female voice chimes in. Oh my, what kind of misunderstanding? It's Hyesin. She takes off her sunglasses, appearing like a dazzling star, and says, let me know too. Another fan is stunned. Huh. Hyesin. Dongchun steps forward to introduce her. Miss Hyesin has arrived. I'm sure everyone is surprised. Miss Hyesin will be playing the role of the wife. She cheerfully holds up 2 fingers in a friendly greeting. Hello, let's all do our best. Both the man and the young man are sweating bullets and say in unison, hey, for real, the top actress Hyesin. She leans over to Woojin. We meet again. Don't you think we've been seeing each other quite often? He agrees. You're right. The other two are stunned, their jaws dropping. They see each other often. Are they close, that actor? Just who is he? Rongchun cleared his throat with a slight smile and said, ahem. As you all know, Miss Hyeon's participation will be kept secret until the film is officially announced. This is also part of the confidentiality agreement. It's in her contract for personal reasons, so please keep it a secret. With the exception of Miss Hyeon, all of us will be staying in a nearby dormitory for 5 days. If you're unable to, please notify the production team in advance. Yes. With that, he turned to leave. But he didn't forget to add one more thing. All right, from now on, please do your best to stick to the schedule. We'll begin in 10 minutes. Everyone replied in unison. Yes. Then Dongchun approached Woojin and pointed to a makeup artist. Woojin, let this person do your makeup, please. The first scene is a solo shot starting with you entering the mansion first. He replied, got it. Thinking to himself, oh man, my first time filming, I'm so damn nervous. But by the time he was in makeup and costume, he was still asking himself, am I really filming right now? It's even worse since I'm the main character. First, I have to maintain a cold demeanor. I need to fool myself first. Fool myself. He was still lost in thought. Hyeon approached from behind and said, Woojin, are you done thinking about the agency matter? Only then did he vaguely recall the agency thing. Huh. He turned his head in surprise. Before this, he hadn't noticed her approach at all. What? When did she get here? Then Woojin replied coldly, I'm planning on joining an agency after detective agency is finished. She tilted her head and asked, so that means you haven't had any meetings about it yet? Right. Do you have any conditions? Woojin vaguely thought, like I have any, but replied, I'm not sure. Hyeon advised him, Woojin, actors like us are also a type of product. When you're discussing things with an agency, it's better if you establish your own value. Think about it and let me know later. Okay. Good luck with your shoot. She waved goodbye, leaving him completely bewildered. Hey, you could at least tell me how to establish my value. A loud voice called out, Woojin, please stand by. Woojin now, in a new costume, stood before the camera, trying to calm himself. Phew. I just need to focus on the scene for now. Right now, I just need to perfectly portray Kim Ryujin, the main character of Detective Agency. He then closed his eyes and took a deep breath. I need to make this more alive than when I was just reading the script. Because I have to move, not just sit still. Come on, recall all the senses I experienced while reading in that subspace. His eyes flew open, shining brightly. This time, I am the main character of Detective Agency. I am Kim Ryujin. No. Dongchun watched in astonishment. So fast. His cold aura has vanished, and even his gaze has changed. That's right, he gets into character with ridiculous speed. I'm getting excited. What kind of performance will he deliver in the actual take? A voice from beside the camera announced, 2-3, action. Woojin started walking fully in character. Suddenly, he stumbled to his knees, letting out a small oof, but his form remained professional. Dongchun watched his movement and thought, so smooth. He analyzes and calculates in detail. Every single movement, huh? It reminds me of Kim Ryujin's personality. Hyeon, standing nearby, thought the same thing. Exactly. The character Kim Ryujin is actually supposed to be a bit careless and clumsy. Chatter rose from the crew behind them. Actually, he's supposed to be like that after seeing the body. He's truly immersed in the role of Kim Ryujin. I can really see the character's personality. Another woman chimed in, yeah, it's like the character is real. He's an amazing actor. Hyeon pressed her lips together, thinking Kang Woo-jin. He not only has the dedication to plan things out, he also improvises to enhance his movements and has the intuition to elevate the character's personality with that incredible acting. Even without doing all that, his acting would still be great. It's like he's using a cheat code. Meanwhile, Woojin slowly stood up and just stood there completely blank. Ha! Oh God, so embarrassing. I tripped. It turns out he had actually fallen. It wasn't part of the act. Woojin collapsed back to the ground, silently screaming internally. I tripped and fell. So damn embarrassing. He carefully tried to move one leg, but it was trembling uncontrollably. Is it the pressure? Woojin wondered. Or did my nerves make me mess up like this? Am I screwed? His face turned pale as he glanced behind him. What do I do? It's all this damn grass's fault. Since I felt the director will signal to stop, right? Should I just wait here? But all he saw were the people around him staring, their faces frozen and awkward without a word. Woojin's stomach twisted into knots. What? The why is everyone so quiet? He tried to suppress his anxiety, took a deep, steadying breath, and moved forward, cheering himself on internally. Okay, I'll just keep going and see what happens. Focus. Bring out Kim Ryujin. In that moment, Woojin slowly began to merge with the character. Ryujin, Kim Ryujin, I'm scared, but I have to keep going. As for the reason he chose the character of Ryujin, he explained to himself, the reason I chose Detective Agency is because I'm fascinated by seeing the world from someone else's point of view. This time it's a murder case. I wonder how much I'll be able to see. The scene and the place of a lifetime. Woojin's incredibly steadfast heart is the driving force that pushes me forward. He successfully merged with the role of Ryujin. With one more affirmation from him, I am the witness. In the acting space, Woojin stopped by the wooden house. He reached out, opened the door and whispered, I'm completely drawn in. How can I possibly resist this? As if drawn by some magical force, his feet slowly carried him inside the house. A strange scent immediately assaulted his nostrils. He raised a hand to cover his nose, glancing around. He felt that for a dead person, this smell was actually quite fragrant. The character Ryujin's voice activated. Unnecessarily fragrant. Damn it. Woojin took a few more steps and discovered a basement to his right. He stopped short. A basement. Without hesitation, he started down. The first thing that caught his eye was the body of a man sprawled out on the floor. Taking it all in, Woojin let out a sigh. Another corpse? Ah no, he's still alive. Just then, the sound of footsteps coming down into the basement suddenly echoed from behind him. Woojin quickly made a decision. They're back. I need to hide. A woman's voice spoke. What should we do with this bastard now? He's still alive. Her voice was venomous. He's a witness. We can't let him live. Understanding the situation, Woojin tensed up internally. That person was also a witness. A sharp pain shot through his body, causing the character Ryujin to tremble uncontrollably. He tried to calm himself. Damn it. If I make a sound now, I'm dead. Don't tremble. Stop it. Please stop shaking. Calm down. Don't even breathe. The woman walked over to the sofa where he was hiding and plopped down, causing Woojin to break out in a cold sweat. Damn it, hiding was hard enough and now she's sitting this close to me. Go somewhere else for fuck's sake. The entirety of Woojin's terrified expression while playing the character Kim Ryujin was captured clearly through the camera lens. The people outside watching Woojin's performance on a small monitor couldn't help but be amazed. He's an unknown actor, right? But how? Heck, is the skill gap between him and us so huge? Rongchun, satisfied with Woojin's incredible performance, praised him admiringly. Your acting, Woojin, has improved so much. Is this a dream? Probably not, but this time it's a success. It will definitely be a success. Hyejeon also acknowledged it. You're right. This will turn the tables at the Mise en Scène Short Film Festival. If they give the award to someone else after seeing this, it's because they were bribed. She glanced at the actors behind her, making them flinch. Hyejeon then encouraged them. We should also do our best, shouldn't we? Haha. While filming for Detective Agency, continued promotions for profiler Han Ryang were coming in like a flood. Headlines constantly appeared online. Headline, Profiler Han Ryang, currently holding script, reading with many participating stars. Is this truly an anticipated work? Headline, Profiler Han Ryang held its script, reading in a rented villa. Is the content as promising as the rumors suggest? Official check, Profiler Han Ryang and its first premiere. Profiler Han Ryang may air every Friday and Saturday. Who stole the scene that the writer... Park Umi mentioned rumors are spreading like wildfire among the public. Finally, the day arrived. The official YouTube account for Profiler Han Ryang released the teaser, first along with the first poster revealing the movie's theme. Although it was only a mere 30 seconds and focused mainly on the script reading, the number of views was significant. Specifically, the announcement post read, teaser of the script reading filled with top actors. Don't miss this hashtag, Profiler Han Ryang, hashtag SBC. The skeptical questions being raised were due to the ever-increasing anticipation. Or was it thanks to the participation of two major stars? A flood of praise appeared online. Profiler, one of the most anticipated dramas of the year, Hong Hyejeon is as beautiful as ever. I've already watched this several times. I really can't wait. And not long after that, the filming for Detective Agency was finished. The director's excited voice rang out, cut. Okay, Woojin, that was great. Filming is done. Let's wrap it up. Everyone cheered joyfully. Great job. Everyone worked so hard. Woojin let out a quiet sigh of relief. It's finally over. But for some reason, I feel strange. It's like a bittersweet feeling. He looked around. Even though it's just a short film, it's still my first movie, my first shoot, and my first leading role. Everything feels so new, and filming was exhausting, but seeing the happy faces in the distance, Woojin felt a sense of satisfaction. It's fun. I feel happy. Suddenly he remembered something. Woojin broke out in a cold sweat. If a short film was this exhausting, what's Profiler Han Ryang going to be like? I've got to build up my stamina. Just then his phone suddenly rang. Looking at the caller ID, Woojin was momentarily stunned. But I think it was all worth it. Kim Yang-dae. He cautiously glanced around to see if anyone was paying attention to him. After a few seconds, he dared to answer the call. Hello! Yang-dae's voice immediately came from the other end. Hey, Kangujin. Come over here right now. Let's grab a few drinks. Everyone's free at this hour, you know. He refused without hesitation. I refuse. You guys have fun. Young Dai got angry. You unemployed bastard, are you pretending to be busy? Why are you being so mysterious all of a sudden? Why won't you come hang out with us, huh? Ujin let out a long sigh and hung up. It's not that I'm pretending I'm actually busy. I'll explain later. Bye for now. They'll see me on TV soon enough anyway. It's better to keep it a secret and reveal it all at once than to meet them and have to lie. Just then, Dongchun's voice from behind made him jump. Ujin. He put his phone in his pocket, turned around and said, yes, while secretly worrying, oh God, I hope you didn't hear that. The man asked with concern, aren't you tired? Seeing how calm you are. Hearing Dongchun's question, Ujin breathed a sigh of relief, thinking he didn't hear. He replied, I can handle it. I'm definitely not tired. Dongchun covered his mouth and smiled as expected. You don't lack any of the qualities of an actor. For someone about to take on a big project like this is probably nothing to you. On the outside, Ujin was calm, but inside he was crying a river. I was about to forget, and he had to bring that fear up again. Dongchun chatted on. Filming is complete. I'll start editing right away. I'll contact you when I need to see you. He continued gesturing with his hands. Due to factors like narration or sound distorted by noise, we'll have to do some post-production work on the audio in the final cuts. Ujin nodded and said, got it. But honestly, it was all Greek to me. I didn't understand a thing. Pretending I did, he took the opportunity to probe. By the way, is the schedule for the Mise en Scène Short Film Festival out yet? Dongchun shook his head. Not yet. Usually, the exact schedule is announced 2 weeks in advance. According to rumors, it'll be held in mid-April, so hopefully the post-production won't take too long. His two eyes suddenly lit up. But I'm sure you have a suit, right? Even if you do get a new one? Ujin frowned. Is there a reason? He mentally reviewed his wardrobe. I have one cheap suit. Do I really have to? Dongchun calmly explained. Actually, I thought making it to the finals of the Mise en Scène Short Film Festival was just a dream, but now I feel like it's going to become a reality. Maybe that's why. If the film makes it to the finals, of course, you, the lead actor, should also attend the festival. You need to look your best in front of the other formidable representatives, don't you think? He continued, these things should have been prepared by your company. Didn't you receive a lot of business cards at the script reading for Profiler Hanriang? Ujin was a bit confused, thinking, what's with this guy? Is he a prophet or something? Dongchun looked at him intently and explained, it's a bit difficult, isn't it? Usually a rookie or an unknown actor doesn't receive an advance. When joining a company, the truth is they even have to pay to get in. Because an entertainment company invests in bringing in and nurturing a rookie, they have to bear the upfront costs. Typically rookies and unknown actors sign 5-year contracts, 7 years at the longest. The fastest they make money is in 3 years, maybe even up to 4 years. His next words made him unable to hide his shock. But you were paid up front to join. You've already earned money through acting, and the offer from Profiler Hanriang was also incredible. Ujin pressed his lips together, thinking to himself, and now I'm wondering what kind of signing bonus I should ask for. In Shin Dongchun's eyes right now, Ujin was like a piece of bait surrounded by the hungry hands of others. His voice continued slowly. All the entertainment companies are after you because they won't have to spend the hundreds of millions of won they usually spend on rookies. But what's really scary is the uncertainty. Even if they train someone for 3 years, it's very difficult to land even a supporting role. Ujin shivered, thinking, the entertainment industry is terrifying. But Dongchun was incredibly excited. However, you're currently the lead in our detective agency project, and you're playing a supporting role in Profiler Hanriang. You've only just begun, but you've already landed a lead and a supporting role back-to-back, not to mention your top-tier acting. The entertainment companies must be drooling over you. He thought for a moment and then told him, so I think it would be fine for you to set your signing bonus at around 20 million won. Ujin froze, completely stunned. Excuse me, 20 million won? Dongchun took something out of his coat pocket. Anyway, think about it carefully. But for you, it'll all be fine. And also, he took out a script and handed it to him. He asked me to give this to you while you were busy filming. It's the script for parts 3 and 4 of Profiler Hanriang. Ujin smiled. Oh, it's here. Thank you. Dongchun turned and walked away. Well, then get home safe. I'll be in touch later. You've worked hard. Ujin also waved goodbye. Yes. He looked at the script in his hands, thinking, let's see, should I read part 3 right away? Ujin returned to his beloved apartment. He rolled onto his bed, hugging the soft pillow. So tired. How long has it been since I've had peace like this? I really want to sleep like this forever. Well, not even 2 seconds later, he quickly sat up. But there's something I need to take care of. It's been almost a week since I got those business cards. I need to make a decision. Ujin held the stack of business cards in his hand and pondered. Let's see. There are 8 of them. One is from a film company, huh? I see. He sat on his bed considering carefully. Checking out the companies is the basic thing to do. But do I really need to meet all 8 of them? That's a bit much and inconvenient. It doesn't fit my image either. He thought for a moment. From what I saw during the script reading, everyone seems to know each other. Will there be rumors if I meet with them? Then I can't just go around meeting everyone. He hesitated, fiddling with the stack of cards. It seemed Ujin had finally made a decision. I don't know anything about the entertainment industry. So trying to research each of these companies is impossible. It'll just make things more complicated. In that case, he picked out a business card and picked up the phone. The solution is Ujin pressed the phone to his ear, making his final choice. As soon as the other end picked up, he immediately introduced himself. Hello, I'm Kangoo-jin. A long sigh echoed from the other side. In a small room at PVK Company, CEO Jeon looked tiredly at Hyesun and asked, "You're back. Did the shoot for the detective agency go well?" Hyesun plopped down on the chair and let out a breath. "I guess so." He frowned, asking quizzically, "You guess so?" She held her head and replied vaguely, "Something like that." Hyesun grimaced, feeling a bit uncomfortable inside. Watching Kangoo-jin act and seeing it in person are completely different. I even felt threatened at that moment. Why? It was as if she'd come to a realization it's because I was trying to sync up with his acting. I felt my own acting had so many shortcomings. Hyesun clutched her aching head. It was a complete mess. She tried to compose herself. "I don't know anymore. Sometimes I just think my pride was hurt. But how can he do that? Is it innate talent? Even though Kim Ryujin and Assistant Director Park are two completely different characters. How can he maintain such a clear line between the two of them? Does he have multiple personalities or something?" But the thoughts kept swirling in her mind. Can you even learn things like that? And on top of that, he's self-taught. Maybe it's impossible for me. Her eyes suddenly widened, filled with an indescribable longing. Even so, I still want to see Kangoo-jin act, because I want to improve my own acting. To achieve that, I have to bring him here. Her mind made up, she turned to ask CEO Jeon, "Oh, Dad, how much did you decide for Kangoo-jin's upfront payment? Has he called you yet?" CEO Jeon was confused. "Why are you suddenly asking about that?" He shook his head. "Not yet, and I'm still deciding on the upfront payment." Hyesun immediately chimed in. "Set it as high as you possibly can. We have to get him." Seongjeon replied, "I want to too." Before he could finish, his phone rang. Seongjeon reacted, He frowned at the number on the screen, thinking, an unknown number. He quickly answered it. "Yes, this is Choi, Seongjeon." On the other end of the line, a man's voice rang out. "Hello, this is Kangoo-jin." He gasped and motioned to Hyesun. "Hey, it's Kangoo-jin." Hyesun was just as frantic. "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and talk to him." Seongjeon regained his composure and continued speaking to Ujin. "Yes, Mr. Ujin. I've been waiting for your call." Ujin replied politely, "I'm sorry I was busy with filming. I'd like to meet to discuss the upfront fee." Seongjeon couldn't hide the excitement in his eyes. He immediately made an offer. "In that case, let's meet. It's a little late now, so I'll meet you somewhere near your place, okay?" However, Ujin refused without hesitation. "No, I'll go to VCAP Entertainment." The next morning, CEO Jeon's cheerful laughter echoed throughout the company. "Hello, Ujin." Ujin greeted him politely. "Hello, CEO Jeon." He glanced around the room, then said a bit awkwardly, "It's a little cramped, huh? But for a startup company, it's pretty big." The two sat down on opposite sofas. Seongjeon smiled. "Well, it's all thanks to Hong Hye-sun anyway." Ujin spoke up. "But why only Hong Hye-sun?" He silently sized up the other man. "Just as I thought. He's able to maintain an entire company with just one top actor." Seongjeon calmly explained, "You're asking why? Well, because I was focusing on our star Hye-sun and was busy trying to build a foundation for the company. By the way, have you met with other entertainment companies yet?" Ujin silently answered the question in his mind. "You're the first one. But I can't say that." He replied tactfully, "I've met with a few of them." CEO Jeon nodded. "Pretty busy, huh? But you need to put in the effort, since this is a crucial time." He got straight to the point. "Before I offer you a contract, I think it would be better if we settle the upfront payment. You said other companies made shocking offers, right? I've also prepared to match them. Do you have a figure in mind?" At that moment, Ujin suddenly felt awkward about his bluff. He avoided CEO Jeon's gaze. There was that 20 million won offer from director Shin Yong-chun's side. But is that really okay to use? If I say 20 million won, he won't refuse, will he? He took a deep breath to compose himself. "I'll just say it calmly, clearly, and decisively. 20 million won. That's it. It'll be fine." But before he could speak, the other man spoke up. "Mr. Ujin," CEO Jeon asked, "what do you think about 30 million won?" Hearing that amount, he immediately froze. Ujin pressed his lips together, forcing his mouth shut to stop his excitement from bursting out. "Whoa!" I was about to scream, 30 million won, awesome. I almost gave myself away. But why 30 million won so suddenly? He crossed his arms, unable to respond yet when CEO Jeon continued. "Okay." He firmly held up 4 fingers. 40 million won is possible. At this point, Ujin could no longer sit still inside. He kept punching the air wildly. Wait, 40 million won. He just added another 10 million. Why? All of a sudden, it took him a long while before he could find his voice again. 40 million won. CEO Jeon confirmed it without hesitation. That's right, Ujin trembled inwardly. For real? He was so flustered. He pondered for a moment, but there was no reason to refuse. When he's offering this much, yeah, that ponytail boss definitely misunderstood on his own. I'm innocent. Now let's just continue this conversation as naturally as possible. The tension was palpable every second. Ujin spoke up. I'm curious about the reason you're offering that amount. Please explain it to me. CEO Jeon replied, actually avoiding upfront fees is the trend these days. He placed a file on the table and continued, even famous top-tier actors receive houses or other assets instead of cash. Of course, it's the same for rookie actors. Ujin nodded. Yes, I've heard a little about that. I've heard about it recently. CEO Jeon explained, most upfront payments happen when an artist transfers agencies. Actors or idols don't usually receive an upfront fee for their first contract. That's why they always start as trainees. But you Ujin are a special case. You already have 2 projects under your belt despite being an unknown actor. That's extremely rare. But in his mind, right now, I have 0 recognition with the audience out there. However, to be frank, you're still just an ordinary person to the public. In the entertainment industry, recognition brings in money. CEO John smiled. That's why entertainment companies that don't know you, I would say easy crazy, when they see this upfront fee. On the other hand, companies that recognize you and your potential will gladly invest with the future in mind. In short, recognition from both the company and the public is crucial. He went on and on. Of course, your acting is incredible. And it's wonderful that directors were drawn in and joined the production because of that acting. However, in this industry, the future is always uncertain. What if all the projects you appear in fail? It's even worse when you're an unknown actor. Woojin just sat there listening silently without saying a word. If that happens, it means companies are giving 40 million won as an upfront fee to an ordinary person. It's precisely because of that uncertainty that no matter how good of an actor you are, they won't offer more than 40 million or 50 million won. Its CEO John slammed his hand on the table and spoke decisively. But in this situation, the upfront fee is no longer the issue. As you know, what's important is the payment ratio and the contract duration. Yes, Woojin felt like he'd just learned a great truth. I see. I've just learned something new. The CEO began, because I won't be spending money and time on training. The other party immediately agreed. Right, for any company, that's a huge asset. He pushed a contract towards him. Maybe right now you're not satisfied with your company or some of the conditions. But as you become more famous, you'll realize the importance of a good company. So I've been thinking about that. What would be an attractive upfront fee? I think this will give a good overview of the market trend. Woojin continued to listen in attentive silence. The standard pay ratio for rookie actors during their trainee period is usually 5.5 to 6.4. But you're already a full-fledged actor. That means the company doesn't have to spend a single cent on you. CEO Jeon continued to lay out his attractive offers. So how about this? The payment ratio will be 9:1. We take 1. Furthermore, the contract is for only 1 year. In short, I'm proposing you give our BVCap Entertainment a try. You can decide whether to renew the contract or not next year. What do you say? But Woojin was reeling internally. For real, there has to be some kind of misunderstanding, right? It's probably because of Hong Hye-jeon's influence. I don't think anyone else could offer conditions this good. He rubbed his chin thinking, I need to experience this 9:1 ratio and 1 year contract. It's too perfect for me. Plus, it's good to have someone I know there. Hong Hye-jeon is the main bonus. After thinking it through, Woojin spoke up, neither too quickly nor too slowly. CEO, can I add 2 conditions? 1, you don't ask about my past. And 2, I only work on projects that I want to. CEO Jeon's eyes wavered slightly. He said, flustered, your past. I heard briefly from Hong Hye-jeon that you have a complicated situation. As for the second condition, do you mean I can't even suggest projects? He replied, that's fine. I'm just saying I want to be the one to make the final decision on projects. I see. CEO Jeon sighed in relief internally. If it's just about choosing the projects, that's no problem. He happily agreed. Both conditions are accepted and can be added to the contract. So does this mean you want to sign with us? Woojin nodded. Yes, I'll be in your care. Inside his head, CEO Jeon was grinning from ear to ear and screaming, oh my god! But on the outside, he had to maintain his professionalism. Ahem. All right, I look forward to working with you, the second actor of our BVCAP Entertainment. Woojin handed him a business card and said, by the way, this is a business card I received during the script reading. It's from a film company, not an entertainment agency. They told me to contact them. CEO Jeon took it excitedly. Oh, that's great. I didn't expect we'd end up working together and signing a contract. Let's see which film company this is. Looking at the name on the card, CEO Jeon's eyes widened and his jaw dropped. Box Movies. This is a major film company. And on top of that, this is from the general director Choi Ji-min. He's an influential figure at Box Movies. But he was at the script reading too. He smirked. Could it be director Woo Hoo-gu? He's one of our country's legendary directors. His next project is also with Box Movies. Director Woo Hoo-gu and CEO Choi Ji-min are very close. Gong Jeon took out his phone. I think they want you to join, but for now I think you should meet with CEO Choi. No, you have to meet him. I'll call him right now. Hello, Woojin. He's that big of a deal. I had no idea. I was just planning to ask. But it looks like that was the right choice. On the other side of the car, Mr. Jeon was cowering on the phone. Hello? I heard you gave your business card to our Woojin. Is that right? We can discuss the details when we meet. Yes. Gongjeon's face went pale as he blurted out words that startled even Woojin. You want to meet? Right now. At the Box Movies office, Woojin and Gongjeon had arrived and were waiting nervously in the reception area. Gongjeon was getting a bit impatient. They're running a little late, huh? We've been waiting for about 30 minutes. Is he furious because he couldn't get in touch with you or what? However, Woojin didn't seem to mind. He glanced around the room. That movie poster. I've seen that film. Just then a man walked in. Oh, good grief. Sorry about that. Something urgent came up while I was on my way. Jimin walked over, patting Mr. John on the shoulder. So I finally get to meet you, Ujin. We've been waiting a long time for you. Mr. John crossed his arms, a look of displeasure on his face. Damn it, that line again. I had to hear that all the time at the design firm. He's totally lying. Ujin replied coolly, I was busy with a shoot. Jimin's face darkened and his posture stiffened slightly. Is that so? Still, it was far too long. I was about to give up hope when I didn't hear from you for a whole week. I actually thought a rookie actor was blowing me off, you know? Ujin broke out in a cold sweat. I can tell he's absolutely livid. And that tone of his... He pulled a chair over and sat down next to Mr. John. Anyway, you know of director Yu Huingu, don't you? I told you all about that director. I almost got an earful, because you didn't call me, you know. But I'm not blaming you. Ujin silently saw through the facade. Oh, yes, you are. Jimin held out a script. First, if you want to join, you'll need to go through an audition. I say audition, but with your talent, it'll be a walk in the park. Here's the script, have a look. Gong Jeon hesitated. CEO Choi Jimin publicly punished him. If he joins legendary director Wu Huingu's project, his influence will... Jimin continued to boast in the background. That's a given, of course. I don't even have to say anything about the pay. This is a director Yu Huingu film, after all. Investors are practically lining up with their money. Mr. John thought, feeling helpless. Even though I can't stand the guy, he's always been like this. It would be absurd to pass up this golden opportunity because of him. He whispered into Ujin's ear, Ujin, this is a chance you have to take at any cost. Frankly, this kind of thing never happens to rookies or unknown actors. Ujin replied without emotion. Oh, is that so? Gong Jeon insisted, of course. You're being personally invited to director Yu Huingu's project. Just agree to it? Without a hint of hesitation, Ujin said yes. Please refuse the offer. Gong Jeon, thinking he had agreed, instantly cheered. All right, that's the way to do it. Huh? Then as if the words finally registered, Mr. Jean froze. What? He asked, his voice trembling. Wait a minute. Did you just tell me to turn it down? Did I mishear you? Ujin, holding the script, just looked at him. No, he repeated himself. Please refuse the offer. Hearing this, Mr. John's jaw dropped and he stammered, No. He instantly froze, utterly speechless, as if he couldn't believe his own ears. He thought to himself, he's dead serious. Now I get why. Here John said he was something else. You can never predict what he'll do. Gong Jeon tried to reason with him, but you've only read a few pages of the script. How can you already decide to turn it down? Calm down, Ujin replied nonchalantly. I am calm. Well, Gong Jeon didn't give up raising his voice. Then get calmer. Are you really going to throw away this chance? Ujin said in a cold tone. Yes, I am. Gong Jeon thought helplessly. He's not going to be persuaded. I guess I'll just have to smooth things over with some pleasantries. With that, he turned to Jimin and said hesitantly, Our CEO, Choi Haha, Ujin, says the script is excellent. Oh, is that so? Well, thanks. But why isn't he saying it himself? Why are you Ujin? Immediately replied, No, I want to... Before he could finish his sentence, CEO Jeon waved at him, giving him a signal. Seeing this, he was confused, thinking to himself, what was that? Is he trying to signal something over here? CEO Jeon smiled brightly and explained, it's because he wants to keep reading the script. Hearing that, Domin laughed heartily and said cheerfully, Ha ha ha, of course. He stroked his chin thoughtfully. However, just revealing the script might give the impression that we're showing him too much favoritism, so I'm a bit hesitant. CEO Jeon immediately looked like he agreed. That's right. It would be troublesome if word got out that we're getting special treatment. He chuckled and started to make small talk. By the way, director Woo Hyung-gu is really something, isn't he? He jumped right into his next project without taking any time off at all. CEO Jeon thought to himself, it would be weird to just leave after reading the script. I should stay for a few minutes and make some small talk. He glanced at Ujin behind him, thinking, even if Kang Ujin is strange, he's a part of PVK Entertainment now. The conversation was very lively. Domin then spoke up. I see. Well, I'll check the schedule and call you later, okay? He crossed his arms, looking a little annoyed, and asked, so we have to wait again? CEO? Jeon explained, flustered. There's just a lot to prepare for Profiler Han Young. I'll contact you privately later. Don't worry. After he said that, Ujin also slowly stood up. Domin snapped. Couldn't you have said something sooner? The director is about to chew me out. CEO Jeon calmly replied, of course, you've worked hard. With that, he and Ujin walked out of the meeting room door. CEO Jeon looked around nervously to see if anyone was there. This made Ujin feel very confused. He moved in close to him and whispered, Ujin, just for a moment. Before he could even agree, CEO Jeon furiously shouted, Ujin, why? Why do you want to refuse? There must be a reason, right? Ujin flinched and quietly groaned, ow, ow, my ears. He wiggled his ears, which were ringing from the outburst, and thought to himself, a reason. I have the subspace that said the project is only F rank. What am I supposed to say now? Ujin recalled entering that space earlier and mused, actually, I secretly went into the subspace during the meeting to check the ranking. A system notification appeared. Script, title, negotiation, rank F. This is a very high-quality film script. 100% readability is possible. Ujin was confused, wondering, it's not even an E but an F. Isn't it made by some legendary director? Why? Why is it only rank F? Is it going to be a box office disaster? Or is there some other reason? So many things could happen. He stared intently at the words on the paper in front of him and said softly, I don't know. I've only just become an actor. Shouldn't I just stick to successful projects? They say it's okay to fail, as long as it has artistic value. But that only happens after it's been recognized as such. Snapping back to reality, Ujin avoided CEO Jeon's face, which was purple with rage. He thought, that's the reason. Yes, but I can't just say it's rank F, can I? In that case, he told himself, I'll just use the same formula as last time. With that thought, he hesitantly explained, it's just a feeling. Or rather, my intuition tells me it's going to be bad. CEO Jeon asked in surprise. What? He started to stammer, a feeling. Intuition, is that all? Are you okay? Is there something wrong with your head? Ujin calmly replied, I'm perfectly fine. He continued slowly, so please withdraw the offer. CEO Jeon clenched his fists, thinking furiously. Aish! I'm about to curse him out. He looked at Ujin suspiciously, wondering, is he really a crazy genius? One who surpasses even Honky John? Or is that just what I'm feeling? He's not just unpredictable. He's a complete madman. That evening, at a high-rise apartment building where Ujin lived, his tired sighs could be heard repeatedly. Phew, so tired. Ujin looked with delight at the 2 pieces of paper in front of him and said excitedly, what kind of reward is this? Speaking of which, should I go inside and practice? As soon as he said it, he entered the subspace. Ujin observed the screen and said in a low voice, let's see. Ujin pressed the screen, thinking to himself, it's been a while since I've read a script, and this one is from a legendary director too. I should give it a try. Maybe I'll find out why it was rated F. Besides, there's still time before the first shoot. The system displayed a notification. You have selected the 3rd script. Title negotiation. List of characters available for experiential reading. A is Lee Dojun, B is Park Dae-hyun, C is Kim Kwang-woo, G is James. Seeing this, Ujin was a bit confused and thought, James, is he a foreigner? My first time playing a foreigner. With that thought, he selected James. A voice suddenly echoed in the subspace. A language other than the base language has been detected. Acquiring English proficiency first, preparing for English reading, Ujin said in surprise. What English? What does that mean? The system announced, preparation complete, commencing English reading. The moment it finished, a violent gust of wind suddenly struck. Ujin struggled to pry his eyes open. He was now floating in midair, surrounded by an empty void. Ujin asked in astonishment, what is this? What is this bleak grey space? He looked around, his mind filled with questions. Where am I? Suddenly from a distance, a giant letter A was rushing towards him at breakneck speed. Ujin screamed in panic. That giant object was rapidly approaching. It was only then that he realized in amazement, Before he could react, the letter A slammed right into him, making him let out a blood-curdling scream. Ujin struggled to open his eyes and asked in confusion, what was that just now? No sooner had he spoken than a series of gigantic letters appeared before him. They flew towards him and quickly merged into Ujin's body, causing him to stammer in fear. What on earth is happening? This was accompanied by a series of agonizing screams. A moment later, the system's voice announced, new language reading complete English. Returning to reality, Ujin sat on his bed, clutching his splitting headache, and let out a soft groan. His face darkened as he thought, what was that just now? It felt as vivid as when I read scripts. In the subspace, it said English, didn't it? Could it be? Ujin blurted out in English in a panic. What the hell? Oh my God. He couldn't seem to believe what had just happened, his jaw dropping in astonishment. My pronunciation has become as smooth as silk. The English just flows out. I could live in America without any problems now. Just being able to remember my lines was already amazing enough. Now I can even absorb foreign languages. Ujin quickly took out his phone to test it. He wondered, does this mean I can become a Hollywood actor later on? So I can read the language too. Let's see. He exclaimed happily, oh, just as I thought I can read English right away. Wait a minute, with this subspace, I can learn languages other than English, right? Ujin stroked his chin, thinking, oh, that's great. It's a good thing I read the script for that F-rank project. Although I still haven't figured out why it's F-rank. But seriously, why was it rated F? But at that same moment, in another place, the sound of a keyboard clacked continuously. A pair of hands moved nimbly. A phone on the desk was playing a recording. Bow. About a week ago, the director said he would drive me home. But he drove me to a motel instead. I was so scared that the moment I got out of the car, I just ran. In the dark room where a lone figure sat before a brightly lit computer screen, the recording continued to play. And the next day, I was kicked off the director's team. I'm sorry, but do you have any proof or anything? The girl in the recording immediately replied, yes, I have a recording from when I got in the car. But no matter who I tell, they don't believe me. A hand reached for the phone. The recording stopped. Then a voice spoke up. Don't worry, it's okay. A young woman with hair shorter than her shoulders was sitting in front of the computer screen. A sinister smile appeared on her face as she said in a contemptuous voice, because he's a big shot in the entertainment industry, I can't fight him with just this much evidence. I can post it straight to News YouTube. She glanced over with a faint smile and said with a suggestive tone, isn't he about to start a new project? Sometime next week. The girl looked up at a photo of Mr. Hyung-gu getting close to a beautiful young woman and continued in a low voice the downfall of director Yoo Hyung-gu. Under the clear blue sky, right at that moment, a greeting was heard in front of the company gate. CEO Jeon Ujin. He immediately opened the car door and gestured cheerfully. "Good morning, get in." Ujin quickly nodded and greeted him back. Seeing that CEO Choi was still using honorifics, Ujin suggested, "Please just speak comfortably with me." He thought to himself, "It's probably better to mention it first, since it's a bit uncomfortable hearing him speak to me so formally." CEO Jeon asked politely, "Really? Is that okay, Ujin? Can I speak normally?" He quickly got into the car, nodding his head and replying with a yes. CEO Jeon gave a slight happy smile. Suddenly remembering the plan, he immediately asked, Ujin, did you get the information? Again, about the first shoot for profiler Han Ryang. It seems Ryo Young-min and assistant director Park will be filming first. CEO Jeon's face was full of confidence as he told Ujin, "Since you're really the type of person who doesn't worry, just prepare thoroughly for the photo shoot during the remaining 5 days." Hearing that, Ujin momentarily froze, feeling anxious. He thought, "I'm actually really worried." In the car, CEO Jeon continued talking nonstop. "And for today's schedule, we'll start by creating your official profile. So first we're going to a profile photo shoot. We'll go to a makeup place exclusively for celebrities and then go create your profile." Hearing that, he was a bit stunned. A profile photo. He immediately thought of an image of himself. All made up and proper. I have to pose for them to take pictures. I've never done this kind of thing before. Is it like acting? It feels kind of embarrassing. Mr. Jeon, while fastening his seatbelt, said nonchalantly, also Ujin, "I've expressed my intention to decline the audition with Box Movie. Of course, manager Choi Do-mi made a huge fuss." Hearing that, he just remembered. That's right. I completely forgot about that." He politely said thank you. Mr. Jeon spoke again. "You didn't say anything about your feelings, did you? If you had, things would have gotten even more complicated. Anyway, since we've rejected Box Movie, they probably won't look on us too kindly." Ujin felt helpless, thinking to himself, but not daring to say it out loud. So narrow-minded. Then he calmly replied, "We could have just rejected them after the audition." CEO Jeon shook his head in disagreement. "No, it's better not to start anything at all. It will still be difficult for us to participate in director Yoo Hyung-gu's projects in the future. His temper isn't normal." Hearing that, Ujin looked blank again, thinking to himself, "Even so, I can't act in an F-rank movie, but it still feels like a waste to refuse such a quality offer. Whatever I need to be a little cool." Ujin let out a soft sigh and replied calmly, "It doesn't matter." Hearing that, CEO Jeon felt helpless on the spot. I guess the legendary director title really doesn't matter to him. He's so strange. Then he asked again, "Right, is there anything else you need?" He gently crossed his arms. "I need a supercar." Mr. John asked again, as if to confirm a supercar. Why Ujin was frustrated internally. Why is he asking why? It's because director Shin Dong-chun told me to do it, but I can't say that. I guess I should answer with a bit of swagger. He casually said, "I plan on wearing it to the Mise en Scène Short Film Festival." Hearing this, CEO Jean was inwardly surprised. The Mise en Scène Festival. Does he really believe Detective Agency will make it to the finals? His confidence is on a whole other level. He had to regain his composure and said, Detective Agency might just win an award. Even if you don't go, a suit is still essential. The company will take care of that. In that case, let's add a photo of you in a suit to your profile. Woo-jin was startled. Huh. Whoa, are they planning to give me expensive suits now? Then this should be okay, right? He hesitantly made a request. And if it's possible, could I get a Japanese script? CEO Jeon, afraid he'd misheard, repeated the keyword Japanese. He hadn't quite processed the request yet and replied, "That's a strange request. Why a Japanese script all of a sudden?" He answered awkwardly, "It's nothing serious, I just wanted to take a look." He looked dazed, suspicious for a long moment. What, I just can't figure this guy out. One Hong-hye John is tiring enough. And now I have to deal with this weirdo too. Why do all the crazy people gather around me? Watching Woo-jin in the back through the rearview mirror, he thought, but all those crazy people are exceptionally talented. The scene changes. In a room with pristine white walls, the voices of several girls could be heard praising him nonstop. Whoa, he's so handsome. He must be new, right? CEO John, standing behind and observing, heard the flattering compliments and the corners of his lips curled up in satisfaction. Just as expected, at that moment, a familiar figure swept by like the wind. The lower half of a radiant face came into view as a hand gently adjusted his tie. It was Woo-jin, dressed in an elegant, luxurious suit. The incredibly handsome man made a dazzling appearance. Seeing him, CEO John felt a thrill of excitement. A little styling in a suit really enhanced his aura. He looked so full of life, just like a top actor. The girl sitting at the computer gently turned to CEO Jeon and asked CEO Choi, "What do you think of this shot of Woo-jin?" He was standing there admiring him and reacted when called. Let me see. Looking at the dashing radiant photo of Woo-jin on the screen, he praised it continuously. "Oh, that's fantastic. Let's go with this one." Then he pointed, giving instructions. "Put it right on the PVK website." Just then his phone rang. The caller ID showed Song Man-woo. He was slightly surprised. He answered the phone. "Hello. Manwoo's hesitant voice came from the other end. CEO Choi? Are you busy? I was wondering if everything is going well with Woojin joining PVK Entertainment. Has he met with any other directors? CEO Jeon replied, PD Song, please don't tell anyone about this. I received an offer for him to join director Woo Huingu's project, and Woojin just turned it down. Manwoo was startled. Really? What was the reason? CEO Jeon explained. He said something about his intuition. After reading a few pages of the script, he said he had a bad feeling about it. Hearing this, Manwoo's frown deepened, and he felt incredibly tense. A bad feeling. He remembered the previous incident with Woojin. It was the same back then. Kang Woojin's intuition again. Did he activate some kind of special ability, or what? He wondered, full of doubt. Of course, I can't be sure yet, since we don't have the results for Detective Agency and the Hanyang Profiler. But Woojin's intuition seems a bit strange. Has he really developed it into an eye for good projects? The phone was still pressed to his ear, but Manwoo was lost in thought. Is director Woo Huingu's script really that bad? If he had joined, it would have caused a huge stir. Anyway, then Manwoo concluded, well, if the actor refuses the role, what can you do? On the other end, CEO Jeon nodded. Yes, I know. Anyway, thank you for your concern, PD Song. And then they hung up. Manwoo said aloud, he's a very interesting guy. But a second later, another call came in. Manwoo was surprised. An unknown number. He then answered it. Hello, Song Manwoo speaking. A familiar voice came from the other end of the line. It rang in his ears. It had been a long time. I'm director Kung Ki-tek. This was extremely surprising. Who? Director Kung Ki-tek. This left Manwoo absolutely stunned. One of the best directors in the country had suddenly contacted him. Then Ki-tek began to state his purpose. I got your number from PD Song because I was curious about a few things. I heard you're preparing for a movie, is that right? I was wondering if it would be all right for me to secretly visit the first day of shooting. He seemed very hesitant. After some persuasion, Ki-tek continued, it's just a habit of mine. I only feel satisfied when I see things with my own eyes, so I'd like to ask for a special favor. As he listened, Manwoo thought to himself, Ryu Jung-min, if it's someone of Ryu Jung-min's caliber, then there's really no need to confirm anything. He's very meticulous and seems stubborn. He values skill over an actor's fame or recognition. He walked towards his workplace while answering the phone. I understand. I'll let you know the exact date and time. Yes. After hanging up, Manwoo looked at his phone to confirm it one more time. He's coming to watch. In that case, I can't pass up on that strange monster. Scene change. At a dining table, Ki-tek had just finished his call. Ji-woo immediately asked, what did PD Song say? Director Ki-tek smiled warmly and replied, he said it's fine. Thanks for giving me his number. Thanks to you, preparing for my next project has become easier. Yuzu laughed. What's this all about? It's going to be hard to maintain our positions like this. For a while. Both Kung Ki-tek and I will be starting our project soon. That's right, you also said you'd be starting your next project. Have you held auditions yet? The man sitting opposite replied, oh, actually I wanted to talk about the conditions. Director Hyung-gu said, I recently went through something completely absurd. Some nobody insulted my audition. He said, sounding helpless. He sure has some nerve. Who does he think he is? He should have at least come and spoken to me properly. Ji-woo looked puzzled. Really? What was his name? The man looked annoyed. Oh, Kang Woo-jin. Just some guy preparing to be an actor. If you see him show up on your film set, just kick him out. Someone like that shouldn't succeed no matter how great their acting is. Hearing this, Ki-tek seemed to be pondering something. Then he naively asked, there must have been some reason, right? Personally, I believe all that matters is that an actor can act. Hyung-gu got angry. Oh, you really think so? Someone like that should be kicked out from the start. Ki-tek remained very calm. From my perspective, it looks like you're lacking confidence. Hyung-gu was taken aback by this. Don't you think you're being rude? Yuzu tried to de-escalate the situation. Come on now. Suddenly his phone rang again. After looking intently at his phone for a moment, his jaw dropped for some reason which confused the other two. Immediately, Ji-woo whispered something in Ki-tek's ear, which agitated Hyung-gu. What are you two whispering about? Hyung-gu wasn't too happy. You're leaving already. Ji-woo fumbled and gave a strained laugh. I just have something to take care of. It's nothing important, so I'll be taking my leave first. He watched Ji-woo leave with a stormy expression. This left him very confused. What did he whisper just now? Ki-tek then advised Woo Hyung-gu, right now I don't think you should be worrying about Kang Woo-jin. Hearing this, he still didn't understand. What Ki-tek then passed his phone to him. This isn't the time to be criticizing others. Your own life is falling apart. Hyung-gu was stunned. What? On the phone was an article with the headline, The Ugly Truth of Director Woo Hyung-gu. Behind the title of Legendary Director, the man's dirty deeds have been exposed by a YouTuber with over 900,000 subscribers. The color drained from Hyung-gu's face. His words became a stutter. This was exposed on YouTube. Ki-tek quickly took his phone back and replied nonchalantly, yeah, I just told you. It's going to be hard to maintain a position like this for a while. Ki-tek's words were filled with ambiguity. Well, at this point, it's for life. Or, you've committed a crime, so you have to face the punishment. In the meantime, repent and take care. And with that, Ki-tek left. Hyung-gu, his face grim, tried to stop him. You're crazy. Wait, it's not like that. That's right, I need to investigate it. Just then, his phone started ringing. Perfect timing. but not for this situation. Sweat beaded endlessly on his forehead. He cursed, "Damn it, shit, this is a total mess." In the parking lot, people were bustling about with luggage. Just as Eugene got out of the car, he heard a staff member shout from afar, "Let's get the camera stand set up first." "Get ready while we check the script," someone ordered. Another person yelled, "We've got a problem. Our team doesn't have any walkie-talkies." Suddenly, Eugene saw something and his jaw dropped. He thought, "Whoa, this is insane." In front of him was a huge, beautiful white building. It was towering. Eugene thought to himself, "It's freaking huge. Why does it look just like a logistics center? I feel just like I did on my first shoot." He stood rooted to the spot, staring at it. He sighed to himself, I really need to fart. I must be nervous." Nearby, someone noticed him and looked over curiously. Kijok, disguised as a middle-aged man with his face hidden by a mask, turned to look at him curiously. He seemed surprised. Is this his first time at such a large-scale filming location? Even though he looks like an actor, this is his first shoot, so he's still just a rookie. He took off his mask and mumbled, "How cute. I hope he doesn't mess up during filming out of nervousness." From a distance, a man with a mustache watched him suspiciously. Manwoo glanced over and recognized him. He thought to himself, "Director Kwon Kijok? Looks like things are about to get interesting." Then Manwoo walked over, patted Seongjeon on the back, and started chatting. "This is great, isn't it? You've got the excellent actress Miss Hae-jeon, and now Yoo-jin, a top-tier actor, is joining as the second lead." Startled, Seongjeon turned around. "Ah, PD Song." But he narrowed his eyes, deflecting the praise. "What are you talking about? I'm in for a massive headache because neither of them are normal. But I'm also really looking forward to it, especially Yoo-jin." Hearing this, Manwoo chimed in, "I'm also curious to see how he'll develop." Then Manwoo asked curiously, "So in the end, Woo-jin turned down director Woo Huing-gu. This gave CEO John another headache." He blurted out, "Huh, yes he did. I can't believe I actually rejected director Woo Huing-gu because of a hunch." Manwoo narrowed his eyes, enjoying the drama. "That hunch you're talking about, I'm actually quite looking forward to seeing how that plays out." CEO John was completely baffled by this, but he just brushed it off. "It's nothing." Suddenly his eyes widened in surprise. Then Manwoo asked a production assistant, "What's with all the commotion?" She held out her phone, stammering, "PD Song, please, you look at this." Puzzled Manwoo and CEO John huddled together to look at the assistant's phone. She added, "It looks like the article that was just posted isn't a joke." This confused the two men. But a moment later, they were utterly stunned. Their faces went pale, jaws hanging open in disbelief. Manwoo quickly read the headline, "Exclusive the true face of director Woo Huing-gu." Behind the title of legendary director, his filthy deeds have been exposed by a YouTuber with over 900,000 subscribers. He panicked. "What is this? Is this for real, director Woo Huing-gu?" he asked in disbelief. "What the hell is going on?" Meanwhile, CEO John, sweating and frowning, said, "Judging by the context, this doesn't look like a simple rumor." Then he yelled, "But if this is true, director Woo Huing-gu is completely finished." Meanwhile, Manwoo, still reading the article intently, suddenly flinched. "Wait, if that's true, then..." At the same time, a chill ran down both their spines. CEO John let out a shocked "ah" and fell silent. They were looking at the one who had rejected Huingu, just because of a hunch, Kang Eugene, who was standing nearby looking completely oblivious with his hands in his pockets. Without saying a word, both Manwoo and Seongjeon had the exact same thought about him. He's a walking intuition totem. Horrified Manwoo gritted his teeth. "I'm not superstitious, but can he actually see the future?" CEO Jeon was as pale as if he'd seen a ghost. Is he possessed by some spirit? Don't tell me he guessed right just based on his intuition. Deep down, they were both wondering the same thing. Just who in the world is he? Meanwhile, Eugene was both extremely nervous and extremely relieved. "Thanks to all the commotion, no one heard me fart." "Awesome." A moment later on the film set, someone cleared their throat. Ahem. During a break, Eugene read the article online and started to understand. "I see. So this is why it was an F-rank project. That director is a piece of garbage. I knew the viewership would be a complete disaster, but I never imagined something like this would happen." Suddenly, Manwoo's voice boomed from behind him. "Eugene, did you reject the offer because you already knew about this?" CEO Jeon, just as eager, pressed him, "Go on, answer." Eugene nearly jumped out of his skin. CEO Jeon was sweating. "About director Woo Huing-gu. I hope you can explain." Hearing that, Eugene averted his eyes and thought, "Oh, that. Even I think it's absurd. It's as if my intuition is some kind of prophecy." He couldn't look either of them in the eye, his gaze darting around as he thought of an excuse. "It's not a big deal. A little lie should be okay. It's better to just answer like this." Eugene quickly came up with an answer. It was just a coincidence. But CEO John didn't think so. He shot back, "A coincidence. Sure, anyone could say that, but the timing is just too perfect." Manwoo eyed him thoughtfully. "So he's calling it a coincidence. All right. It really is unexplainable, because the situation was just too much of a coincidence." He looked at you, analyzed it for a moment. The problem is his intuition matched the situation, and what's more, there was his calmness. While everyone around was in an uproar, Manwoo looked at Eugene's unfazed expression and deduced that this was probably nothing to him, as if this sort of thing happened every day. This situation must be normal in the lonely and quiet past of that eccentric. Having figured it all out, he crossed his arms, closed his eyes, and settled on his conclusion, as if it were fact. So, you were suspicious of me just because of some totem. Manhwa immediately denied it vehemently. No, I was just kidding. Then he reminded him, anyway, Ujin, please remember that half of today's schedule is with Assistant Director Park. The other main and supporting actors will start joining tomorrow. So, today you'll only be filming with Ryu Jongmin. With a blank look on his face, Ujin replied, got it. Next, Manhwa caringly instructed, you can get your makeup done and change into your costume before we start filming. Where's your stylist? At that moment, CEO John quickly answered for him. I was planning to introduce them today. At the same time, he turned his head and called out, Suhuan and Yejung, could you come over here? Waiting for them to approach the car, Mr. John's eyes crinkled happily as he introduced them. Ujin, I'll introduce the new members who will be working with you. He pointed to the two who had just arrived, Dong Suhuan. Your hairstylist and your stylist, Han Yejung. Suhuan immediately piped up excitedly. Hi, Ujin. I'm younger, so please just be casual with me, okay? Yejung, however, was calmer, simply waving a hand in greeting. Hello, I'm younger than you too, Oppa. By the way, I've already looked over the style and content for Harian, so I have the outfits prepared. Kang Ujin replied politely. Yes, I'll be in your care. Beside them, Mr. John said cheerfully, well then, this is Kang Ujin's team. Let's all work hard together, haha. Looking at the new team, Manhwa asked Yejung happily. Great. You said you prepared the costume for Assistant Director Park. Right, let's go check it. She replied enthusiastically. Okay, PD. Suddenly he turned his head towards Ujin, looking all mysterious. Before I go, something unexpectedly good might happen to you today. Something about a trap disappearing and a foreign car arriving. He couldn't make any sense of it. Then curiosity getting the better of him, Ujin spoke up. What do you mean by that? But Manhwa was just being vague. What else could I mean? He repeated. I'm saying there's a foreign car at the filming location while simultaneously recalling the famous mask-wearing director. Kwon Kitaik. Then he said his goodbyes. See you later. And Mr. John's car also waved goodbye, saying I'm taking off too, leaving him feeling like, what the hell was that all about? What a weirdo. After they left, Suhuan leaned in close and started to whisper gossip. Oh my god, isn't this place huge? Are you okay, Ujin? It's my first time, so I'm super nervous. This surprised Ujin. Huh. He rested his chin on his hand, thinking, now that he mentions it. Maybe it's because of detective agency, that I don't feel nervous anymore. But it's not like I feel comfortable either. He was kind enough to turn and encourage Suhuan. You'll be fine. The kid immediately brightened up and replied, yes, I'll take deep breaths. As for Ujin, he started to wonder. Speaking of which, how far along is the editing for detective agency? Elsewhere, a person was skillfully scrolling with a computer mouse. Dongchun stood behind Jiyu, directing him. Rewind that last cut. The man hunched over, tapped on the keyboard and replied, okay. A moment later, the director scratched his chin and remarked, no good. After fixing this part, re-edit the previous cut too. These words made Jiyu break out in a sweat as he whined, director, why? This is the third time we've revised it. We don't have much time left, but Dongchun crossed his arms insistent. It has to be fixed. No. The actors were so sincere, so the director can't be lazy with the editing. Jiyu tried to argue. That's true, but he did it anyway. Afterwards, he asked, are you satisfied with this? If you get too greedy, it's going to backfire. But Dongchun was stubborn. Do a little more here. He then pointed at the screen demanding, remove the bust shot here and make it a full shot. At this point, Jiyu was completely helpless, accepting his fate. Okay. Meanwhile, Dongchun thought to himself, just a little bit more. Even if it's not perfect, it has to be completed as reasonably as possible. Because I don't want to give Ujin the pitiful shame of a complete failure. With my editing, with Shin Dongchun's, he wanted the footage to be absolutely pristine. In a single frame text appeared the title script Detective Agency B+. Below it was a page with information title script Detective Agency A. The black van was parked neatly in an empty spot in the parking lot. Just then, Youngmin tossed his script to the side. He spoke to the assistant in the front seat. Let's go. The car door popped open, and right after Jungmin stepped out. Under the care of the surrounding bodyguards, his mind was a mess of thoughts about the previous day. I wonder if Assistant Park will stand out. But today I have no intention of being dominated. Last time, I was left in the dust. My pride won't allow that to happen again today. Youngmin's mind was made up. With a confident face, Ujin thought with determination. As Yui Gihyun, I need to constantly control my emotions and keep an eye on the role of Assistant Director Park. I need to study him, understand, analyze, and dissect him, to blur the line between reality and acting. Youngmin walked through the door in front of him with a decisive air. Immediately after, his eyes met Ujin's, who had also just arrived. The name Kang Ujin popped into his head. Although he saw Ujin as a worthy rival, he needed to surpass Jungmin, still raised his hand and greeted him warmly. Hello! At the same time, he thought to himself, his unmistakable aura is as heavy as ever. Seeing this, Ujin suddenly thought, what a stylish guy. But his attitude remained as cold as ever. Like a single unit, he nonchalantly replied, hello, Sunbai, causing the smile on Youngmin's lips to freeze as if he'd been struck. He felt extremely uncomfortable. You should consider someone better than me, your senior. For some reason, this was really annoying. Just then, a staff member approached and called out, startling the two of them, Youngmin, Ujin. The PD is calling for rehearsal. Youngmin suddenly said something that left Ujin confused. Sorry, Ujin. With a sharp gaze and an arrogant smile, he made a challenging declaration. Today, I won't let you overshadow me. After speaking, Youngmin rushed off with a burning fire. A fighting spirit leaving Ujin with no fucking clue what was going on. What did that hot-headed guy just say? Today was the filming day for episode 19 of the show. The atmosphere on set was noisy and bustling with the hurried footsteps of the staff as they prepared before shooting. When everything was set up and a crew member shouted, "Getting ready to roll?" Ujin let out a long sigh. He felt like he had just gotten off a roller coaster. Fear was surrounding his thoughts. I was wrong. This is completely different from the detective agency. I feel sick. Looking up, Ujin saw Youngmin sitting across from him, seriously getting into position for the scene. He thought with admiration, Ryu Youngmin is sitting so calmly. Amazing. A pro is on another level. I'm just imitating a professional. Ujin convinced himself, either way I have to accept reality. Even so, acting is truth. At that moment, a staff member next to him spoke up while putting handcuffs on him, making him flinch slightly. Okay, Ujin, I'm going to set up the props now. Ujin looked at the prop handcuffs and then fell into a stream of thought. The first scene for the profiler Hanryang today is the story after Assistant Director Park turns himself in. He recalled the events of the script. At this moment, his mind became a canvas tracing the footsteps through every nook and cranny of the story. The center of this case is the profiler Eui Gi-hyun. He analyzes the traces of the assistant director from the past to the present. And this scene is the second time Eui Gi-hyun and assistant director Park meet, so the handcuffs are a given. A dark figure slowly approached from behind him. Following the film crew's words, as soon as the word action was called, Ujin instantly transformed into a different person, sinister and cunning. The two-syllable signal echoed. Ujin in character sat before a pile of papers and spoke first. With a confident air, Ujin said, "So how can I help you?" Although he had prepared himself, Youngmin was still a bit startled by the speed at which Ujin got into character, thinking, just as I expected, he's fast. At the same time, he delivered his line. First, let's just chat a bit. About everything. Ujin scoffed, let out a ha, and deliberately changed the subject, like a reckless punk. So, did you have breakfast? I want a hamburger. I like shrimp burgers. However, before Ujin could finish his nonsense, Youngmin interrupted. I heard you had an older sister who committed suicide. As soon as those words were spoken, Ujin's body froze for a moment. Then he replied in a toneless voice, "Yes, I had a sister." Accompanying that statement was a dangerously twisted smile on Ujin's face. Youngmin was startled and said, my apologies. This isn't small talk anymore. I misspoke. In a voice as light as a feather, Ujin said things that were completely at odds with a normal person's values. No, my sister's story is just small talk. Besides, that file is my information, isn't it? What's in it? Youngmin pushed the file on the table forward slightly and replied, I'm not sure. Probably everything. There's a story about your sister in there too. Ujin continued the conversation, as if he weren't the criminal. Will that story help you? You need to investigate me to catch the real culprit. Hearing that Youngmin didn't know what else to say, only confirming one thing, he's a true psychopath. From what I can see, you seem to be both a psychopath and a sociopath. Usually those with antisocial personality disorder emerge from their upbringing. So I investigated your life. Along with Youngmin's narration were images of Assistant Director Park's dark life. Your parents were addicted to gambling and alcohol and were violent towards your mother. Your sister and you? Correct. Then your sister couldn't take it anymore and committed suicide. And after that, your mother died in a car accident with your father. Youngmin continued to talk about what he had investigated in the case. However, when I looked into the case, I found a few strange points. Your mother died instantly in the car while your father died after crawling out of it. But there was a small sign of a struggle on his body. Youngmin placed his hand on the file. He presented his own suspicion. Because there was no evidence, the case was quickly closed. But I've been thinking about it persistently because it seems strange. Youngmin raised his head and looked directly at Ujin, who was handcuffed across from him. Wasn't the son the culprit? A born psychopath who went through a hellish life and became a monster. Your father was the beginning awakening the joy of serial killing. Correct? After a moment of silence, Ujin opened his mouth, speaking gently, as if narrating a story that had nothing to do with him. You know, my works are known to the public. Images of the murdered victims appeared along with Ujin's terrifyingly sick and twisted face. It appears with the question, do you think that's all there is? Have you never considered the possibility of an untold story? At that moment, Youngmin was completely manipulated by Ujin's emotions. He fell into a state of absolute terror for a moment, as if he were truly standing before someone with schizophrenia, witnessing everything that had just happened. Youngmin let out a nervous laugh, a mix of relief and fear. But it wasn't just him. Director Kittik, who was standing amongst the crowd observing, was just as amazed and shaken. He silently cried out, unbelievable. He stared stunned at Ujin, that actor. He's the rookie I just saw this morning, Youngmin thought, trying his best not to be swayed by that fact. But he immediately dismissed his own assessment. A rookie, no. That performance It's not at the level of a rookie. So then who is he? Kitik hurriedly asked a staff member standing nearby. That young man. What's his name? The staff member looked over. Ah, him. When the staff member replied, his name is Kangujin. Kitik was startled, remembering. Kangujin. If it's Kangujin, then... Images of his previous encounter with the chairman of BHM Entertainment flashed through Kitik's mind, and it all clicked. That's right. That rude, unknown actor. He closed his eyes, pondering. He deserves to pass the acting audition. In fact, he's so good he doesn't even need to audition, but I don't know if that kid is just tenacious or completely fearless. Kitty glanced around the entire set and made an observation. Anyway, I don't know where he came from, but thanks to him, it's not just Jungmin. The atmosphere on set has also changed. Everyone seems to hold some animosity towards the guy named Kang Woo-jin. He silently affirmed Woo-jin's position in his mind. That rookie, he's becoming the pillar of this film. Just then, a staff member leaned in and whispered to Kitty, "Excuse me, director. Now that you've checked on things, you should probably leave. People are starting to notice you." Hearing this, Kitik could only say, regretfully, "Is that so? What a shame. I wanted to watch until the very end." He turned to leave, but he still glanced back at Woo-jin, his thoughts racing. That young man's acting, it has the power to captivate your attention. At the same time, he raised a question in the minds of everyone who had just witnessed that performance. Just what has he been doing all this time to only appear now? A short while later, the sky outside was tinged with the colors of sunset. The director shouted, "Cut! That was great. Let's take a short break." Woo-jin let out a sigh of relief amidst the whispers and chatter around him. That scene was amazing, wasn't it? Yeah, the acting from Jungmin and Woo-jin was really... He was clearly exhausted, feeling completely drained. He thought to himself, "I'm dead. I'm really dead. This is so much harder than I thought. Even though I prepared, it's different from the detective agency." Under Jungmin's scrutinizing gaze, Woo-jin just shivered from the cold. He comforted himself. "It's fine. It'll be okay this way. It's not like I'm gonna die. It's a bit cold in here, isn't it? Or is it just me?" Seeing this, Jungmin smirked. He spoke up, acting as if he completely understood Woo-jin. "Assistant Director Park, it's not easy to come down from those emotions, is it? I even got a cram in my hand not too long ago." Woo-jin listened, feeling completely speechless. "What is he talking about?" Woo-jin replied at a loss for words. "No, it's just, I'm a little cold." Despite this, Jungmin kept rambling on as if he were deaf. "It's okay. Recovering from your emotions is a process that takes time. You don't have to hide it. Even during the party after the script reading, I know you didn't come because you were still recovering emotionally." Woo-jin was truly at a loss. He looked at Jungmin like he was an idiot. "No, I already told you it's because I'm cold sunbae. Why don't you believe me? Besides, I slept through the party after the script reading. What are you talking about?" Across from him, Jungmin remained confident, certain that his assumptions were correct. He cheerfully offered his advice. "I get it. Just try to relax." Woo-jin felt a headache coming on. He just thanked him to get it over with. "Thanks for understanding, Sunbai." But inside, he was screaming in frustration. If I admit I was just acting cold, they wouldn't believe me anyway, right? In a filming room, a director's voice rang out. "Okay, next up is Woo-jin." Woo-jin was sitting across from someone when he heard a person in a hat speak. "Woo-jin, get ready." Hearing that, he obediently replied, "Ah, yes." Even so, he couldn't help but sigh internally. His face reflected that same sense of helpless exhaustion. But he only dared to think it, not say it out loud. "So tiring. I've been filming for days without a single break. I feel like I'm about to become an acting robot." However, right in front of him was Jungmin, angrily slamming the table, making even the person in the hat flinch. He spoke up angrily. "7 ruin takes 5 flubbed lines. This won't do, man. After you're done, come practice with me." The other person replied, "But that number is still small." Seeing this, Woo-jin also broke into a sweat, thinking, isn't he tired? He still looks so passionate. In a flash in Woo-jin's mind, a scene of himself lying down appeared, singing and relaxing. I have a secret resting room, so it's still pretty good. The mind and time room. If I didn't have this bedroom, I would have been dead long ago. Selling my soul to capitalism is so tough. It's a shame I can't actually sleep, but at least I can relieve some of my fatigue. I'm still very satisfied since I can use my time freely. He fell into deep thought, not realizing that Manhwa was right behind him, staring intently. Manhwa was smiling brightly as he turned his head to look at Woo-jin with satisfaction. "He looks better than I thought. With a schedule this packed, anyone would be tired." Manhwa couldn't help but marvel in his own thoughts. His stamina is no joke. So is he really a natural-born genius? Suddenly the phone in his hand started vibrating. Putting the phone to his ear, Manhwa glanced over and said, "Hello?" The person on the other end quickly spoke up. "I still haven't had a chance to come and greet you." Manhwa was stunned when he heard that person's voice. The name director Kwon Ki-taek echoed in his mind. Knowing who it was, his demeanor became cautious as he replied, "Haha, it's all right. You were busy, weren't you? You must have met him for casting in your next project, huh?" Hearing this, Ki-taek continued, "Yes, his acting has really improved a lot. The next project is still under wraps, so don't tell anyone, okay?" Manhwa maintained an indifferent facade and replied nonchalantly, "Yes, of course." As Ki-taek's lips tightened, Manhwa asked, "By the way, what do you think of Kang Woo-jin?" He answered awkwardly, "What do I think? He's been appearing in my dreams ever since. Actually, the reason I called is because of that kid. Where did you find him? Did he fall from the sky or something? Manhwa thought to himself, as expected. Perhaps because he anticipated the question, he answered calmly. It's not that I found him. It's more like he fell from the sky. Hearing this, Kitaik asked, puzzled, fell? You're saying you didn't find him? You mean he just suddenly appeared at the right moment? Sitting on a plush chair. Kitaik heard Manhwa reply, yes, that's right. Hearing that, he began, if you don't mind, could you share some information about that kid? A sound came from the other end of the line. Well, to be honest, I don't know much either. He's quite mysterious. Above all, Ujin said he taught himself how to act without anyone else's help. Manhwa continued with a faint, unreadable smile. Besides, if you do a little digging, you'll find that Ujin has absolutely no connection to the domestic acting scene. Thinking of Ujin's cold and indifferent demeanor, Manhwa was almost certain he was self-taught. Elsewhere, Ujin was lost in thought, looking completely bewildered. My ear is a little itchy. Someone must be talking about me. And thanks to the director, the misunderstandings continued to pile up. While his ear was itching, someone approached and spoke. Ujin, wait a moment. Hearing that, he turned to look, but strangely, he didn't reply with words, but with a thought. He was wearing a dress shirt. The person pushed a stack of papers towards Ujin. Here, take this. He asked, puzzled. Thanks, but what is this? Gongjeon replied, confused. Didn't you ask me to find it, the Japanese script? Ujin just now remembered. So he turned to look at him and replied, right, I remember now. Thank you. Then he thought happily, great, this is amazing. Ujin glanced at the image he created in his mind, extremely excited, and thought, I've obtained a Japanese script. Now I just need to learn Japanese the same way I did with English. Gongjeon looked at the manuscript and said, it took a while to get the original Japanese script instead of the translated version. Is this enough? Ujin was currently engrossed, so he just stared at the script without even glancing at him and replied, it's enough. Thank you. As he put the manuscript away, Ujin asked, but how did you get the Japanese script? It must have been difficult. CEO Jeon replied, I have a few acquaintances in Japan. He said that, but inside he was extremely worried. More importantly, why did he suddenly ask for the script? The Japanese one, of all things. Then CEO Jeon started overthinking things. Could his past be related to Japan? Because of the contract, I can't ask, wait, is his goal to debut in Japan? Is that why he wanted to see it? That's a good choice, but English is the most common language. Can't he communicate in English? The more questions he had, the more agitated CEO Jeon became, biting his hand. Despite this, Ujin was still staring intently at the script, not paying him any mind. Then he placed his hand on the black hole that appeared. In an instant, the surroundings went dark. Ujin was the last light in that place. Switched to Japanese, then he touched the screen that displayed the words Baga Tokyo level script. Following that, Ujin closed his eyes. His brain seemed to activate on its own, and a voice echoed. Preparing to read in Japanese, in progress, preparation complete. Faint lights appeared in the deep black screen, but a voice still echoed in this place. Begin reading in Japanese. Basically, good. Ujin immediately opened his eyes, his expression still unchanged and emotionless. In an instant, a satisfied smile appeared on his lips. Now I've learned Japanese too, yes. While he was still happy, CEO John's phone rang, making Ujin look up. Ugh. He answered the phone with an annoyed look. Yes. That's right. Director? Hearing the title made Ujin realize something. I don't know what he heard, but CEO John excitedly replied, really, I finally get it. Hyun-John's filming schedule is a bit packed, but Ujin should be fine. I'll definitely tell him he's ready to hear his name mentioned. Ujin looked completely bewildered, even though the phone was still right by his ear. CEO Jeon turned to announce the news. Ujin, the edit for Detective Agency, is finished. They've invited us to come see it. Hearing that, Ujin's eyes widened in surprise. A smile was on his lips, but his heart ached. The scene finally changes to an off-white ceiling. Ujin was striding along with two people behind him. Seeing CEO Jeon opening the door, he couldn't help but feel hesitant, thinking, I can't believe I'm about to watch a movie I starred in. I'm so nervous. Hearing the door open, Dongchun noticed and quickly glanced over, saying, you're here. Right where he was standing, there was a person in a pink shirt using a computer. Gongjeon stepped forward, holding out his hand as if to shake, and said, ha ha ha. Congratulations, director. I'm so happy for you. Dongchun quickly stepped forward and replied, it was nothing. It's all thanks to you, our investor. Perhaps because he was nervous, Ujin didn't move or say a word. Looking at his face, Dongchun cheerfully spoke up. Ujin, why is your face so pale? Is it as you expected? The shoot was exhausting, wasn't it? Director Song is known for being strict after all. And yet Ujin remained silent. The conversation seemed to halt in its tracks. A thought ran through his mind. I don't think this is the time to be worrying about me. Is he stranded on a deserted island or something? Seeing this, Ujin broke the silence and spoke up. Are you okay? Director Dongchun, looking disheveled like a beggar, waved his hand and replied, Me? I'm fine. I just haven't been able to eat or sleep these past few days. It's the usual. He looked at the chairs that had been set up. Dongchun spoke up. How about we discuss this later first? Let's watch it. Please have a seat over there. Ujin replied, yes. The man stood near a switch, raised his hand and said, I'm a little nervous, haha. Anyway, I hope you'll like it. Then he lowered his hand. The lights went out in an instant. Ujin, feeling anxious, thought, I'm so nervous I could go crazy. I'm about to watch my own movie, even if it's just a short film. This is my first role, my first project. And finally a voice announced, "All right, I'll begin." Ujin stared straight at the screen in front of him, wondering, "I'm so curious to see what it'll look like." The movie title Detective Agency appeared on the screen. A voice was heard, "Gawa, shouldn't we go meet the client?" Hearing that, Ujin's face turned beet red as he thought, no, that's me. It's so embarrassing I want to run away. The runtime for Detective Agency was 44 minutes. As I watched, I felt a strange mix of embarrassment and shame, but the final version of Detective Agency was very similar to the experience in the subspace, which made me get completely immersed in it. The film flowed on with the character Kim Ryujin. Ryujin blushed and remarked, "It feels like I'm watching a life. My own life on screen." Finally, a hand hit the switch and the room lit up. Dongchun looked towards him and asked, "Ujin, what did you think?" But he just remained silent, not saying a word. After a moment of silence, Ujin finally smiled and replied, "It was extraordinary." But then in a flash, Ujin started crying, silently blaming them. "But I can't believe they used the scene where I tripped like that. They should have deleted it." But Dongchun thought he was crying tears of joy, so he blushed excitedly. "Ujin." Then Dongchun held out his hand as if making an offer and said, "Oh, the Mise en Scène Short Film Festival has a new sponsor this year. So the atmosphere will be a little different. Perhaps because the sponsor is providing more support, the scale is larger than last year. Thanks to that, an acting award was just added. This year, there are 2 awards, one for best performance and 1 grand prize." Gongchun clenched his fist with determination and said, "There are some big changes, but it's okay. Detective Agency will definitely capture everyone's attention no matter where it's shown." Ujin stared intently at the screen as he was drawn into Detective Agency. A silent war was brewing in the broadcasting industry. The different stations began to keep an eye on each other. That's right, just recently the SBC news bulletin, The Profiler. Hanryang is currently under review. MBS and TVM scheduled to overlap made the front page. It's unclear if it was intentional or just a coincidence. Following that is the May lineup. MBS's Silva Couple, Goman Group, Lee Azang, SBC's The Profiler, Han Riang, Rio Jumin, Hong Heezeon, TVM, Kim Ji-yu Kwansora. But the promotional war between the 3 stations had become fierce. But a light appeared in the darkness. Even the media started reporting on the drama war. SBC News, MBC and TVM announced new dramas at the same time, Who Will Be Smiling in May. But thanks to that, the film scene once again became a hot topic. In a quiet neighborhood where the sun was shining with clean streets and young trees growing, creating an incredibly peaceful scene, a group of people were filming carrying their equipment. Then voices rang out continuously. "Reporters and police extras, please gather around. You the youngest one over there? I told you to bring another reflector here." Dongmin was wearing a suit jacket, while on the other side, Hyun-jeon was getting his makeup done. Elsewhere, Ujin sat silently in a chair with his arms crossed. When does it start? CEO Jeon, standing beside him, was looking back and forth repeatedly. Gongjeon glanced somewhere and then spoke up. "That old guy looks familiar. Who is he?" Ujin heard him and asked as well. He mentioned someone. And looking into the crowd, there was a mysterious man wearing a mask and hat. As if on the same wavelength, CEO Jeon also quickly replied, "No, that handsome man over there. I've seen him somewhere before. It's not strange that he's wearing a mask. A few other staff members were wearing them too, but he looked so familiar." Just as I was about to walk over and ask, Manu's voice came from behind CEO Jeon. No, that's not it. It wasn't just him who noticed. Even Ujin turned to look. He glanced over, couldn't help but wonder and thought, Meanwhile, Manu was talking to that man with the nearly bald head. "It shouldn't be too much like a fairy tale. It's more like depicting hell in a fairy tale style. Don't you think? It seems you misunderstood during the script meeting." Seeing this, Ujin came to a conclusion in his mind. "Is there a problem?" It looks serious. Contrary to his casual thought, Manu sighed. Looking frustrated, crossed his arms and spoke. "To express the psychology of Assistant Director Park, the VFX team needs to understand it perfectly. This is such a hassle. And besides, CG will also be incorporated into this scene." Yeah. However, the person across from him, that young man, looked confused and replied in English. "So should I change the color of a normal city?" This one too. Hearing him speak English caught Ujin's attention and he mused, "Oh, English. I can hear and understand it perfectly. This is great." I noticed that things are getting sidetracked. This made Ujin wonder, but I think it's being communicated incorrectly. Should I step in? Well, I'll have to use my English at some point anyway. Using it a little sooner won't hurt. With that thought, he stood up and walked towards them. Seeing this, CEO Jeon was surprised and called his name Ujin. But Ujin didn't notice, lost in his own thoughts. I should give it a try. Manu, still focused on his own conversation, said, "No, what I mean is..." Suddenly, a voice behind him spoke up in English. "It doesn't matter where the setting is." Ujin slowly approached. "You just need to express the bright tone of fairy tales in a darker and more mysterious way. Make the ground purple and dark blue, the plants black, the sky, and each person should be a different color. The grotesqueness is the most important thing." This made the other 2 turn around in surprise and look at him. For a moment, Ujin stopped talking and thought, why isn't anyone answering? Is it because he doesn't know who I am? Ujin immediately put on a cool expression, smiled, and introduced himself. I'm the actor who will be playing that role. On the outside, he was just being cool, but deep down, he was incredibly proud. Heh, I'm talking to a foreigner. The foreigner, understanding now, replied happily, then what about the part where the fireworks go off? Hearing that, Ujin replied, the cruelty will be depicted like a fairy tale. Imagine a child witnessing blood gushing out. Although a bit hesitant, the foreigner still responded, I understand. A childlike grotesqueness. I need to emphasize that. Thank you, that helps me a lot with the visuals. Ujin also smiled. You're welcome. But inside, he was jumping up and down like a madman. I can't believe the day I'd have a conversation with a foreigner would actually come. So exciting, sobs. While they were talking, some gossipers were watching. A girl from the crew spoke up. Huh, how is Ujin so good at English? He sounds like a native speaker. The guy next to her added, that's not a level you can reach just by studying. Did he used to live in the US? Manu also watched the two of them and thought to himself with admiration, right, I knew it. He definitely came back from abroad. His pronunciation is that of a Korean American. No, it's even better than that. In stark contrast to his composure was CEO Jeon. He was currently gaping in shock, thinking, this is crazy. That time he said he was abroad, was it actually in an English-speaking country? But why would he hide it? Wait, then what about his Japanese? Don't tell me he knows both. Meanwhile, the mysterious man was also wondering, thinking to himself, PD Song was right. He did come from abroad. Looking at Ujin's back, the mysterious man thought, the more I learn about him, the stranger he becomes. While Ujin was still lost in his own happy thoughts, awesome. Where should I use my Japanese? Just then, someone approached and called his name, Mr. Ujin. Ujin turned around and thought, A blonde girl walked up, greeted him, and then asked with a bright smile, did you used to live in the US? Your English is very... Before she could finish, a hand was placed on her shoulder. Manu had walked over from somewhere and said, everyone has circumstances they can't talk about. You should be more considerate. The blonde girl flinched and quickly replied, PD Nim, yes. Did I do something? Was there something I shouldn't have asked? The blue sky full of clouds was just like their soaring conversation. Manu opened his mouth and shushed her. Be quiet. Everyone get ready to start filming. The blonde girl helplessly replied, yes. She finally understood and thought to herself that she probably shouldn't have asked about that. Scene change. Ujin is being handcuffed by the surrounding police officers. Today's scene is the on-site inspection of the serial murder case involving Assistant Director Park. Assistant Director Park will reenact the murder while handcuffed. Due to its brutality, a teddy bear is being used, and at the same time the moment the murder occurred will be shown to the viewers. Through Assistant Director Park's flashbacks? In short, Kang Ujin has to act in both the murder reenactment and the murder scene itself. Ujin is now handcuffed. He also picked up the rope. Both the present and past Assistant Director Park looked at the rope, and he couldn't help but feel anxious. Sigh. This isn't exactly a cheerful scene. So I don't feel very comfortable either, even though I was mentally prepared. But when it's actually happening, I still feel a bit, even though this is a subspace world, I'm experiencing murder. From now on, I won't only get to experience the good things. He felt like he was sinking to the bottom of the sea, thinking more negatively. Even though the subspace is amazing, on the other hand, it can also be a hell so intense that my own ego is shaken. However, following that wavering thought from Ujin, were hands trying to pull and push him up. The public image and misunderstandings that started by chance were emphasizing his ego even more clearly than the role itself. Thanks to that, it's making me look back at myself. Back in reality, Manu was calling out, asking, Ujin, are you ready? But perhaps he was more focused on his own thoughts, lost in contemplation. He had to grip the rope tightly. Ujin thought to himself, the things I'm experiencing. For a moment, that inner voice stopped. He spoke. And with that, Ujin gripped the rope tightly. He spoke with a firm voice. He kept a smug smile on his face, thinking, my thoughts are just one of my possessions. He began to enter his acting state. Around Ujin were hues of purple and blue, along with curses. You piece of trash. Die, die, die. Execute him. Glancing at the teddy bear playing the victim, he was silent for a moment, then smirked and growled, how crude. In an instant, the rope was tied around the teddy bear's neck. Ujin, with a mocking and somewhat amused smile, pulled the rope in his hands. In front of him, Youngmin and Hyesin were watching him intently. In a flash, he saw two people collapsing onto each other, motionless. The whole place seemed to fall into a hazy illusion. The purple and blue stains in the air were like splatters of blood pooling on the ground. Ujin stood in the middle of it all with a blank face, his hands tightening the rope wrapped around the teddy bear's neck. The inanimate teddy bear suddenly seemed to transform into a real person, looking in terror at the face of the killer who was slowly suffocating them. The female victim, with tears streaming down her face, grabbed at the tightening rope. She cried out in panic, please spare me, let me go. Ujin, maintaining the killer's twisted expression, spoke in a cold voice. Ha, I wouldn't know about that, ma'am. But I guarantee that today will be the anniversary of your death. Got it. Thud. Her head was slammed straight onto the ground. Then, with fear and endless pain, she screamed, ah! Seeing Ujin kneeling down, she trembled and cried out, stop! Before she could finish, the rope was pulled taut, filling her with absolute terror. No, with each step he took, and her body was dragged across the ground as she screamed horribly. A trail of blood followed, stretching along the path. With nearly her last breath, she glanced at his back and cried out, "Sir, I can't breathe." Ujin, still holding the rope, growled, "Ma'am." His face looked as if it were possessed as he spoke coldly, "More. I want to hear you scream a little louder," as if that wasn't stimulating enough. Back in reality, the actress was lying on the ground clutching the rope, her face turning purple. Ujin snapped out of it, completely confused. When he turned to look, he was startled. Seeing her face turning purple, he was scared beyond imagination and tears welled up in his eyes. Ujin thought to himself, "This lady, she's not acting at all." The director's voice rang out. "Cut, okay? This scene is good. We don't need another take." Ujin quickly helped his co-star up from her unstable state. "I'm sorry, are you okay? How do you feel? Does it hurt anywhere?" The actress replied faintly. I'm fine." Ujin was still focused on her. "Let me take a closer look." This greatly surprised the woman. "What is this?" She could now clearly feel the character's aura around him vanish instantly. He's completely different from that psycho just now. This kid is so strange. He examined her neck and said, "I'm sorry, your neck is a little red." The co-star replied softly, then gave a forced laugh. "It's okay. Look at your hands. They're even redder than my neck. You intentionally used a lot of force to show the tension in the rope, right? Even with all that, the rope around my neck was loose." He wasn't satisfied and turned to the director, speaking loudly, "But safety comes first. Director, please check her neck and hands." Hearing this, the director was alarmed. "What is she hurt?" Ujin gently explained as the director approached. "I think I was a bit too rough during the pulling scene just now. I'm going to the restroom. I'll be right back." Right now, his face was completely pale. Crap, I have to pee so bad. It's an emergency." Seeing him run off in such a hurry, everyone over here sighed. It seems like he's trying to calm himself down and regain his composure. Thank God, I don't feel nauseous. It's amazing how he can stay so calm. After witnessing that scene, Gong Jae-won wondered, is he okay? Then, suddenly a finger tapped lightly on his shoulder, making him glance over. A handsome young man spoke up. "Director Choi, do you remember me?" Gong Jae-won froze, then immediately got excited. "Aren't you Director Kim from Eon Dream Films? I heard you're preparing for your next project with director Kwon Ki-tak." Director Kim didn't seem too surprised. "Wow, we haven't even announced it to the press yet. Your ability to get information is as sharp as ever, huh?" Gong Jae-won's jaw dropped. "But what are you doing here?" He then realized something about the masked man he'd seen earlier. So the masked man with the friendly vibe from earlier was Director Kwon. Gong Jae-won whispered, "Director Kwon Ki-tak, long time no see. You must be here to see that actor." Ki-tak smiled. "You're sharp. Yes, you guessed right." Then with a very serious expression, he whispered, "In that case, you must have been watching Woojin." Ki-tak nodded. "He's amazing. I noticed his English is quite good. Is he from overseas? Do you know where he studied acting on his own?" Gong Jae-won looked slightly surprised. "Wait a minute. So this isn't the first time you've seen Woojin?" Ki-tak calmly replied, "That's right. I watched him a few weeks ago. Actually, I was planning to meet and talk with him properly today, but it feels a bit strange to talk to someone when the emotions from the scene are still lingering. So I think I should just head home for today." Gong Jae-won was startled. You came all this way just to say you're leaving." Ki-tak waved his hand dismissively. "It's fine. I've seen enough of his acting to know it was worth it. Instead, let's set up a meeting at a more appropriate place." Hearing this, Gong Jae-won was stunned. His mind was in turmoil. "Kang Woo-jin, are you some kind of director magnet or what? First Woo Hyun-gu, now Kwon Ki-tak." Outwardly, he forced a smile. "Then how about in 2 days, in the morning perhaps?" Inside a luxurious and tidy white house, the figures of Woo-jin and Gong Jae-won walked softly. Gong Jae-won quietly prompted Woo-jin, "This time you..." Inside, he was screaming, "I wish I could just say, please this time..." Think it through carefully. But for some reason I can't. This damn contract clause. Meanwhile, Woo-jin still didn't understand what was happening. Gong Jae-won tried to stay calm. "No. But really, Director Kwon Ki-tak's reputation is better, and his standing is higher than Director Woo Hyun-gu's." After hearing this, he nodded. "Yes, I know." He rubbed his chin thoughtfully. "Wow, he really is a genius. He's even won awards at prestigious international film festivals. I looked him up before coming here, but for some reason, it didn't feel quite real, so I wasn't too worried."